What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 14 SW. Chapter 65. Kaido Boss, the Holy Empire is forcing us to go to war. Advertisement. After taking Jack, Minato received a report that the major royal clans of West Blue are currently in chaos, organizing major armies to resist. These are not important, but West Blue has several countries. There are big pirates or strong retreats, and the United Kingdom rebels together. For example, the country of flowers. There is a deep-rooted violent group in Flower Country. Named 8 Treasure Marines. The 12th generation pillar and recluse of the 8 Treasures Marine Corps, named Xing Zhao. Once a pirate with a bounty of more than 500 million, he was beaten by Garp. Now, come out again. So, with the country of flowers as the head, unite with many surrounding countries and add a few strong people to form an anti-imperial alliance? Minato was not surprised by this. North Blue fell, and 7 years later, the countries in the remaining waters may have secretly united. I believe the same goes for East and South Blue. Many strong people of the previous generation retired and like to live in relative tranquility in the four seas. Like the Roger pirates, most of them disappeared, but North Blue found a few. Then go out. Namikaze Minato's voice is very flat. The Empire does not have time to play with some small resistance forces, knowing that it is defeated, and yet to resist, or is overconfident in rebels in the alliance. Either way, it is brain damage. Smile, leave it to you. The mission is to completely destroy those so-called alliances. As he turned around, Namikaze Minato spoke solemnly. What I want is that one will not stay. No matter what the character of the previous smile, what kind of 633 mentality or the like. But join the Empire. The first thing is to understand the military order. If you smile while observing the rules of the Empire, you will be kind to let the enemy go. To tell the truth, a smile is not suitable for Imperial troops to reinvent or become a civilian. Yes, Lord Admiral, he smiled and spoke with the same seriousness. How the North Blue fell, the process of the Empire's attack, in the year in North State, laughed but understood clearly. Don't talk about how overbearing the process is. Bloody. As far as the result is concerned, I can't help but sigh that the Empire is doing the right thing. If you do not remove any hidden dangers once and for all, it will be more chaotic in the future. As a strong man, my hands are already covered with blood, so why be merciful? He smiled and murmured in his heart, nothing else matters. As long as the civilians of Empire are good, he smiles and is willing to become the heaviest sword of the Empire. Woo! With a smile, he perceives the direction and directly controls the gravity to fly over. Minato calmly said, evacuate all the Imperial soldiers near the anti-Imperial alliance, and leave them to smile. Nawaki raised his brows slightly, it seems that you are going to test him? Minato nodded slightly, it is also a baptism to join the Empire. It is the Imperial strategic policy set by your Majesty to be as cold as winter outside and as warm as spring inside. Don't let me down and smile, your Majesty doesn't like indecision and too kind subordinates. After the words fell, Minato commanded the troops to clean up the entire area. 3 days later, everyone in West Blue's anti-Imperial alliance was dead, and none of the 8 Treasures Marines remained. Blood stains the earth. The corpses were everywhere. Pot. Standing calmly in a pool of blood with a smile, he retracted the staff knife into the scabbard. 70 hours on the road. Kill for 2 hours. After Minato arrived, he glanced at him and smiled calmly, without saying anything. I have been busy for a few days, go and rest. Your Excellency Admiral, I still have a lot of stamina left. Let's clean it up all at once. Smiled slowly. At the very least, clean up all the anti-Imperial forces in the West Blue area, and then hand them over to the soldiers for deep cleaning. Good. Minato did not refuse. One more person is more efficient. Quickly. 1 month passed. The land of the East, West, South, and 3 seas has gone from chaos to calm, and there are only 2 or 3 big fish and kittens left. In the shock and emotion of countless people on Grand Line, the Empire completely won Sanhai and began to clean up steadily. For more than a month, all parts of the Grand Line have been in a weird atmosphere. The Empire is too strong and overbearing, and it seems that our goal is to make small troubles, which is very ridiculous. Countless careerists are crazy. All the land of the 4 seas belongs to the Empire. This is something that the world government has not done in 800 years. What's more, the Empire is a country, which is very united inside, unlike the world government, which is composed of more than 170 kingdoms, with different minds. Don't say more than 170, now there are 70, we all have your last name. The 2 remaining 5 elders cried. The most important thing about the loss of Majesty is that they have asked to see them many times in more than a month, but Yim just didn't see them. It makes them unable to sleep every day. Did Lord Yim go on a date with the little lover? Also at the same time, Empire Times, distribute Grand Line again. The last time the Empire Times brought a few big news that shocked the world, and there are still many people discussing it. Come again now. Many people are spending money to buy newspapers from the spirit birds of the Empire. What? 100,000 berry for a newspaper, why don't you grab it? I'm a pirate. Hey, wait, can I buy it? Seeing the spirit bird turned his head dismissively and was about to fly away, Quinn wanted to scold his mother angrily. How did the Empire cultivate the spirit bird? Not to mention extremely humane, he used a lot of energy and he couldn't catch any of them. Damn it, It looks like Quinn is an idiot, even the birds of the Empire bully me. Quinn bought the newspaper cursingly, and when Quinn looked at it, he roared again. Holy Empire, you are too much, isn't this a pit of money? The newspaper in Quinn's hands, like an A4 paper, is a leaflet. On the other side, there is gibberish and nonsense. It is all about what the Minister of Finance of the Empire Kakuzu ate today and how much money he made today. Quinn's expression was as ugly as eating shong. When Quinn turned the other side, advertisement suddenly stunned. There is only a photo and a few simple words. The photo shows Jack being tied up in a prison by Ling's chains, covered in blood and mist, and dying from serious injuries, and some introduction to his identity. After March, North State Coast, there is no one to help, just put to death. The above is a rough idea. The reason for 3 months is because Sanhai was basically stable at that time, and there was no time to manage Kaido. Quinn was taken aback, and hurried to the Ghost Island. And on the Island of Ghosts, Kai has passed the newspaper to Kaido. Wow, is this Jack? It's not dead, it's all because you were too weak. Kaido cried loudly while drinking, tears rushing away. Those who didn't know thought Kaido was sad because of Jack's tragic situation. It's actually just Kaido's moodiness, a way to vent his emotions and cry. Calmly and powerfully said, Boss Kaido, the Empire is forcing us to go to war. If the Empire takes Jack and kills it silently, it is estimated that few people know about it. But they didn't kill it, but they also promoted it. Now let's not talk about the whole world, at least the pirates of New World know about it. Save. Cast yourself into the net. Not saved. Although pirates are often evil parties, many pirates attach great importance to the word loyalty, especially the powerful pirates. You don't save Jack today, you won't save me tomorrow. Then why should I join you beasts pirates? I just look down on you, Kaido is a scum. Do you think Lousy cares about this? Too little Lousy? Kaido also understood the Empire's plan, or Minato's plan, but Kaido has always relied on strength to subdue his subordinates. What age is still loyal? Kai was very calm, frowning and said, From Jack's story, we can see that the purpose of the Holy Empire is us, and we won't stop. Then let them come, Lousy has never been afraid of anyone. Kaido's face is full of fierceness, and his eyes are full of determination. They catch Jack, can't Lousy catch their people? Kai was a little surprised. When did the boss be so smart? No, the boss has always been smart. Wano Kuni was won by the boss with the help of conspiracy and tricks. Of course, the boss at that time was not as strong as it is now. The land of the 4 seas can't go yet, 3 months is enough. Kaido cleared his head and said in a deep voice, Separate everyone from me. Starting from the first half of the Grand Line, when I meet the Empire who is alone, I will report immediately. Lousy went to catch it himself. Boom, after speaking, Kaido punched the wall and ran to other islands for training. We are not enough. Kai took out a special phone bug to contact the CP organization. After Kaido won Wano Kuni, it began to sell sea stone with major forces, and the world government responded positively. We agreed to your alliance plan, but there is a request that requires you to provide the position of the single empire on the Grand Line. That's it. Kai hung up after speaking and made a decision for Kaido, which had been discussed before. After a while, inside Shinpan Ancient City, the long-bearded 5 elders and the bald-headed 5 elders, upon hearing the report from the CP0 chief, immediately refreshed. Opportunity here. The eyes of the 2 old thieves lit up one after another. The Empire finally started to attack the big pirates and aroused their anger. What about the world? There are not a few strong players at all, Grand Line is what they care about. If you stand up a Kaido, you may stand up an Ant, a Whitebeard, etc., and resist together. Immediately send the CP organization out to secretly explore the Grand Line Islands, and inform Marine that the generals of the local branches must cooperate and must not divulge the news. The 5 elders quickly gave orders. This time is the beginning of good cooperation with Beast's pirates, and then we will get the rest of the big pirates. Naval headquarters also held a small meeting. Kizaru's expression became more strange as he listened, and secretly sent out a Lingza communication. White Zetsu only replied, I see, I will send someone to the Grand Line to perform the task. Kizaru regretted it, isn't this reaction right? Seeing Kizaru's weird expression, Sengoku frowned slightly. Perusalino, listen carefully. Yes, Marshal. Kizaru smiled helplessly. I listened very seriously, and sent it back to the Empire in earnest. I'm really sorry. At the same time, Cake Island talked a lot about 5.7. The same goes for the Moby DK. Gulalala. This time Lousy wants to see if the kid Kaido has the courage. Whitebeard glanced at the newspaper and laughed boldly. In the same way, Whitebeard laughed and looked at his cheerful sons with melancholy in his eyes. He is not afraid of anyone. It is the glory of the great pirate to die in the sea. The only worry is the sons. They have been immersed in the thoughts of, my father is the strongest in the world. My father is invincible. And, my father beats everyone to death with one punch. This makes Whitebeard proud and a headache. Lousy hasn't seen you train for many years. But Lousy doesn't want you to suffer. Edward Newgate? Who? Suddenly hearing a flat whisper blast in his ears, Whitebeard immediately got up and shouted with a solemn expression. Father, what's the matter with you? Marco and others were surprised. You. Whitebeard's heart sank. The sons obviously didn't hear it. But he saw that hundreds of miles in the color perception were the sea, and there were no other people in the sky and the sea. Who are you? Whitebeard asked in a deep voice. On Whitebeard's alert, The flat voice sounded again. 3 hours later, Hills Island. If you are not here, Sachi will die. Boom. Chapter 66. Edward Newgate gone, 7 warlords of the Sea Fat Blue. Advertisement boom. A terrifying conquerors burst out from Whitebeard and swept across all directions like a tsunami. The entire Moby Dick trembled violently and the atmosphere neighed piece by piece. What is it? Both the deck and the hull of the ship began to crack, and the surrounding sea was also violently throwing waves like a shock. Thump thump. Wherever conquerors almost materialized, Byakugan appeared one after another, fainting on the ground. Father. Suddenly conquerors erupted, and as everyone on the ship fainted except for some captains, the expressions of Marco and others changed drastically. Father, what's wrong with you? Seeing the murderous intent and anger in Whitebeard's eyes, Marco was the most shocked. He is the earliest son to follow Whitebeard, but he has almost never seen Whitebeard's anger and murderous intent. Even if Roger abducted Kazuki Oden, the captain of the 2nd Division, Whitebeard was angry but not serious about killing. Even if Kaido is like a madman, Tenten challenges, Whitebeard is angry and intent to kill, but more helpless. That B******** D can't kill. But this time, Marco didn't understand at all. The old man obviously just glanced at the newspaper, and suddenly he was surprised and furious. Tell me, who are you? Whitebeard ignored the consternation of his sons, and yelled at the surrounding with anger. Even constantly bombarding the void. Let pieces of the atmosphere continue to tear and spread, as if to fight some non-existent enemy. Father, him. Marco and others were stunned. They have never seen an old man so gloomy, and his emotions are out of control. Sachi. There is no answer for a long time. Whitebeard can only suppress his anger and killing intent, and is full of worry for Sachi. People to 62 years old, in his heart, the lives of his sons are more important than his. But what did he hear? Sachi will die. Is it calm down? 07 really disappointed me, Edward Newgate. As the Overlord, you are too gaff. The flat voice rang in his ears again, and Whitebeard's expression was uncertain. There is obviously no one around. What is this ability? Now Whitebeard has no time to discuss any gaffes with unknown people, and he said in a deep voice, you caught Sachi. Are you going to kill him? Answer me. What? Joes and others stared. Sachi was caught. Who is Dad talking to? I never repeat what I said a second time. If you want to know, go and see for yourself. The plain words fell. There is no answer for a long time. Boom. Whitebeard punched again angrily. It directly caused a great tsunami, and I don't know where it swept. Marco, contact Sachi. I want to know his situation. Whitebeard was drinking, and his voice was soft, so don't have an accident with Asage. I'll get in touch now. Marco quickly took out the phone to contact. Bulu bulu. Bulu bulu. The phone worm rang. The entire Moby Dick was silent, and everyone was careful to breathe. 3 seconds, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, still no one answered. Whitebeard's face became more and more ugly, and he couldn't help but get angry. The phone worm got through. There was a burst of surprised laughter. Huh? Marco, why did you contact me? Is something wrong? I'm attacking a pirate group, and I heard that they found some purple black devil fruit. Teach was crazy, ha 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 ha. Marco was dumbfounded. Whitebeard's anger stagnated. The whole staff was confused. This is Sachi's voice, and the phone worm has simulated it. Isn't he all right? Marco glanced at Whitebeard suspiciously. Whitebeard directly took the phone worm, and said with a solemn suspicious expression, Sachi, are you on Hills Island? Ah, father, how do you know I am here? Did Teach say it? Saki exclaimed, and then helplessly said, Teach is also true, this little thing must be reported. Do you treat me as a child? It's really there. Whitebeard was at a loss for a moment. What is going on? 3 hours later, Hills Island. If you are not there, Sachi will die. This is what Whitebeard heard before, and now the more I think about it, the more it gets wrong. Why does the other party know the location of Saki? Why is it 3 hours later? Why he is not? Saki will die. Is there anything unusual on the island? Teach, are they beside you? Are there anyone else? Is your pirate group strong? Whitebeard's series of questions caused Sachi not to come over for a while. Father, have you forgotten? Hills Island is a deserted island with no one. Teach, they're all there, don't worry, it's just a small pirate ship. As Saki was talking, he yelled again. Teach, be careful, hit slowly, what are you anxious for? A whole, damn guy, attacked me. There was chaos on the opposite side. Saki could only shout. Father, I'm sorry, the other party hides a guy who is not weak, I will hang up first, and I will go back and plead your case. Baloo baloo. The phone worm hangs up. Whitebeard couldn't help frowning, he couldn't understand the meaning of that sentence at all. Although Sachi is a chef, he is also the captain of the 4th team of the Whitebeard Pirates. The strength is not weak, but that unknown existence told him so mysteriously, it was obviously not a joke on him. I always feel something is wrong. This is Whitebeard's instinct. He felt that Sachi said something important, but he ignored it. But Sachi didn't say anything. Marco, take me to Hills Island. Whitebeard stood up and took the supreme sharp knife to cut through the cloud, expressionless. I would rather trust it to have it than to trust it to have nothing. Although there is no such sentence in Shanghai, Whitebeard didn't want Sachi to have an accident. Hills Island is too far. It takes at least a day or two to take a boat. Marco is the fastest. Huh? Ahem. Advertisement. Marco was shocked, trying to say something, and stopped immediately when he saw the cold-faced father. The wings spread out and flew up in the air. Look at the Moby DK. Whitebeard dropped a word, jumped up, and landed directly on Marco's back. Because Whitebeard was too tall and his feet were too big, he could only place one foot on Marco's back and the other foot cocked. Everyone. Dad, do you still have this kind of operation? Play Marco as a spaceship. Thank you Marco, Hills Island. Yes, old man. Marco got used to it a long time ago. When he was a teenager, he took the Whitebeard and flew around happily after he ate the fruit of the fantasy beast species for the first time. Only a group of bewildered crew members remained. 10,000 meters under the sea. Dream the Fishmen Island. Inside the palace hall. There is a huge mermaid with a crown of 12 meters high, orange-red curly hair and beard standing sweating profusely. There was also a blue and fat whale shark man beside him, his eyes full of jealousy. A bit disappointed. Lan Yu murmured. As the strongest in the world, Whitebeard, as the overlord of New World, his son lost his sense of measure just like an ordinary grandfather. It's not that Whitebeard cares about his son's bad behavior, but it's a big pirate. Thinking about family all day, a group of stupid sons were all abolished by his overprotection. Few were angry. As a big pirate living on the sea, it is better to take his sons back to his hometown to spend his twilight years. There are more than 2 hours left. In Lan Yu's future, that is an interesting scene. The drama he directed by himself. It would be a shame that Whitebeard did not participate. 7 warlords of the sea? Lan Yu looked at Fat Blue not far away. Seaman Jinbei. About half a year ago, after the death of Fisher Tiger, he took over and became the new captain of the Pirates of the Sun. Jinbei also accepted the invitation of the world government to join 7 warlords of the sea. Murloc Arlong, just because he didn't bother to stay under the umbrella of Jinbei, who he thought was a human running dog, went to East Blue and became an evil dragon. Yes, sir. Jinbei spoke very solemnly. Neptune, the king of the Fishmen Island, was also nervous. This terrifying man. As soon as it came, the whole Fishmen Island was overwhelmed, and both the Murloc and the mermaid knelt. All those pirates and evil parties are wiped out. All those who yelled and tried to resist coercion, such as Hody Jones, etc., died on the spot. Murloc Street was bloody. Up to now, the whole Fishmen Island is full of panic, and I don't know who the other party is and what they're going to do. Your Excellency, Hody Jones, they're hostile to humans, and they are shocked to death by your aura. Jinbei took a deep breath and took a step forward, and said seriously, but the other Murlocs and mermaids are just ordinary residents of the Fishmen Island, please let them go. Jinbei hasn't met Whitebeard yet. The Fishmen Island is not protected by Whitebeard. Because Princess Odahime is not dead. In the original trajectory, Princess Odahime died 10 years ago, 2 years after the Top War. It is now 2 years later. Is Shirahoshi not here yet? Hearing Lan Yu's question, Neptune wiped his sweat and said nervously, quick, come on, Shirahoshi is playful, Odahime has already gone looking for it. Playful? Shirahoshi is only 4 years old now, and Lan Yu didn't find anything like Van der Deacon's 9th. Many things happened after the death of Princess Odahime. Although her thinking was a little stupid, but 663 had to say that when she was there, the Fishmen Island was basically not messed up. So Princess Odahime is very respected. After eating Mikoto's peeled fruit, a specialty of the Fishmen Island, Lan Yu affirmed. I will not do anything to you. I will only take Shirahoshi and move the Fishmen Island away. What? Move away the Fishmen Island? Neptune and Jinbei are shocked. Is this human work? No, is this something that humans can do? Neptune asked heartily. Please, sir, where do you want to move the Fishmen Island? Lan Yu was too lazy to answer. Hyuga Hanabi chuckled. Where do you want to move? Heaven or land? Boom. As if thunder was bursting in the heart, Neptune and Jinbei's eyes widened. In Kuina's confusion, Tick mumbled. Tears fell from Neptune's eyes, and he knelt down, full of pleading and excitement. My lord, if you can move the Fishmen Island to land, you will be grateful, grateful. Neptune can speak clearly. Lan Yu understood the meaning. What is the dream of the Fishmen Island? Desire to live in peace with humans. That was just the dream of the ancestors, and only Princess Odahime was too persistent about it. The Fishmen Island has 5 million residents. Their biggest dream is to go to land and feel the real sunshine. Sun, Earth, can you really do it? At this time, there was a gentle female voice outside the hall. Jinbei said immediately. Princess Odahime and Princess Shirahoshi are here. When the 3 girls looked, both Kuina and Hanabi were stunned. Princess Odahime with long wavy golden hair came with a huge fish mermaid with long pink hair. Princess Odahime is 1 meter, 4 to 5 meters. 4-year-old Shirahoshi is 5 meters tall, OMG. Looking at Princess Odahime, who is more than 1 meter high, and then at Neptune, who is 12 meters high, she is full of astonishment. How did you become a husband and wife? Don't see this scene in person. He couldn't understand Hanabi's consternation. Lan Yu looked in a daze. It's like the ant found a man, Kirby. It's like Kaido found a woman, Lola. This height is poor. It's almost. Chapter 67. Horror, seeing, hearing, color rewriting thinking. Lan Yu moves away from the Fishmen Island. Advertisement, mother. What are they looking at? Shirahoshi, who was nearly 5 meters old when he was only 4 years old, hides behind Princess Odahime, who is 4 to 5 meters old. The voice is soft and crisp, cautiously. The bright blue eyes reveal innocence and curiosity. They're very cute. They are looking at the cute Shirahoshi. Princess Odahime said lovingly, which immediately made Shirahoshi's eyes brighten, but her delicate and pretty face was blushing. Wow, so cute. Hanabi and Kuina looked at Shirahoshi with surprise, and Makoto seemed to have discovered new world. It's so cute that such a tall girl can still be so cute. If it were replaced by someone else, Hanabi might go over and hug him happily. But Shirahoshi, how do they shoot? Sorry, sir, Shirahoshi is a little scared. Princess Odahime spoke apologetically and involuntarily looked at Lan Yu, who was sitting in the middle. You can really move the Fishman Island. The words have not fallen yet. Princess Odahime spit out a mouthful of blood as if severely wounded, her breath was low. My mother. What's wrong with you, Odahime? Shirahoshi and Neptune panicked. Jinbei was also stunned. He swears that he didn't see Lan Yu take action, and even his momentum didn't bloom. Moreover, you shouldn't hurt Princess Odahime. Is it a recurrence of the old injury? Your Majesty, she. Makoto was also a little surprised. Hanabi murmured, don't be touched, porcelain is on the heavens and earth, right? Maybe it's a habit, or maybe it's unconscious. In short, she wanted to listen to my heart, and was bitten back. Lan Yu's opening surprised the three women. Listen to your heart? Lan Yu Jiesho. She is born to see and hear, and can listen to the hearts of others. It's just that Lan Yu automatically shields these detection capabilities, and it's good if it doesn't backlash. How horrible. Shirahoshi didn't understand these worries, but Neptune and Jinbei were shocked. Odahime's sight was at the top right after he was born, and either he could not hear it when he saw Roger, or he could hear everything. But there has never been a backlash. The gap is far beyond imagination. Sorry, my lord, I didn't control my sights and smells, sorry. Princess Odahime spoke apologetically, she was really unintentional. After all, Lan Yu coerced the Fishman Island as soon as she came, she didn't dare to offend. No problem. Lan Yu didn't care. I have to say that Princess Odahime stood at the apex of countless people when she was born, especially seeing and hearing S**X. The sight of Princess Odahime is more than just feeling the other's thoughts and emotions. The most terrifying, it can convey one's own consciousness to others, influence their minds and thoughts and have a strong resonance, and can even change the other's values and ideology. Can be called one of the highest level of knowledge. Like conquerors, Princess Odahime's ability to see, hear, and see, can't be obtained by others through practice. Special unique talent, the weakened version of distinguished heavenly gods, the perfect speaker, and the top-notch mouth. This is Lan Yu's evaluation of Odahime. A speech by Odahime can resonate with 5 million people in the Fishman Island, and even many people's thoughts are affected. If Odahime can strengthen this ability, it is to open distinguished heavenly gods anytime, anywhere. The mother and daughter both have the qualifications to become top powerhouses. After looking at Odahime, Lan Yu turned to Shirahoshi, who was crying with worry. 4-year-old Shirahoshi has never experienced the death of Odahime, let alone the guy ship of Van der Daken Ix, the most innocent and happy age. Your Majesty, is she Poseidon? With that said, Makoto's expression is slightly weird, and the word Poseidon has been broken by imperial netizens. Well, I haven't awakened yet. With Lan Yu, Makoto is still a little confused. According to His Majesty, if Poseidon is fully awakened, he can command the world's sea kings to destroy the world. No one in this world can stop it. Because Sea Kings is the real master of this world, countless super giant Sea Kings have more human wisdom and terrifying power. Pluton, which belongs to the three ancient weapon, is weak. Makoto wondered. You hit the island again, but you are a ship after all, and any dozen super giant Sea Kings can overturn it. Is it still a flying giant ship? Can Uranus destroy the world? It doesn't make sense to think about it, maybe there are some surprises. Looking at Makoto, Lan Yu whispered. Makoto smiled and said, that's really exciting, I hope Uranus is not too weak. Lan Yu didn't make any observations either. But in Wangquan, I heard the voice of Sea Kings. Our Lord was born, and a king on the other side of the sea is about to be born, and the two kings will eventually meet again. This sentence is very interesting. Arouse infinite reverie. At the sign of Lan Yu, Makoto got up and walked over. I'll just say it once. Shirahoshi will be handed over to the Empire for training, and the Fishman Island will also be brought to the Empire land. Is there any problem? Empire. Holy Empire. Shirahoshi cried and blinked curiously, and the Odahime trio were shocked again. Do you have an opinion? Makoto looked at 7 warlords of the sea. Jinbei. The title of 7 warlords of the sea has been around for a long time, but it has never been completed. No opinion. Jinbei lowered his head, weak. Who dared to say something? That is the horror that the world government has no choice but to return to the empire. Princess Odahime couldn't help but said, Shirahoshi, can I see her again? 3 silly sons. A daughter. Shirahoshi is Odahime's heart. Makoto said directly. Cultivation is not imprisonment, you can go home during holidays. Odahime and others breathed a sigh of relief. Although the empire is domineering, it is reasonable. The residents of the Fishman Island must know that they will cheer. Because of the northern state of the empire, some Murlocs and Merfolk went there and brought back news that shocked Odahime. Where are the Murlocs and Murlocs not discriminated against and live peacefully with humans? No one dared to sell them. Not only Murlocs, many other races have gone to North State, and there are even giants. Odahime wanted to visit the empire, but was stopped by Neptune. The sea is too dangerous. Advertisement. Yes, the Fishman Island will join the empire from today. As a king, Neptune is still bold and decided immediately. Masters, Shirahoshi is still a little playful. If you do anything offensive, please forgive me. She will be handed over to the Empire. Otahime didn't say anything. It is the safest to hand it over to the Empire. Shirahoshi. Quack, so am I being sold by my father? Seeing this, Hanabi was full of expectations. May I make Shirahoshi smaller? I want to hug her, it's so cute. Shirahoshi flushed again suddenly. I don't know if it is timid or fearful, hiding behind Neptune. Seeing this, Hanabi wanted to hug more. Otahime puzzled and said, you have misunderstood something. Murlocs and mermaids can't change their size. Cannot. Hanabi was puzzled, and looked at Neptune and Otahime again. Don't lie to me, each of you is more than 10 meters and the other is less than 1 meter and 5. How did you give birth to Shirahoshi? In an instant, the audience fell silent. What devil question? This, this. Neptune didn't say a word for a long time. This issue involves privacy, he can only find such a small one. Okay, Hanabi. Signaling Hanabi to retreat, Lan Yu lightly clicked, and a ray of light enveloped Shirahoshi. Under the shock of Otahime and others, Shirahoshi's body kept shrinking, and soon became a 4-year-old ordinary mermaid. More delicate and lovely. So cute. I want to hug too. As Hanabi and Kuina rushed over, Makoto was also gentle and smiling. Such a cute girl who doesn't want to hug. Otahime hasn't held her a few times. Shirahoshi grew up too fast, much taller than her. Let me in, I have something to tell His Majesty the King and Princess Otahime. At this time, a crisp female voice came from outside the hall, very anxious. Neptune frowned. Jinbei, go see. Buzz. Lan Yu glanced. The space rippled, and the mermaid outside the hall suddenly came to the hall. Xiarli. Seeing the great blue shark with short black hair appeared holding a crystal ball, Neptune exclaimed. Although Xiarli is Arlong's younger sister, in Neptune's cognition, she is even a top fortune teller. At the age of 4, he predicted the coming of the Great Pirate Era and answered Roger's question. The mermaid princess will be born in 10 years. It made Roger feel that he came early. Today's Xiarli, every time the prediction is extremely accurate, it is trusted by Neptune. Something big happened. Xiarli didn't care how he came in suddenly, and hurriedly said, I saw the Fishman Island 10,000 meters deep in the deep sea, and there was nothing left. What? Neptune and others were surprised. Immediately under Xiarli's sluggishness, Neptune was full of surprises and turned around full of thanks. Thank you, sir, thank you, our dream has finally come true. How could it be this reaction? Xiarli couldn't help looking at the person Neptune thanked Lan Yu. What a detached temperament. Subconsciously, Xiarli rolled the crystal ball. Lan Yu's words sounded. I advise you not to divvy up my affairs, you will die. Backlash. Otahime thought of vomiting blood just now, and she hurriedly said softly, Xiarli, it's okay, the Empire will move the Fishman Island to land. Boom. It doesn't make sense to stay here. Lan Yu slowly raised his hand, the whole island trembled. Quickly, inform the residents, don't panic, it is the adults of the Empire who are helping us to fulfill our dreams. Neptune said. He also ran out of the hall with Otahime, and they wanted to witness the Fishman Island lift off with their own eyes. And outside the Fishman Island, the terrifying sea kings, which are more than 5 kilometers in size, looked at the Fishman Island with humanized eyes worriedly. What's wrong with the Fishman Island? Our king is still on it, so don't let anything go wrong. Boom. The Fishman Island is affected by gravity, completely separated from the bottom of the sea, and has repulsive force to sway the sea water, allowing the Fishman Island to lift off. Your king, I'll take it away. When countless sea kings tried to stop them, a flat sound rang from their ears. Terrible. No number, Zhao's sea king's eyes were full of horror, it was the trembling of the soul. Subconsciously retreated thousands of meters. Wow. Also when they retreat, the Fishman Island floated very fast for kilometers, and 5 meters, and soon broke out of the sea. Like a streamer. Flew towards Anbeijo. Countless guarded sea kings fell in love. Wong, don't go. More than 2 hours later. New World. Hills Island. Sachi led the team to solve the pirate ship and was clearing the harvest. Ha 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 ha. The harvest is really good, presumably the old man will be happy too. Sachi smiled satisfied, and quickly looked at Teach in surprise. Teach changed his usual attitude of ignoring treasure, and was frantically opening boxes to find something. Even the eyes are red. The purple-black fruit, the fruit they said must be that. Damn it, where is it hiding? Teach's eyes were bloodshot, and I hope it was given to him. If he couldn't find it, he would vomit blood. Teach, what's the matter? Saki was puzzled. He opened a box casually, and his eyes suddenly lit up. There really is devil fruit. There was one lying quietly inside. Devil fruit series with purple and black patterns. It's it. Hearing what Sachi said, Teach suddenly turned around, his heart beating. Dark fruit. His dreams and future. Chapter 68. Blackbeard Teach cried. This is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Advertisement. Thief ha 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 ha, found it. This fruit was finally found by Lousy. The moment he saw dark fruit, Teach went crazy with excitement. He will never read it wrong, and every pattern is the same as the illustrated book he has seen. He is 28 years old this year. Joined the Whitebeard Pirates at the age of 12. Because he has calculated through detailed calculations, the Whitebeard Pirates has a huge power, and here is the best chance of getting dark fruit. But reality is cruel. 1 year, 10 years, 16 years. Gradually, Teach no longer holds any hope. Finding a needle in a haystack is too difficult, so stay in the Whitebeard Pirates for a lifetime. Years ago, Teach even thought of defecting, joining the Holy Empire, finding the fruit and defecting again. White Zetsu. Son thief, you know how to play. Of course, just think about it. Teach thought the Empire was too dangerous and finally gave up. Now, the dream is here. What kind of fruit is this? After Sachi took it out, a lot of younger brothers gathered around. What did they say? Logia, Paramesha, and what others said? Zone wild boar fruit. Lousy scares you. Teach looked like a hillbilly, full of disdain. Such awesome Logia, how did you connect with the wild boar fruit? Teach, do you know? Sachi looked at Teach. He remembered that Teach, who was honest, innocent and kind, not good at speech, and sincere and humble, knew fruit well. What? Teach came over with a confused expression, scratched his head, and said with a simple face. Captain Sachi, although I have read the devil fruit illustration book, I have forgotten a bit. Would you like me to study it? The implication. Bring you. That's it. Sachi looked at the fruit and felt that Teach was right, so he threw it away. Captain you. Seeing the dream in his heart so easily obtained, Teach couldn't help stammering. I couldn't believe it for a while. Haha 723 haha, seeing you are nervous, you don't think you accidentally catch it, it will fall on the ground and break, right? Seeing Teach being honest, Saki patted him on the shoulder. As a chef, I often go fishing in the sea and I am not interested in fruits. You have done your research and tell me that if you have good abilities, the old man will be happy. Speaking of which, Saki turned around and shouted, all the treasures will be carried up and present to the father. Oh. The boys are full of enthusiasm. Teach hugged dark fruit and looked at it quietly, feeling excited. Sachi, you are really naive, so that's okay, save trouble. Teach wanted to eat it in one bite. But I have endured it for so long, and it will not be too late to endure it. This is a desert island. Captain Sachi, I went to study. Seeing Teach holding dark fruit back to the boat without saying a word, Sachi couldn't help but smile. Teach is really energetic, everyone hurry up. 10 minutes. Teach looked at dark fruit on the table, his expression constantly changing. What if I am found after eating it? Will Sachi want to kill me? As soon as he does it, I have to resist. If I kill him, where can I escape? Teach thought maliciously, for such a precious devil fruit, he didn't believe that Saki didn't care. But Teach obviously wanted more, because Sachi really didn't care, even if Teach ate it, it wouldn't matter. They are brothers. What can not be discussed? Thief ha. I'm afraid of this, lousy as a pirate, when has he been so timid? What about the Holy Empire? Human dreams will never end. Teach laughed frantically, picking up the dark fruit and preparing to spray it down. Also at this time, oops, the hatch opened and Teach was taken aback. Teach only has one thought left, and Saki really cares, he has been guarding it all the time. Teach, you smile so happily, you recognize. Sachi took a jug of wine and walked in with a smile, not finished. Suddenly startled. Die. Because Teach picked up a knife, it rushed towards him extremely fast. Saki only felt a flower in front of him, and the tip of the knife was only a few centimeters away from him. It's all about killing him. Resist. Sachi has been completely blanked by Teach's actions, and he never dreamed that Teach would kill him. Not to mention, Teach's speed surpassed his reaction, not his usual strength at all. Teach is going to kill me. Have you been hiding power all the time? Only this sentence remained in Sachi's mind. Boom. At the moment he was about to pierce Sachi, Teach's hair exploded and felt the danger of horror. The top of the ship shattered in an instant, and a terrifying shock force flew Teach away. Bang. Teach smashed the cabin all the way and landed on the desert island. Puff cough. Teach was full of horror. At that moment, he felt that he was going to die, and immediately looked at dark fruit in his arms. Turning around and running without thinking, he wants to run into the sea and swim. Father. After Sachi recovered, I saw that the cabin was all broken, and a tall figure stood on the deck without expression, full of murderous intent. Don't go there. Holding Sachi, Marco shook his head, also angrily said, damn Teach, he wants to kill you. In order to get there as soon as possible, Marco flew in desperately with Whitebeard, arriving 10 minutes ago. Don't go down yet, look again. These were Whitebeard's words. He wanted to see who would kill Sachi. There was no one else around. Can watch and watch. Just saw that scene. Anything can be forgiven, but killing family members cannot be forgiven. One can imagine how angry Whitebeard was. If he doesn't come, or arrives so late, Sachi is dead. Advertisement. Teach. Seeing Teach escape to the sea without thinking, Whitebeard punched in heartache and anger. Boom. The atmosphere is full of cracks like glass. The sea in front was turbulent and turned into a tsunami that swept through, directly rolling Teach from the coast to the interior of the desert island. Saki looked complicated and said, Father, Teach, he may be. To shut up. Seeing that Sachi wanted to intercede, Whitebeard yelled, then said in a deep voice. Being a man is to be moral. Teach this kid understands that it is not Lousy's responsibility. Brush. Whitebeard jumped onto the island and walked towards Teach calmly. That guy. Marco clenched his fists. He has long discovered that Teach is unusual, because Teach does not need to sleep, and his body is different from ordinary people. But never thought that Teach would kill his companions. The Fishman Island is flying to North State. AHFH, Lan Yu slowed down. She was watching a movie, and moved the time and space to start the live broadcast. That is the strongest in the world. Hanabi and Kuina, holding Shirahoshi who was reduced by Lan Yu, looked at them intently. Makoto whispered, Your Majesty, will Whitebeard kill that person? Will not. Lan Yu definitely spoke. Teach is a killer because of the villain's heart, the belly of Kunzi, maliciously guessing Saki. However, it was blocked. The result is that Sachi is intact, Teach runs away, and Whitebeard can find 10,000 reasons not to kill Teach. Because Teach is his raised son. In crime, education is just fine. A bit disappointed, he is really not suitable for being a pirate. Lan Yu watched Whitebeard's movements. If you really want to kill Teach, Teach has died dozens of times just now. Keep your hands everywhere and get killed sooner or later. Guru. Old man. Teach crawled on the ground, looking at Whitebeard who was coming by in horror. You must know that Whitebeard is only 62 years old now, not 72 years from now. Although the old injuries started to recur, they still stood at the top. Only you are not worthy of being my son, Teach. Whitebeard said indifferently and ruthlessly, You violated the only iron rule on my ship and killed your companion. Father, I didn't kill Saki. It was an accident. I was wrong. I didn't rest well last night. Daddy, I was wrong. Teach knelt on the ground and cried. His eyes were full of remorse and self-blame, and his face was full of repentance. Whitebeard said coldly, Is it true that Lousy is blind? You want to eat a ridiculous devil fruit, afraid that Sachi will find it and hurt the killer. Seeing Teach scrambling for reasons, seemingly regretful, but just wanting to live, Whitebeard became even more angry. Come and make a break, Teach. Teach cried. I really don't show any mercy at all. Thief ha 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 ha, don't you just want to kill me? Saki is your son, am I not? Teach turned over, took out the dark fruit, and went dark, and it spurted wildly, with nothing left. Thief ha ha ha, power, I feel the turbulent power. From today, Lousy is Blackbeard. Feeling a little stronger, Teach laughed wildly. See it, this is the ability I have waited on your boat for more than 10 years. The world's strongest ability. Whitebeard couldn't help but wonder. Teach was added for this fruit. Tolerate for more than 10 years. With such excellent patience, if you don't do anything well, you must be a traitor. I said Daddy, although I have sincerely admired you, but you are already old. So old that, the little girl that the Empire is afraid of, I am, huh? Teach said, feeling something was wrong. Eating the fruit only strengthened a little physique, why hasn't the power of darkness appeared yet? That B asterisk 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 D. Marco and Sachi almost ran away with Teach's words. No one is allowed to shoot. Whitebeard yelled loudly and walked towards Teach whose expression was constantly changing. Buzz. A white aperture appeared in the left hand, shocking power. I thought I was invincible after eating a fruit. Whitebeard said coldly. Embarrassment and recklessness are your greatest weakness. Let's talk about the disabled. When Whitebeard started, Teach screamed in disbelief. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Boom. Whitebeard dropped a punch. Teach only felt the pressure from the mountains, terrible pain from his body, and the whole person flew upside down again. Smash dozens of boulders. Impossible. How could this happen? Fake. All fake. Teach fell on the ground ignoring the injuries on his body, his eyes were filled with dull murmurs, and tears slipped down. I do not believe. What a joke. Lousy doesn't believe it. Endless darkness, come out. With Teach's painful roar. Whitebeard moved for a while. Marco was shocked, and Sachi was also stunned. The rest of the pirates all stared. Ha 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 ha. When a pig cry rang, everyone recovered and Whitebeard was silent. Teach's body swelled. It turned into a plain black wild boar with shiny black hair, thumping pig legs, and grunting angrily. ... You go. Quote. Whitebeard spoke suddenly. He felt that Teach was a bit pathetic. For a so-called zone wild boar fruit, tolerated on his boat for more than 10 years, and tried to kill his companions. This caused Whitebeard's 3 views to collapse. Goo la la la, I actually have such a son. Whitebeard laughed, his eyes full of sadness. Your dream is wild boar fruit. You said it earlier. Lousy can find you a bunch of fruits that are stronger than wild boar. Teach's IQ. It made Whitebeard want to hold this silly son of mental retardation in his arms and comfort him, which made him feel very distressed. But he broke the iron law. Chapter 69. My poor son, you really are not as good as a pig. Advertisement. Teach. Wow. Whitebeard's grief. With a sliding shovel, Sachi slipped from Teach who became a boar, hugged him, and cried loudly. Woo, it's all my fault, I didn't see it sooner. Wow, if I saw earlier that you are mentally retarded, I would not take you out, I will find the best doctor to cure you. Teach. Woo, it's so pathetic. Everyone was in a trance. For the wild boar fruit, Teach had to endure more than 10 years on the boat, and had to kill his companions. What is this? Obviously a mental retardation. The others are damned. But if the mentally retarded is his own brother, everything is easy to say. My brother is too pitiful. Marco also had red eyes. I was wrong too. My brother Teach is plain and honest, kind and loving, hardworking. I wanted to kill him just now. Teach doesn't need to sleep because there is a problem. I am obviously dying, but I didn't find it. See this scene. Whitebeard opened his mouth and finally sighed. Teach, I care too little about you, I must have suffered a lot, right? My poor son. My son is a mentally handicapped type of mental illness. The act of killing Saki is understandable. After all, mental illness can do anything. But rules are rules. Don't misteach because he is mentally retarded and mentally ill. At least get out of Baituan. Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. See Hanabi et al. Full of confusion. What happened? Makoto was in a daze for a moment, puzzled. Your Majesty, isn't this situation right? Teach tried to kill his companions for dark fruit, why are you still caring about him? Hanabi and Kuina nodded again and again. The 4-year-old Shirahoshi also fluttered at Lan Yu with big blue eyes. Who said dark fruit? Lan Yu pointed to the black-haired wild boar who kept moaning and crying on the screen. At least Whitebeard they saw was that Teach became a wild boar. Then they naturally think that Teach has been fighting for the wild boar fruit for more than 10 years and will kill his companions. If Obito endures for more than 10 years for a piece of gold, he still has to kill Kakashi and sentence the empire. What do you say Obito is? This analogy. One woman and 3 loli suddenly realized. Hanabi said directly. Obito is a mentally retarded, incompetent child, his brain is flooded. Correct. Lan Yu nodded slightly, looked at the screen and said. Then it is easy to understand. My son and my brother are mentally retarded. Although they have made mistakes, they are even more distressing. Obito. No if, I am not. Although it is the truth. But Makoto's expression is still very strange. It looks like this on the surface, but in fact. Blame me Makoto knows so much. Your Majesty transforms dark fruit, is this the one who shouted Blackbeard? Still in Whitebeard, I just want to go to the theater. After reading Makoto's thoughts, Lan Yu vetoed it. He really just wanted to watch the show. Ace was taken to the Academy of Sciences by Enel, and the original trajectory was completely messed up. The original top war is gone. There is no Blackbeard vs Whitebeard. This duel is the most exciting. All the other actors except Akainu are so exciting. Top war. Thinking of this war, Lan Yu had an epiphany. The top war refers to the biggest war that broke out between the pirates and the Marines since the beginning of the era of the pirates. Minato caught Jack, it only affected Beast's pirates, not enough. Lan Yu thought. Under the first female third, lowly stunned. Take out an ordinary devil fruit again in his hand. It became like dark fruit. Threw into the space Uzumaki. Who does your Majesty want to pit? This is Loli's idea. Ha 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 ha. Boar Teach has been humming, but his voice is full of pain, despair and anger. From dark fruit to wild boar fruit. Such as the world's richest man go to the streets to beg. Who can stand this? Emotions are severely out of control. If this continues, even if Teach is not mentally retarded or mentally ill, sooner or later he will become a lunatic. Daddy. Sachi and Marco couldn't help but speak. Their brother is really pitiful. To shut up. Seeing that the two wanted to intercede with Teach, Whitebeard could only suppress his distress, and said in a deep voice. Wrong is wrong. No matter what the reason, he violated the iron rule. Let him fend for himself, let's go. Whitebeard turned around after speaking. It's just that the back is a bit older. I don't care much about my son Teach, and now I know that he is mentally handicapped, and Whitebeard believes that he is also at fault. He didn't take good care of his son. Be sure to check every time when you go back. There can be no more mentally handicapped people who have not found it. As Whitebeard turned and left, Sachi and Marco just sighed. They understand the pain of the father. If it is just because Teach is mentally ill, nothing will happen. Other people can also violate the iron rule and pretend to be mentally ill. All messy. Teach, I don't blame you, who made you have low IQ, low energy, or mental illness, but I believe you can survive. I will save you a small boat, alas. Sachi sighed, combed the wild boar Teach's hair, turned and left. Marco also opened his mouth. I'm not sure you can understand. Don't say that you are daddy's after you leave, because daddy has too many enemies and you will die. Take care of yourself, Teach. One after another. When everyone left, Teach finally recovered from the great despair, changed from the wild boar back to the original body. Thief ha 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 ha. Lousy survived, unexpectedly because of a ridiculous wild boar fruit. Teach's eyes were flushed, bruises raged on his face. Mentally retarded, mental illness. He would rather be really mentally retarded than eat the wild boar fruit by himself. What? Teach roared, his eyes filled with ultimate resentment. Damn its world government, you cheat me. The Devil Fruit illustrated book was compiled by them. Teach swears that he remembered correctly, but the fruit has changed, it must have been deliberate. The strongest fruit is deliberately hidden. Deliberately abolish the strongest in the future. Thief ha 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 ha. Advertisement. Teach's laughter gradually changed from despair to determination. Human dreams will never end. What about wild boar fruit? Teach has been able to endure it for so many years, his character has been tempered into steel long ago, and a little blow is nothing. Thief ha ha ha, there is a kind of wild dog fruit for Lousy, Lousy is not afraid. Teach looked towards the sky and laughed wildly. He doesn't need to sleep, and his body structure is different from others. It's okay to eat another fruit. He still has hope. Just when Teach got up, a purple-black devil fruit forms a perfect parabola. It fell straight to Teach's feet. Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. Teach's eyes widened. This color, this shape, this pattern. Another dark fruit. Do not. Teach immediately rejected his idea, and his expression changed. I was wrong before, and there is nothing wrong with the devil fruit illustrated book, but I confessed it to the utmost. Maybe the wild boar fruit looks similar to dark fruit. And I was too excited to admit that I was wrong. But this must be correct. Teach. In despair, he caught the last straw. Where did the fruit come from? It does not matter. The important thing is hope in despair, which everyone wants to grasp. Thief, ha 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 ha. Whitebeard, you didn't kill me is the worst decision. I will make all of you regret it. As Teach laughed, he couldn't control his hands and mouth in the end. Picked up the fruit and carefully read it dozens of times. 0. Look for flowers. Yes, this is true. Crack, click. Teach frantically whistle. There is no scum left. He, so pitiful. Hanabi, who was watching the live broadcast, murmured. Surprisingly, little Shirahoshi understood, and nodded repeatedly. Well, that Black Lord is so pitiful. Lan Yu calmly said. Poor people must have something to hate. Until now, Teach wanted to avenge Whitebeard, and God knows what he thinks. Maybe it's the power of envious Whitebeard. Ah, I heard that the fruit is more unpalatable than Shang. You are so happy to eat. Who is it? Suddenly remembered a voice. Teach aroused, and the moment he turned his head to look, his complexion changed drastically. You are. Teach's eyes were horrified. His pale face and joking expression made him want to beat him with a mean expression. It's memorable. Holy Empire White Zetsu. After eating 2 devil fruits and not dead, you are so terrible. White Zetsu followed Kizaru's words with an exaggerated expression. He was really surprised. Even Orochimaru said it. Eliminating the side effects of devil fruit is no problem, but eating different devil fruit is equivalent to collision of 2 different energies in the body. There is no doubt that ordinary people will die. But Teach, nothing happened. After the panic, Teach turned and ran, and by the way, he felt dark fruit. White Zetsu watched quietly. Really? After running tens of meters. Teach growled hysterically. Why is this happening? What am I doing wrong? Teach is crazy, constantly bombarding the surroundings, frantically piercing his lungs. Fake. They are all fake. Get out of here. Boom. Teach swelled. It quickly became a wild boar, but quickly turned into a small curly puppies. Zone dog fruit teddy shape. Wow. Hum. In White Zetsu, it was also shocked. The wild boar is compatible with Teddy, and has become a dark brown curly monster with a dog-headed pig body, a front dog's legs, and a rear pig's hooves. What is this? White Zetsu thought of a word. You really are. Pigs and dogs are not as good. Only this word can perfectly describe the external and internal of Teach. Hey, even someone like me thinks you are a bit pitiful. White Zetsu sighed and said, but his eyes were full of smiles. If you read it right, it was a teddy dog. Some kind of come on me. Brush. Lan Yu closed the live broadcast immediately. 2 spicy eyes. Teddy has boundless mana every day, and if White Zetsu is careless, he may be killed. After a few minutes, Hills Island. White Zetsu yelled angrily. You damn wild boar, dead dog, it's real. You are dead, I said, Whitebeard can't save you. Boom. I don't know what terrible force it suffered, and the Isle of Hills collapsed directly. On a ship sailing dozens of nautical miles away. Whitebeard was silent, and everyone did not speak, nor did they go to observe the island with sight, hearing and color. But now, is the island broken? The broken island in the distance awakened everyone, and Whitebeard was the first to stand up. See, hear, and perceive the past. There is no figure on it. Teach. Seeing this, Marco immediately turned into a phoenix, and flew over with Whitebeard. After a while, only saw the collapsed Hills Island, without Teach's figure. Father, look there. Looking in the direction Marco pointed, Whitebeard only saw it. Some rubble on the sea surface was affected by strange energy, floating on the sea surface, forming 9 characters. I'm in North State. Whoever saves is a dog. Chapter 70. Your Majesty's couch. The concubine's body is warmed up. The lady boss is marine. Advertisement. Dad. Looking at the 9 words on the sea, Marco didn't know what to say. There is a bitterness between the lines. Could it be that the Empire's White Zetsu took Teach? Should we go? Speaking of this, Marco's face went dark. What is a person in Beijo, who is saving and who is a dog, what should he say? Marco looked at Whitebeard. Presumably the old man is more upset. Teach violated the iron rule and just decided to deny this son. Something went wrong. Marco sighed inwardly. If Teach is captured by the Empire without committing a crime, he will definitely say, Daddy, let's save Teach. But now, if you go to rescue Teach and are known by other crew members, what should you think? Others. Teach violated the iron rule. If you didn't kill him, it would be cheaper for him. Why should we save him? Why should we die for a traitor? Is Tai a joke? Thinking of this, Marco felt big. Although the father said that they had to go if they didn't go, they lost the popular mind. Even if Teach is rescued, Bai will be in chaos. Gum la 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 la. What do you think, Marco? To be a man is to be moral. Whitebeard was silent for a moment, and laughed bravely. Teach has deviated from morality. It has nothing to do with us whether it is life or death. Marco's forehead. He understands what the old man meant. If he takes them to save Teach, then he has lost his morality to them, and he is not responsible for them. But Marco heard the grief in the heart of Baihu's, 66-0. After all, he raised his silly son. Father, He doesn't want to save him alone. Marco suddenly came up with this idea. Immediately deny. No. Be sure to persuade the old man after you go back. The betrayal teach, whether stupid or not, is not worth saving. Let's go. Whitebeard turned around resolutely. With the two people leaving, a space swayed Uzumaki. White Zetsu walked out and looked at Teach, who was fainted in his hand, and said speechlessly, "You fool, Whitebeard didn't want to save you. Can't you betray later? It's sloppy." But, having said this, the White Zetsu thief laughed. "I have escaped today, but after all, I can't escape tomorrow. It's just sooner or later." Thinking of a certain hockey man, White Zetsu took Teach into the space and went to the Academy of Sciences. That one, but he is very interested in your strength, Whitebeard. If you can't please him. But it's going to die. At the same time, over North Blue, Lan Yu, who had taken the Fishmen Island into the Imperial Realm, withdrew his gaze. For Whitebeard did not choose to save Teach, there is no disappointment. Traitors are not worth saving. Very sensible choice. Your Majesty, it's so big, it's really too big. Little Shirahoshi cheered, running around on the clouds above the Fishmen Island, constantly calling Your Majesty, looking at the Beijo below. It is Shirahoshi's habit to call an adult. The gentle and kind-hearted woman always adds an adult after her title. The surprising part is, Shirahoshi, 4 years old, has grown legs, and his height is no different from that of an ordinary girl. Lan Yu made it. Although the mermaid is good, it's better to have legs on the shore. It's great to have legs, Your Majesty is really amazing, Shirahoshi is so admirable. Shirahoshi was very happy. The mermaid only had legs after 30 years old. She had it at such a young age and felt that she was also a small adult. Slow down, Shirahoshi, don't fall down. Hanabi chased Shirahoshi on the clouds. Sister Hanabi, come after Shirahoshi. Okay, if I chase you, I have to hug me for an hour, no, 2 hours. This scene, Lan Yu couldn't help laughing, and then looked at North Blue, looking for a place for the Fishman Island to settle down. The merger with North State will definitely not work. He can guarantee that as soon as the Fishman Island merges, it will be overwhelmed by countless onlookers. Because there are too many mermaids. Daughter, Island. Lan Yu looked at North Blue and found that there was a small island 100 nautical miles away from the South Blue shore in the east of Beijo. It is Daughter Island. Hinata should have moved here. Daughter Island is also not suitable for merging with Beijo, where the attraction is not weaker than the Fishman Island, which is full of women. Both islands will move back to the imperial capital in the future. Just put it there. Lan Yu the Fishman Island is located on the Daughter Island hundreds of nautical miles away, facing each other in the distance. At the same time, North State Center, a tall woman with extraordinary charm walked down the street, whispering something. As soon as the woman appeared, it attracted countless eyes, full of surprises. Why hasn't Your Majesty come back? No, what if Your Majesty comes back today? Ah, my concubine is so nervous. Thinking of the task Hinata had arranged for him, Hancock's cheeks were full of red stars. The heart has to jump out. The concubine has studied for many days and asked a lot of people before I know what a warm couch means. It's going to be a warm couch, isn't that just getting married? The concubine is going to marry Your Majesty. Hancock murmured, feeling difficult to breathe, and was about to faint. Thinking so, Hancock almost fell. There was also a chuckle female voice. Hancock, what's the matter with you? How do you feel that you have a heavy heart every day? No. Although I don't quite understand it, but, you are in love, right? Which man is so lucky? The doubtful female voice sounded again and again. In love. Hancock was startled, his cheeks flushed a little bit, and his mind was full of illusions. Is it in love? After thinking about it, Hancock denied. The concubine's body is going to warm up soon, that's not love. Yes, my concubine is going to get married. Warm up. Advertisement. Mary. Guion couldn't help but startled. The reason why Gideon knew Hancock. It's because for more than a month, Hancock has been coming to his flower shop to buy flowers, and then, like a man's stone, he stands on a high place to look at the sky and the sea. Guion couldn't help but marvel at Hancock's perseverance and sincerity. Is she waiting for a man? Come in, you are too attractive, it's not good to stand on the street. After regaining consciousness, Guion brought Hancock into the flower shop that she had been in North State for 7 years. Like an ordinary proprietress, Guion asked casually, what kind of flowers are you buying today? Or is it a rose? Hancock nodded subconsciously, and then said, there are still tulips. Jiwon couldn't help but smiled. It seems that you are really in love. The flower language of tulips represents the confession of love, the innocent and eternal love. I wish you happiness and give birth to a child soon. No, no, Hancock, who was 19 years old with little experience, could not stand Guion's ridicule, and his cheeks blushed again. She just thought of getting married, and Guion mentioned the child directly. Hancock was really going to faint. What are you shy? A woman will marry sooner or later. While talking, Guion arranged the flowers, thinking something in his heart. 7 years. Sister do you know how I spent the past 7 years? 4 words. Plain as water. I sit and watch the North State becoming more and more prosperous every day, sitting with the happy smiles of the common people, sitting and watching the greatness of the empire. Undercover Guion Jinping fell. Perhaps, forget everything, it's not bad to open a flower shop for a lifetime here, I'm used to it. Gion thought so. She couldn't reach the top of the empire at all, and even the soldiers of the empire couldn't find a good reason to contact. Just a foreigner in a flower shop in the northern state of the empire. Sister I'm sorry, I really don't want to hurt Hancock. Hancock was the only woman that Gion had come into contact with and knew the high-ranking women of the empire, but Gion was defeated by Hancock's innocence. Found in Gion. Although Hancock is Tsunere, it is a flawless white paper. Regardless of height and age, there may not be as many ordinary little girls in other seas as experienced, too simple 0. Growth process. There is only practice and cultivation, and people don't know much about human relationships and sophistication. Gion, you took the wrong flower. Seeing that Gion's thoughts were all messed up, Hancock reminded him. Feel sorry. Gion used his thoughts and glanced at Hancock again. Oni-san is a young girl, how do you let her cheat and hurt this beautiful woman? Perhaps waiting for the Empire to take down Marine and the whole world, I won't have any worries. Gion suddenly raised the idea of letting all Marine join the Empire. Compared to the Empire, the world government is not worthy of Marine's effectiveness. Gion, you got it wrong again. Hancock said, also somewhat puzzled. The reason why she came to the flower shop in Gion to buy flowers was because the other party was the most beautiful proprietress in the center of Beishu, and she was a woman. For dozens of days in a row, I have been familiar with each other a long time ago. In Hancock's eyes, Gion is a woman boss who is meticulous in everything she does and is extremely responsible. There are many advantages in her body that are worthy of her learning. But today one after another went wrong. Sorry, because her heart is upset. Before Gion finished speaking, there was a calm and quiet voice outside the door. When Hancock looked back, he was pleasantly surprised. Sister Robin, why are you here? Robin's eyelids twitched slightly. I can't find the superiority of my sister in Hinata's sister, so I call her sister all day long. You stand aside first. Signaling Hancock not to make trouble, Robin glanced at Gion, took out a document and said, Your Majesty is about to return. Ah, Your Majesty is coming back. Before Robin finished speaking, Hancock screamed, holding both hands together, spinning around at a loss. When Your Majesty comes back, you can go to the warm couch. You can refuse. Hancock couldn't forget Hinata's words. Refuse. Why refuse? Hancock, grew up on Daughter's Island and hated any other man, but it didn't include the Great Majesty. Sister Hinata is an idol. Master Kagaya is the idol of Sister Hinata. Your Majesty is the idol of Master Kagaya. Then Your Majesty is the idol of my Hancock idol. Your Majesty's couch, the concubine's body is warm and stable. Robin has a black line. You really messed up. Seeing Hancock who has entered a certain fantasy and began to indulge, Robin continued, Your Majesty is about to return, and the land of the North State needs to be cleaned up, such as Marine Vice Admiral Undercover, Gion. 5.7. What? In a word, Hancock was pulled out of the happiness fantasy, and he looked at Gion in disbelief. What surprised Robin was, Gion calmly arranged the flowers and moved towards Hancock. Here are your roses and tulips. I wish you happiness. Thanks. Hancock took it subconsciously, and then frowned. Is she really an undercover agent? After Robin Liu was surprised, he calmly said, It seems that you were ready to be discovered. It should be said that you have discovered me a long time ago, and have not been able to respond. Gion believes in his own judgment. The more lives in North State, the more you can understand the power of the Empire. No matter how Marshal Sengoku erased her record of existence, she would still be found out. Robin didn't refute, and said, In that case, come with me. Hold on. Jiwan said and looked at Hancock. You are too naive, and sooner or later you will suffer. I will teach you a lesson today. Don't trust anyone easily. Jin. The moment when the sword appeared in Gion's hand. Sister Robin, protect your concubine's flowers, and you must not break them. After handing the flowers to Robin, Hancock's eyes narrowed slightly. Boom. Conquerors erupted. My concubine will tell you too. Chapter 71. Hancock kills Gion in a second, and successfully arrests Queen of the Pleasure District. Advertisement. Conquerors. Seeing the cracks in the ground of the flower shop, Gion marveled at Hancock Conqueror's power. She also feels stagnant. Mistaken. The conquerors of the concubine's body is not enough to shatter the object, so Reiatsu is blessed. Hancock said. The perfect control aura avoided the flowers in the flower shop and turned and walked out of the flower shop. If you want to fight, come with your concubine. Brush. Hancock disappeared. Seeing Gion preparing to keep up, Robin said calmly, Although you didn't do extra work in the honest flower shop in Beijo, you did not harm the people of the Empire. I don't care what friendship you have with Hancock, now you have only two choices. First join, second, die. Jiwan's footsteps stagnated. It is enviable that any woman in the Empire can dominate naturally and naturally. You'll know after the fight. Gion said nothing but chased after him. Robin raised his hand slightly and motioned for the Saint Soldiers team to follow. Then he looked at another list. Eastern North State, Queen of the Pleasure District, Stussy. You got me interested. Robin closed the file, slightly interested. Because the survey data shows that the other party looks very young and belongs to CP0 member. But, even White Zetsu didn't even find out, what is the age of the other party. Although women's age is a secret, they don't like outsiders to hide secrets in front of the Empire. Robin still has a lot of files in his hands. They were all hidden figures who entered Beijo by the major forces, and because they belonged to foreign businesses, they did not force them to join the empire. But your majesty is about to return. Then it needs to be cleaned up all. Brush, brush. Hancock rushed. Guion followed closely, and Hancock's speed skyrocketed again when he saw that he was following so closely behind him. The mental age is really a little girl, and she is 07 faster than me. Seeing Hancock Tsunere's true posture, Guion chuckled lightly. The speed also skyrocketed. Seeing that Guion could keep up, Hancock snorted. Your speed is good, but you still haven't settled down fast. Fei Lian feat. Spiritual power burst. Hancock's speed increased again and again, and Jiwan was slightly surprised, speeding up again. The two women moved like phantoms in the center of Beijo. Countless people only felt that two winds and waves passed by, and they saw nothing. Listen to the people in front. No speeding is allowed within the empire. Stop it for me. Hancock stopped moving. When I looked up, I saw three women appear in front of me, with black curly hair, purple long hair, and light yellow long hair. Red, Xian, Ino. Recognizing the three women, Hancock breathed a sigh of relief, but fortunately he knew him. Otherwise, the speeding fine will be passed out, and the concubine will be shameless. The woman behind also stopped for me. Looking at Guion who followed, Azuki Yuyan spoke solemnly. Guion also stopped. Hancock said immediately, the concubine body is for. Don't talk yet. Shi Raihong took out a small book and wrote, tearing off a note and passing it over. Boa Hancock, speeding, fine 30,000, remember to pay the fine as soon as possible. Hancock smiled once. Ino looked at Guion. Take out the ID card, I want to check it. Jiwan was taken aback, and then said frankly, I am not from the empire, and I have no documents. Ino didn't say much. There are more foreign businessmen. Ino tore off a note and handed it over. Non-empire, speeding, fine 3 million, if you don't have money, you can file for bankruptcy and leave the empire as soon as possible. Guion, people outside the empire are not people. The fine was directly increased by a factor of 100, and even the deportee was taken out of the country. The 100 flower shop on Halen Street, Yujin Town, the center of Beijo is mine. You can block the funds and deduct it yourself. After receiving the fine, Guion opened his mouth. You should pay it yourself. After the rules were over, Shi Raihong calmed down and looked at Hancock with a chuckle. I didn't expect it, we caught him. Hancock twisted his hands together and pleaded, Red, I've recognized my concubine. It's embarrassing if I can't help but tell. More than a month, Hancock met a lot of female friends who hadn't gone out to fight, including Lin, Tenten, Xian, Hei-Tu, and Aromatic Phosphorus. After being stalked by Hinata, Hancock learned a lot from the girls. Why do you want to speak out? The red words made Hancock's eyes brighten, and Shi Yan said with a knife, take a photo directly, send it back to the capital, and report it to the entire network. Ino also turned his eyes and said, the title is, Shock. The former daughter of the country is in the northern state of the empire, you know. Hong smiled. Second, Hancock was crying without tears. How could my concubine know such a friend? Guion was silent. Seeing the big from the small, how harmonious the empire is, she also yearns for it. Guion said, is it right here to fight? No, fighting is not allowed here, go to the training ground with your concubine. Hancock cheered up, and Tsunere raised his head and said proudly, the concubine is a little unhappy. You'd better join the empire now, or you can kill you by accident. Don't blame the concubine. Okay. To Hancock's surprise, Guion nodded and agreed. Like this, Hancock is even more proud. You are really scared, and your concubine will act lightly. As he said, Hancock looked at the three women. You watch the battle, see how powerful the concubine is, don't think of the concubine as a little girl. Brush. Hancock moved quickly. Ino said abruptly. You are speeding again, do you want to shut down and reflect? Hancock almost fell over by himself. Looking at Ino with a reddish cheek, Hancock slowed down. Quickly, the 5 girls came to the place where Hancock recently trained. To be honest, I should be thankful for sending me here as a spy. Guion slowly drew his sword, recalling, if I don't come to the empire, my task should be to learn geisha skills and entertain peach-colored guests in order to lure pirates. That's not it. Peach spy. Advertisement. Hong, Yuyan and Ino disliked Guion's original mission when they thought of it. Attract Haichung with beauty. It will be darkness waiting for Guion. No matter how strong the garden is, it will be polluted a bit if it is mixed with beautiful pirates all year round. This kind of task is cruel to a woman. It is also the original track of Guion. The concubine is not very clear, but since you choose to join the empire, everything is fine. Hancock was confused and said seriously. Guion's sword came out of its sheath and said more seriously, so I said that you are too naive and don't understand the darkness of the world at all. I believe that even if the light is like an empire, there is still darkness, and you will suffer sooner or later. The red third girl frowned slightly and said nothing. Hancock conquerors swept out. Hockey said, it's useless to say more, the concubine body will crush the darkness with strength. Famous knife. Jin Kunluo, be careful. Jiwan stopped talking and took the initiative. Shit. Guion slashed out with a single knife, and a pink flying slash that was over 100 meters in size appeared instantly, hitting Hancock directly. Jian Hao. Great Jian Hao. It doesn't matter. Seeing Guion attack with a knife, Hancock smiled brightly. I'm so sorry, my concubine is the nemesis of all weapons. Ended. Click. The pupils of Gion shrank. Hancock raised his eyes slightly, and the sacred text was petrified. Slash all petrified. The invisible petrochemical power swept the audience. Crack. The moment when Jin Luo in his hand became the most common stone knife. Gion was shocked. Although the famous sword Jin Luo is not a supreme sharp sword, it is extremely famous. It was dismissed by Hancock at a glance. Boom. Hancock's conquerors swept out with Reiatsu. The blow and Jin Luo turned into stone, directly turned into debris. You lost. At the moment when Gion was in a trance, Hancock held the spirit blade and landed on Gion's neck. Kill on the spot. Maybe Gion has other powers, such as physical skills, if real ability, etc. Even without a knife, it is still not weak. But Hancock was able to seize the opportunity of Gion's shock and trance, and he has already won. If you really hit it, Hancock, who has already been in contact with Gion, can instantly petrify Gion. I lost. Gion is a bit bitter. Without fighting for 7 years, his fighting consciousness has become so much weaker. There is no need to be sad, any Janao will be desperate when encountering a concubine. Hancock lifted his head slightly, proud as a little swan. Even the Hawkeye Mahawk, who many people think is about to become the world's #1 swordsman, had his black knife broken. Remotely petrify all non-living things. Petrify all creatures and creatures in close proximity. Happy Street in Beijo. When Robin came here, there was a woman with light yellow curly hair, tall figure, wearing a short dress, stepping on high heels and carrying a bag. Mature and elegant. Fashion beauty. What day is today? I unexpectedly welcomed Secretary Robin here, and suddenly I felt that the air was fragrant a lot. Queen of the Pleasure District Stussy stepped on the catwalk step by step, smiling gracefully. It's easy to get good impressions. Robin didn't hear it at all, and said directly, according to the investigation, you call the new world person Linlin, which is obviously equal. Either strength is equal, or age is equal, which one are you? Stussy still smiled like a spring breeze. What strength can I have? A woman's age is even more a secret. Secretary Robin is here to ask me for maintenance tips. We can discuss with each other. 800 inches. Robin didn't say any more, raising his hand slightly. Swipe it. More than a dozen members of the Saint Army surrounded Stussy, among them were Lin, Xian and other women. Stussy was surprised and puzzled. What does Secretary Robin mean? Although Happy Street is a gray industry, there is no violation, right? As one of the giants in the dark world and also a CPO spy, he came to North State to do business 7 years ago. The method was extremely strong and stabilized in North State, but no matter how strong she was, she could not detect the secrets of the Empire. None of the Empire's elites or even soldiers came to the Happy Street for fun. Are they all so pure? Let her be very frustrated. The acting is invincible. It's the first time Robin has seen a woman with such great acting skills. The grievances that the blue pupils inadvertently pass can make countless men want to take care of her. The feminine charm of gestures. This mature temperament is worth learning. Robin murmured in his heart, and then said, CP0 Stussy, you have been arrested. If you resist, kill on the spot. Seal the spirit world method. At the same moment, the gleaming enchantment directly trapped Stussy, causing Stussy to frown. The special barrier that trapped CPO and Sengoku Aokiji 7 years ago. Trouble. Although she is good at strength, she can also use finger pistol to kill the king of lone sharks, who is also a giant of the dark world, from a kilometer away. But still can't escape. This woman is too decisive. Stussy had never seen this before, and didn't give anyone any chance to react or explain time. Do it directly. I will give you 10 seconds to think about it. Robin also stood gracefully outside the barrier and counted directly. 1, 10. I surrender. Stussy was powerless. How can there be such a count? Directly from 1 to 10, it is really scary. She swears that if she speaks 1 moment later, she will be greeted by countless lasers penetrating and die. Take the investigation away. Ignoring Stussy, whose eyes were sad, Robin flipped through the file again. It's about, Your Majesty should be back too, right? It was also at this time. Lan Yu's voice came. Come and see me. Robin looked up in surprise. Yes, Your Majesty. Chapter 72. The Empire enters the Grand Line Plan. The Empress tonight is beautiful. Advertisement. Inside the hall, Lan Yu sat on the throne, listening to the report of Secretary General Athena. There is nothing wrong with the offensive in the land of the four seas, and it has stabilized now. After all, it's been more than a month. Athena also skipped a little, and mentioned a few good people. Your Majesty, Beast's Pirates Jack, currently in prison. The swordsman smiles and is not weak, and has joined the Empire Marine as Rear Admiral. Admiral and Lan Yu are impressed by the original trajectory that possesses the gravity fruit, which is cool and sharp in any attack. It is worth training. Athena continued. Sakazuki died of a coma for 28 days. He woke up 3 days ago and was forcibly taken away by the Lord Guizhou and brought back to the Imperial Marine. 2 days, joined the Empire yesterday. Athena said. Holy Eyes said weirdly. He has a request to put Pelusolino in jail for 28 days and let him experience it. Akainu joined. Lan Yu, who didn't observe the future specially, felt very interesting. How does Kisame do it? No, it was not Kisami's decision, he should have no interest in Akainu. Water play and magma play, the two are born to guilty. That's the upper level, I didn't expect you to be interested in Sakazuki. Thinking of this, Lan Yu said, "Tell Sakazuki that Pelusalino, as an imperial citizen, shall not be punished for any reason unless he violates the rules. I also told Madara that since I accept Sakazuki, I will be educated. I don't want to see any imperial citizens being hurt." Regarding Akainu, Lan Yu does not comment. People outside the empire can kill at will, but none of the citizens of the empire can touch it. "Yes, Your Majesty." As Athena said, she pulled out the last document. The pirate Jack currently has a low status in Beast's pirates, but he is very much noticed by the upper management. The Senate asked whether the sentence was publicly executed. And arrest the other important members of the pirate group, put them together and publicly execute them, to attract all the big pirates to destroy the group. Grab a few for each boat. Public execution together. This kind of suggestion, Lan Yu vetoed. The seaside is not worthy of the empire, so let's throw Jack to the Academy of Sciences as an experimental subject. Why do you want to catch them one by one? Grab a few, waste time and execute punishment, wait for the pirates to unite, and there may be some big pirates who won't come at all. Too troublesome. Come and fight directly one by one. Athena said with her jaw head. Your Majesty, the Four Seas has entered into stability, and the top combat power of the various units has spared time. Do you want to march on the Grand Line? This sentence spread out. I don't know how many people are shocked. The land of the East, West, and South Three Seas has just stabilized, right? Every land in the sea leaves a clone, advance to the first half of the Grand Line. Lan Yu made a decision. Although the Grand Line is not as big as the Four Seas, Lan Yu will not gather the Grand Line. That is countless islands. Attacking 4 lands is a different concept from attacking thousands of islands. If the land of the Four Seas does not converge on islands, it may take many years to fight one by one, and it is difficult to manage. The characteristics of Qinghai world, keep it. Lan Yu still didn't want to aggregate the characteristics of the world of Grand Line. Hearing Lan Yu's words, Athena immediately turned out the map in the first half of the Grand Line and said, there are 7 routes in the first half, and the distance between each route is not close. The Empire needs to divide the army into 7 routes and advance one island by one. The sacred troops are responsible for 1, and the remaining 6 are handed over to the 3 imperial armies. There is no room for loss. Lan Yu decided on a strategy. The forces should not be too scattered. Although the Empire is not afraid, there is always some courage to take away the soldiers of the Empire. Lan Yu doesn't like being passive. Kaido was discovered. Before Lan Yu makes a decision, the Empire will steadily stabilize Sanhai thoroughly before considering Grand Line. Make a decision, the situation changes. His Majesty. At this moment, Robin came. Yu came. Looking at Robin, who is becoming more mature and elegant, Lan Yu is also emotional. How can every lowly raised by himself be like this? A document appeared in his hand, and Lan Yu dropped the document into Robin's hands. I said that in addition to their own work and practice, everyone must have their own hobbies to avoid being too boring and getting lost in the long years. Own. Live longer. Some people will lose interest in everything, resulting in emotional loss and a drastic change in mentality. That will cause a series of problems, even suicide may occur. This is probably the disadvantage of longevity, our suffering, you don't understand. Lan Yu Versailles thought. In fact, when people have various hobbies, that is, longevity is good, always longevity has been good. Robin took the file and didn't rush to read it. Instead, he smiled and said, Your Majesty is right. What about your hobbies? Ahem. For some reason, Athena coughed slightly, her cheeks flushed. Lan Yu said calmly, looking at you now, you should understand that my hobbies are meaningful. In addition to becoming stronger in cultivation and expanding the territory, Lan Yu also cultivated Loli's hobby at that point. Lan Yu feels that his hobbies are perfect and sustainable. There are so many worlds, there must be more Loli. This keeps Lan Yu's interest always there. After all, different worlds are different Loli. Don't talk about it. After having been busy for so long, you should also go on a vacation and rest. Lan Yu looked at Robin. This newly grown Loli has been busy since he was 8 to now 18. Thank Your Majesty for caring. Robin accidentally opened the file, and said in a different way, where are all the historical texts? There are about 30 pieces of historical text, including 4 pieces of historical text on road signs, and 26 pieces of historical text that record a blank 100-year history, of which 9 pieces record important information. But, Robin is no longer obsessed with 100 years of blankness, and is not regarded as an obsession to live like the original track. When obsessed, it's not worthy. Advertisement. Your hobbies are not just reading books, studying the history of various worlds. Lan Yu praised Robin's hobby, which is a very good hobby. Take history as the mirror, take the history of Mingzi. Understanding the rise and fall of each world's history can better propose better development strategies for the council. This is also the job of a secretary. Yes, Your Majesty. That being the case, Robin also intends to take advantage of the holiday to visit various places. Robin did not expect that His Majesty called her to meet her hobbies, and suddenly smiled beautifully. Smile more in the future, and so does Athena. I have to say that Robin smiled beautifully, Lan Yu said. I have heard people say many times that many of you are scared not to move. Athena and Robin raised their eyebrows suddenly. Small report. Who the hell is it? Stand up for me and promise not to kill you. It seems that some people are going to be unlucky. A creature like a woman can't be offended by ordinary people. Fortunately, he is not an ordinary person. Lan Yu does not express any opinions. He has never suffered from a woman, and it is all sweet. Thinking of something, Robin smiled and said, Your Majesty, you have been out for more than a month, so you must be tired. Rest early. We won't bother. As he said, Robin gave Athena a look, and Athena was taken aback. This look, so familiar, isn't it the same look that Kushina used to look at Tsunade and others a few years ago? Then that night, she and Aphrodite, the god of love and beauty, went to warm up Your Majesty's bed. Make Athena unforgettable forever. Who is warming the couch today, so lucky and happy? Athena thought for an instant, and leaned forward. Your Majesty, I will pass on your arrangement. Between words, Robin and Athena left in a hurry. Arranging this kind of non-adjustable thing again, all I have learned from Kushina. Lan Yu understands Robin's eyes even better. This custom, do it with you. Following Lan Yu's order, it was issued. The major troops in the land of the four seas began orderly dispatching orders. The sacred troops and the three imperial armies gathered together to discuss the strategy of division of troops. Keep apart and apart as a clone to defend the world together firmly. The rest marched into the first half of the Grand Line, and the 7 routes went hand in hand. Start tomorrow. The night is getting deeper. Lan Yu casually went to his bedroom. After going in, the first thing I saw was a sea of flowers, decorated with roses of various colors and various tulips. Cover the ground, full of fragrance. Is it so affectionate? It was the first time that Lan Yu saw such a courageous person, and his bedroom was covered with flowers. But it feels pretty good, at least the flowers are really fresh and fragrant. Wow. Lan Yu also heard the sound of the water, and couldn't help but mutter, even the bath has been remodeled here. I have to say that I am very courageous. Doesn't seem to notice anything. A certain woman was still scrubbing there, immersed in her own fantasy. When Lan Yu walked, he saw the misty bath just ahead, but he couldn't obstruct Lan Yu's sight at all. It is a beautiful scene. Just when Lan Yu was about to speak, the beauty in it didn't know what she had imagined, and she whispered in shame, Your Majesty is coming soon, and my concubine is so nervous. After tonight, we will get married tomorrow. What kind of wedding dress should I wear? There are children. What name should I choose? Ah, my concubine's heart is about to jump out. Lan Yu. Qian Zhao's. Are you a dramatist? Boa Hancock. Have you finished washing? Lan Yu's voice suddenly sounded. When Hancock was about to pull out of the fantasy, he suddenly exclaimed, Who is it? No, only Your Majesty will come here. Ah. Water mist was swayed between standing up. When Hancock saw the handsome and majestic figure ahead, he exclaimed again. Your Majesty. Your Majesty. Just like the picture Robin gave, that kind of detached temperament could not be simulated at all, and Hancock was sluggish for a moment. Are you here to marry your concubine? Hancock stood up immediately, with waves in his eyes, his face full of color, and he spoke intentionally. Calm down. Lan Yu had to say that. Although the scenery was beautiful, he felt Hancock's extreme emotional fluctuations, the blood was flowing backwards, and the heartbeat exceeded the limit. If I changed to another person, I would have passed out a long time ago. His Majesty. As Lan Yu expected, Hancock whispered, his head tilted, and he fell into the water. Puff. Quote. What is going on? Lan Yu thought for a while and woke up Hancock Fen. Nervous. Soon I will not be nervous. The night is beautiful. Pity the Empress. Omit hundreds of millions of words. Chapter 73. Alabasta, the request of the tiny princess. Advertisement. Noon the next day. The major forces are preparing to enter the Grand Line during the dispatch. Many senior empires have returned to North State. For example, Kushina, Conan, Hinata, etc., because I missed Lan Yu for more than a month, I really missed it. In the garden of the temporary imperial palace. It was full of talk and laughter. Wow, little Shirahoshi smiles so cutely, these blue eyes are so beautiful that they flutter. Kushina hugged the 4-year-old Shirahoshi who had become smaller and leggy, and the laughter never stopped. Tsunade, Terumi-Mei and other women are also full of surprises, and little Shirahoshi is loved by all the girls. My sisters. Little Shirahoshi's face flushed, and his blue eyes were full of shame and innocence. She was a little afraid and timid, but in the past few days, she met many beautiful strange girls and rushed to hug her. This is a great challenge for Shirahoshi. It's really cute. Hinata was also smiling, waiting in line silently, she also wanted to hug. It must be beautiful when I grow up. Tsunade exclaimed, and then asked. It is said that Boa Hancock, the new generation of female emperor of Daughter Island, was named the world's first beauty by the World Economic News more than a month ago and was recognized by many people. Where is she? The girls who have never met are also curious. What is the number one in the world? I am the most beautiful god in the heavens, the true goddess. No matter how beautiful she is, she will eat and drink Lazarus. Aphrodite, the god of love and beauty, whispered and grew. Athena, the goddess who was no weaker than her, became secretary general a few years ago. But she is still a little maid. Maid? What's wrong? I am the closest to your majesty, huh? The thought of this made Aphrodite feel good and happy. Yi Kang smiled lightly and said, she should be resting. She has to take a few more days to rest. Hinata's eyes lit up. She really went. Did she succeed? What are you talking about? Kushina blinked, always feeling 907 weird. Makoto smiled and said, remember, outside your majesty's palace, because Conan went in, did you wait all night? Kushina suddenly made a big blush. That's how many years ago? I only blame her for being so innocent, thinking Conan was going to ask questions and waiting all night. Conan was flushed too, why did he come around her suddenly? Terumi Mei's eyes rolled. So, Boa Hancock went to the warm couch last night. While talking, Terumi Mei glanced at Hinata strangely. If you don't feel wrong, your emotions are very strange. Hancock succeeded, why are you so happy? No, I don't. Hinata blushed too, but Hinata was so careful that he was seen directly by the women. Athena said directly. I'm not sure, so I sent Hancock to try, right? But you have grown up and you are no longer a little girl, why not go by yourself? Opportunities are fleeting. Hinata lowered his head, pinched the corners of the clothes with both hands. Why not go by myself? Because I am a student of Teacher Kagaya, and Teacher Kagaya is a student of His Majesty. Hinata also has her own troubles. The girls understood Hinata's troubles, but didn't say anything. The empire is not a mortal dynasty. Right, where's Robin? After watching, Kushina announced that Robin was not there. Athena said, Your Majesty gave Robin a holiday yesterday, and left North State in the afternoon and went on a trip alone. One person. The girls were surprised and didn't worry about anything. Robin is not weak. Besides, as Your Majesty's secretary, you have a lot of treasures bestowed by Your Majesty who is life-saving and far-reaching. Nothing will happen. Grand Line. The first half is called Paradise, and the second half is called New World. In the first half of the 7 routes, the sailing route can only be selected at the initial upside-down mountain, and once the sailing starts, it cannot be changed AHFH. Go to New World and reselect the route. The nearest one is there. Robin directly ignored the route, sitting on the humanized clouds, flying over the paradise. What is in his hand is exactly the location of all the historical texts given by Lan Yu. Without obsession, only interest in the history of the world is left. Alabasta. Looking at the vast huge island below, Robin murmured. Alabasta, a superpower located in the first half of the Grand Line. It is a superpower because it has a large area and a large population compared to other island countries, ranking it at the forefront of the world. The standing army is 600,000. Population of 10 million. In SBS, the author interacts with the reader, the original author Oda said, 10 million people. A superpower with a standing army of 600,000 and a total population of only 10 million. Robin flipped through the information, and she didn't know what to say if she had been to heaven and earth. Alabasta's economy is not good, and it has no strength. It is too sloppy to define a superpower only by population and area. There are too few people in Qinghai's world, 10 million people, it is only a small country. Robin had to sigh, especially unable to understand Alabasta's participation in the army. The standing army is all young and strong. Since there are 600,000 people, it is normal for the total population of Alabasta to exceed 100 million in proportion to the army. Brush. Robin lowered the clouds, and stepped across the capital Albana. At this time, Robin noticed all the hurried, bitter-faced people. It seems that the people of this country are not living very well. Robin looked around for a week, and he rarely saw people laughing, his eyes were very tired. Alabasta doesn't have much information, and Robin doesn't know what happened. She is. In a corner not far away, a little girl who seemed to have escaped from was hiding, her eyes widened when she saw Robin. Robin didn't hide the Empire badge on his clothes, so the little girl recognized it. Feeling the gaze, Robin looked. There was a 6-year-old girl with long blue hair in the corner with mud on her face, as if she was hiding from someone. Advertisement. But from those bright black pupils, Robin saw tenderness, bravery and surprise. There is still an extravagance that ordinary people don't have. Like a little princess in trouble, she saw hope in despair. When Robin looked over, the little girl plucked up the courage to trot over, Jiwang expecting. Pretty sister, are you from the Holy Empire? The little girl came up and praised. Robin said calmly, yes. Really? The little girl was stunned for a moment, tears fell silently, and her tone was full of pleading. Please help this country, Robin raised his hand slightly to stop the little girl from kneeling, looked around, and led her to jump onto the clouds. What? When she reached the clouds, the little girl exclaimed, and then she was very pleasantly surprised. This beautiful sister from the Holy Empire is definitely not an ordinary person. Alabasta was saved. The 6-year-old girl forcibly suppressed her curiosity and directly expressed her identity's pain and said, I am the Princess of Alabasta, Nefeltari Vivi. Besides being moved, tears are meaningless things. Robin interrupted Vivi. She was looking at the text of history, and she also won the country easily. After all, the empire is about to enter the Grand Line. Growing up in an empire, Robin doesn't like other people crying and talking about tragic memories. There are always people in the world who are more miserable than her. Well, I won't cry anymore. The 6-year-old Vivi wiped his tears, with determination in his eyes at a young age, and raised his head. I will persuade my father to join the empire and ask you to save this country. Some people are creating droughts and inciting civil wars, and countless people are suffering. Vivi finished speaking briefly and looked at Robin expectantly. If Lan Yu sees, it is the butterfly effect again, the historical process of change. Robin asked, do you know who it is? Of course Vivi didn't know. She just ran out of the palace, thinking about investigating. 6 years old. Cobra went mad. As that's so. Robin's perception slowly spread, perceiving everyone's Reiatsu. Also listen to the sound with seeing and hearing color. How could it be her? When perceiving rain in cities outside Albana, Robin showed a weird look. In my perception, there are many people in the rain that are far stronger than ordinary people, and it should be a certain organization. There is also an extremely dry, desert-like atmosphere. The main thing, Robin perceives a person whom he used to be familiar with. Drive O'Hara Kloba's student, historian Jenny. Even if Robin used to have no strength, remember Jenny's breath. But Jenny is a special race, 5 meters high, 4 hands, Robin perceives it, and she thinks of Jenny for the first time. Finally, find one. O'Hara was moved by Kagaya, but historians and civilians escaped safely. But after returning to Qinghai realm again, Robin found that those historians who had no power to bind chickens were basically dead. After all, there are rewards. Wow, nothing to say to Vivi, sitting on the clouds and flying towards the rainy ground. Rain ground. Base camp of Baroque Work Club. Many people gathered together at this moment. Daz Bonus, Bentham, Mr. 3 etc. The other 2 girls, such as Miss Golden Week and Miss Valentine, are not here or have not joined yet, they are too young now. He is the president. Everyone looked at the man in the black coat who was sitting in front of him, combing his head, sighing cigar, and was extremely astonished. They knew for the first time that their president was Crocodile, one of Shichibukai. Even though the current Shichibukai is not complete, it is still very famous. You immediately go to Albana to create chaos. I want the whole Alabasta, all messed up. Crocodile said solemnly. Can't wait any longer. The advent of the Empire made Crocodile extremely urgent, and found an escaped historian, speeding up the search for Pluton. Start planning nearly 10 years in advance. Alabasta's drought and chaos are his arrangements, and the purpose is chaos. Disturbed everyone's sight, caught Cobra, asked about the location of Pluton, and let Jenny read it. If I can get Pluton, what Whitebeard, what celestial dragons, what empire, all are not enough. Crocodile thought confidently. Also at this time, 2 voices sounded outside the window. A surprise, a question. Jenny, is it really you? Did you make all the chaos, the hero of Alabasta? Who? Everyone was surprised. Crocodile's face sank, and when he raised his hand, there was a wind and sand. Boom. A small sandstorm directly smashed the wall. When the 2 women outside appeared, Crocodile's pupils shrank. Sitting on the clouds. Empire badge on clothes. Holy Empire. Damn it. Why is it so coincidental? It's only 1 step away. After being shocked, Crocodile was very angry. The people of the Empire are here. Then his plans will fail. This made Crocodile, who was full of expectations, directly lost all hope. Sand Hill. Chapter 74. Robin vs. Crocodile, my king of the desert is invincible. Advertisement. Boom. As soon as Shigang appeared. Destroy the entire house directly, turning it into a sandstorm and attacking Robin. Jenny, come up. Robin ignored the sand crocodile's attack, raised his hand to pull it spiritually, and brought the historian Jenny to the clouds. Ha ha ha, the people of the Holy Empire are crazy enough. Seeing Robin ignoring himself, Crocodile grinned back. He had forgotten that he hadn't seen this gesture in years. Treating him as a small person. Heavy Shigang. Crocodile continuously strengthens the sand, increasing its speed and power. The boys like bonus were swept away, and the dust storm hit Robin like a doomsday. Okay, so strong. The 6-year-old Vivi couldn't help but stared at the sandstorm from below in amazement. Suddenly understood that the power of the strong at the tip of the iceberg in this world was not something that Alabasta could resist. Crocodile, famous in his teens, 20 years old, fighting against the Douglas Bullet of the Roger Pirates, regardless of the outcome. Robin carried the clouds into the sky and avoided the sandstorm. Under Vivi's curiosity, Robin opened a document and said calmly. It's ridiculous, do you think you can't hit you by flying high? The more Robin is like this, the more Crocodile feels that he has been treated with contempt and contempt. When has he been so angry? Boom. Crocodile once again increased the power of the sandstorm, forming a tornado sandstorm that obscured the sky. The place I passed by collapsed. The people in the rain place fled frantically, and Bentham and others flew back in horror. As a result, the reputation soared and was invited by the world government to become 7 warlords of the sea. In the same year, Challenge Whitebeard failed miserably. Enter Alabasta, hunt for pirates, and be published as a hero in the newspapers. Hearing this, Vivi couldn't help squeezing his little hand, staring at the sand crocodile below. Hero. 6-year-old Vivi grew up listening to the heroic legend of Sand Crocodile. But it was this hero who brought countless disasters to the country. When One Piece Roger was executed, one of the witnesses of Logue Town. Reading the information of Sand Crocodile, Robin also felt that his life was full of magnificence. Before Roger died, it became 7 warlords of the sea. Still survived from Bullet and Whitebeard, how many people can do it? But, Robin looked at the sand crocodile below and said flatly, if the information is correct, then your strength is more than that. After you were defeated by Whitebeard, Moria was the same as when you were killed by the Kaido group. You did a shameful deed, even your strength degraded. Damn it's woman. The scars were lifted by Robin, Crocodile was angry, and his body turned into wind and sand and rushed into the sky. The sand crocodile used to be so energetic, supporting the Overlord, and marching towards the new world. But Whitebeard's big knife shattered all the fantasies of the sand crocodile. To put it bluntly, the sand crocodile is too ego and conceited. This is probably a common problem of all Logia abilities in their youth. Think Logia is invincible. Ha 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 ha. I admit, the Holy Empire can't afford it. Crocodile sneered when he flew up, but you are not included. You successfully angered me. Arc-shaped sand dunes. Crocodile slashed Robin by turning his arm into a crescent-shaped sand blade. This trick is extremely dangerous. It does not cause harm, but once it is cut by a sand blade, it will absorb all the water. Eventually it will fall powerlessly and become a mummy lacking moisture. Ha 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 ha. I won't kill you, but you are about to understand the cost of offending me. While attacking, Sand Crocodile sneered. Crocodile is very confident, believes more in his own strength, and likes to laugh and play with weak opponents. In his eyes, Robin is just a young girl who has just grown up, only hiding through clouds. Spirit Shield. 99. Amidst Vivi and Jenny's worries, Robin was washed away with brilliance. Condensed into a huge spiritual shield of 99 layers in a flash. Boom. Crocodile's sand blade hit the Lingtong, breaking on the spot like a rock hitting a mountain. This surprised him. Where's the shield that popped up? Robin tapped the spiritual shield. The huge spiritual shield instantly slammed into Crocodile like an impact barrier. The whole body smashed into sand. Boom. The yellow sand in the sky was blasted hundreds of meters away, and gravel was scattered on the rainy ground like a pouring rain. Multiple divine destruction. When Crocodile fell to the ground, Robin made a strong shot. Dozens of lasers fired from the fingertips. Boom boom boom. All the lasers continuously penetrate the elemental crocodile, exploding the yellow sand piece by piece. Ah 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 ah. There was a sound of pain from nowhere, full of Crocodile's pain. The so-called elementalization seems to be perfect defense, but for soul attacks, that is to completely abandon defense. Pure target. Medium divine lost. Without stopping, under Vivi's wide-open eyes, a huge arrow appeared in Robin's hand. Wow. Divine loss rushed to the sand crocodile who had not yet condensed like a laser cannon. Not good. Before the body was condensed, Crocodile felt a fatal crisis. Forcibly suppressing the pain of the soul, yellow sand everywhere rose into the sky. Turn into a huge sand blade and collide with the divine destruction. Boom. The yellow sand burst and the arrow collapsed. Wow. A piece of yellow sand swept up and flew away quickly towards the distance. Escape. Escaped. Watching the yellow sand fly away, Bentham and the other boys couldn't believe it. You are Shichibukai, how can you run away after colliding with a woman? Bonus said in a deep voice, do you think the president has only this strength? Shichibukai is underestimated. For the sand crocodile like Hockey, the boss of the gang, Bonus decided to follow his life and death at the first sight. Advertisement. I believe in the strength of sand crocodile. Okay. Amazing. Pretty sister is really amazing. Little Vivi opened her mouth in shock, her eyes showing deep admiration and admiration. Feeling the slight gaze, Robin couldn't tell what it felt like. It's like going back to 7 years ago, the cute little Hancock, like a fan, yelling that Sister Hinata is so amazing. Sister Hinata, I was in the same mood as me at that time. Feel good. Reaping a cute little fan, Robin smiled and said, although I don't like to compare anything, Sister Hinata inadvertently cultivated a female emperor, and it is not bad for me to cultivate a princess. Hey, little Vivi blinked in confusion. I always feel that Robin's eyes have changed when he sees her. Before, it was as plain as water, but now it seems to have seen a surprise. When the little crocodile is dealt with, Alabasta joins the empire, so follow me. Robin made a final decision. Hancock is very Tsunere. This little girl is not even a flower in a greenhouse. She dared to fight evil forces at a young age. The future is not necessarily worse than Hancock. Really, Vivi was even more pleasantly surprised. She was young and didn't think much about the future. But as long as Alabasta is saved. Certainly, Robin said positively. The most important thing is that this little fan looks sweet, and as a princess, he has the elegance and nobility that ordinary people don't have. Be a companion for Shirahoshi. Robin is sitting on the white cloud. Chased after the yellow sand. At the same time, Ghost Island. Guru. Kaido drank heavily, looking forward fiercely in his eyes. Kai Jung held the phone worm to communicate, as the news sure. Very sure. On the other side, the chief of the CPO, said in a deep voice, our people are in Beijo. Although they lost contact yesterday, the identity of the woman has long been passed back. This time, it is her who appeared in Alabasta. 0. Look for flowers. It was Stussy who lost contact yesterday. It is still under investigation by the Imperial Intelligence Department, but Stussy's ability to recognize Robin at a glance means that he has known the identity of the other party a long time ago. It was also passed back early. This time, a CP member found Robin who appeared unabashedly in Alabasta and reported immediately. Check again, is the other party the secretary of the Lord of the Empire? Kai couldn't believe it. What is the concept of the secretary of the Lord of the Empire? In the cognition of Yan, it is placed in the world government, not to mention the identity, status, and strength, at least the rights are not weaker than the CP0 chief, and the Marine Marshal. Come out to play alone. Or is it a little girl who seems to have just grown up, how much strength can she have? Not every girl in the Empire is called Hyuga Hinata. This is the cognition of countless people. Kai also doesn't believe how strong Robin is. I'm sure. The total length of CP0 is very certain. At this time Quinn also received the photo of Robin and passed it to Kaido. Guru. Glancing at the photo, Kaido continued to drink, when the last drop was drunk. Boom. The hip flask was thrown on the ground and smashed. Kaido got up with an extremely tyrannical sense of oppression, looked towards Alabasta, and shouted. Always show Lousy a good family, the Empire catches Jack, and Lousy catches her. Roar. In the next instant, Kaido transforms into a dragon soaring into the sky and flies quickly towards Alabasta. I hope everything goes well. Quinn was also a little worried. If you continue to be passive, everyone will have to kneel at the feet of the Holy Empire. You can only turn passive into active. Crocodile turned into windy sand, flew for dozens of miles, and stopped in a desert. The King of the Desert. These 4 characters are the title given to Crocodile by the world government, and Sand Crocodile is just a folk name. When I stand in the desert, I have to kneel when Whitebeard comes. Crocodile's absolute confidence. But immediately, Crocodile gave a dry cough, his eyes filled with bloodshot eyes. Cough. Damn it, careless. What kind of attack is it? How can I feel so painful? Crocodile is difficult to understand. After he was crushed into yellow sand, he was in an elemental state, and he should be immune to physical attacks. Armed color. Not really. Among the opponents that Crocodile has fought, the one who has seen the strongest armed color is Bullet. After all, Whitebeard only showed it a little. Bullet used the armed color as a tsunami at the age of 19, which is simply non-human. If it weren't for the remote containment of sandstorms in the desert, Crocodile would not be able to hold it. Ha. Bullet, no matter how talented you are, no matter how strong you are just a loser who is impelled down. Only to live freely, is the real winner. The desert was full of Crocodile's laughter, and then he looked far away indifferently. Give you 2 choices, the first to kneel and die, and the second to stand and die. On the white cloud, Robin came to speak. Have you heard? The King of the Desert. Damn its woman. Crocodile was angry, and was full of fear for the empire behind Robin. Brush. Robin landed in the desert one step at a time. Chance. Crocodile's eyes lit up and he laughed cruelly. Ha, knowing that I am the King of the Desert, dare to stand in the desert and say whether you are confident or stupid. Robin said indifferently. You are proud to say that the King of the Desert. Your biggest weakness is conceit. Damn its woman. Crocodile doesn't know how many times he has glared at Robin. Why does this woman look down on his strength? Ha. Feel the pain and despair in the desert. Desert sunflower. Quicksand riot. Devour everything. Chapter 75. The death of the sand crocodile. Advertisement. Boom. The flow of water veins under the dunes is controlled by Crocodile, thus controlling the dunes. The sand under Robin's feet instantly collapsed to form life-swallowing quicksand trying to bury Robin alive. How come? But to Crocodile's astonishment, the sand dunes collapsed and Robin stood there without incident. It was as if a tall building collapsed, and the person on the top of the building was still standing in the sky, and there was an invisible staircase at the foot. Even the people of the Empire can volley in the air. It seems that you will only hide in the gutter and be a mouse. Robin's voice was very flat, without any emotion. But that's it. Crocodile has bruises on his face, and he is irritated by Robin again. This woman always had a plain look like water, and she didn't put him in the slightest. Desert knife. The sand crocodile's deserted arm produced a sharp sharpness, and he severely cut his arm towards Robin. Boom. In an instant, the sharp sand marks spread all the way, and the desert land of this straight distance was all cut open. Brush. Robin shifted like a phantom. Easily avoided the sand blade. Ha. Are you finally scared, woman? But Robin's avoidance was a manifestation of fear in Crocodile's eyes, and even more of his conceited thoughts. Tell you, sand fruit has been developed to the limit by Lousy, no one can come in the desert. I want you to regret against me. If you are in power, you will be 0, 4, 3, and you will laugh wildly when you see the power. Boom. Crocodile laughed, his hands sanded again, and he chopped off instantly. 2 sand blades swept across, splitting the desert in front of them into 4. So, you are a waste who can only rely on fruit power. When Robin's voice sounded calmly, Crocodile's pupils shrank, and Robin's figure was instantly lost in front of him. Not good. Feeling the crisis, Crocodile burst into power without even thinking about it. The surrounding sand rose to the sky, trying to crush everything in front, back, left, and right. Late. The words did not fall. The moment Robin came to Crocodile, the medium-sized divine destruction was condensed. Armed entanglement. It was shot before Crocodile broke out. Boom. The armed arrows, like a laser cannon, crushed a sea of sand and hit Crocodile directly. Boom boom boom. With an explosion, Crocodile flew out all over. As if he was drifting in the water, he bumped into the desert one after another, several hundred meters in a blink of an eye. Armed 100 flowers dazzling wazoo. Robin's attack did not stop, and he raised his hands and crossed them and put them down gracefully. Under the stunned little Vivi opened his mouth. In the desert where the sand crocodile was, countless huge arms of several tens of meters appeared. And it was instantly dark. Boom. As hundreds of giants blessed their armed colors, they smashed at the sand crocodile fiercely. The desert that was hundreds of meters away was directly smashed, and the wind and waves formed a series of small dust storms. Okay. Awesome. Xiao Weiwei once again showed her admiring eyes. I most appreciate the graceful attacking gesture of Robin's sister's understatement. Boom. The next moment, the desert where the sand crocodile was located rioted, and countless heavy sands floated up like a tsunami. Hoo hoo hoo. The wind howled. A terrifying sandstorm that could overwhelm a small island immediately obscured the sky. Robin looked over. All the sand seas were rioting, as if the whole desert was lifted up. The range is huge. Wow ha ha ha. Cough cough. Goo ha ha ha. You really annoyed me. Behind the terrible dust storm, Crocodile was covered in blood and mist, coughing up blood constantly, and his eyes were bloodshot. The sand crocodile felt that the bones of his smaller half of his body had been smashed by countless giant palms, and it was directly hit hard. There is also the pain in the soul. Armed color. Crocodile's expression was uncertain. In the desert, he was really not afraid of being armed. For example, when he was 20 years old, he was fighting with Bullet, and the opponent's armed color was raging like a tsunami, but he still allowed him to use the desert to fight remotely. It's just that he hasn't fought much for more than 10 years, and found that his own fighting consciousness is much worse. Ha ha ha, it's over anyway, this is my ultimate move for Whitebeard. Crocodile laughed wildly, and to Robin's surprise, the other party was constantly flying back. Even if fly back, the sandstorm is still raging. Soon, Robin discovered that the farther Crocodile was, the stronger the dust storm. The ultimate move for Whitebeard. It's sad and pathetic, and I'm worrying. Although Robin hadn't seen what Crocodile's ultimate move was, the process was too slow. When reaching a certain distance, Crocodile completely let go of the control of the sandstorm because it reached the distance limit. Ha ha ha, destroy, despair, feel the pain. When my abilities reach the limit in the desert, it will be a doomsday natural disaster. When the sandstorm got out of control, the sky turned dark in an instant. How so? When little Vivi sat on the clouds in the sky in the distance, he was a little surprised. It was a tornado sandstorm that spread across the sky, covering an invisible desert like a real natural disaster. It turns out that, with the ability to simulate the power base of natural sandstorms in the desert, let it grow naturally. In Robin's eyes, the scope of the dust storm is getting bigger and bigger, completely out of control. Even Crocodile himself cannot predict what damage this sandstorm will cause. Ha 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 ha, the dust storm will only get stronger and stronger. When it reaches you, it will be destroyed, you can't hide it, you can't run away. Crocodile's laughter was engulfed by the howl of the sandstorm, and Robin heard it. Why do you want to hide? Robin slowly raised his hand, contending head on. Boom. When the sandstorm swept across, the desert behind Robin was completely shattered. Thousands of red flowers, sea of flowers. Countless huge arms burst out of the sea of sand, as beautiful as countless flowers in a flower field. Okay, so beautiful. Advertisement. Obviously it can make people with intensive phobia panic, but in Vivi's eyes, these arms are really like a sea of flowers. Smash it. Robin exploded with spiritual power. Reiatsu armed color, swept across countless arms. In an instant, countless arms swelled again, and each hand was hundreds of meters large and closed behind Robin. Like Senju Guanyin, the flowers bloom at a thought, and they are so colorful. Boom. The atmosphere above was completely torn apart, and countless huge arms fell like meteors and bombarded wildly at the sandstorm. Hashirama. Bite the kiss, not bad, pay the copyright fee. Impossible. Crocodile, who was far away, let out a loud shout of disbelief. He was about to watch the runaway sandstorm crush everything from a distance. But he saw that the dust storm that scared him was blocked by something. The collapse of pieces. In the end, what happened? The sandstorm was too heavy. Crocodile in the back couldn't see the front, but his heart became more and more depressed. Robin. You don't even know how to see or hear. Too strong. Really too strong. Little Vivi was excited and incoherent, jumping up and down on the clouds, blushing. The dust storm, which seemed to be able to destroy Alabasta, was powerfully destroyed by Robin. Boom. Countless huge arms continued to smash the dust in the sky. Boom. When the last layer of the sandstorm was shattered, the entire dust storm came to an abrupt end, and the dust in the sky lost its support and fell. How can this be? When the sandstorm disappeared, Crocodile's heart was shocked. He pinned on his big move to defeat Whitebeard, and was broken by a woman. This seems to him extremely mentally retarded and ridiculous. When you hid in Alabasta as a rat, you had already lost all your qualifications. Robin flickered a dozen times, came to Crocodile, and spoke plainly. It's ridiculous that I don't want to become stronger in cultivation, but only want to be in this chaotic kingdom. What do you know? Crocodile's face was extremely ugly, and he roared unwillingly. Cultivation becomes stronger. How strong can it be? The strongest in the world, Whitebeard, is not hiding in New World. A small place like New World, it sounds like a pirate overlord, but in fact it is just a bereaved dog driven to the corner by the world government. Wow, this sentence spread out. I don't know how many big pirates died of anger. But the fact that Crocodile said, because New World is really not big, it is in the gap between West, North Blue and Red Line. If you look at the world map and say it is a small corner, there is no problem. The entire Grand Line is not big compared to the world. Roger, is it strong enough? Tell me, did he defeat all the big pirates, kill Marine, or kill celestial dragons? He is so strong, he is not a waste that even his wife can't protect. Crocodile vented his emotions, almost scolded all the strong. Robin's eyelids twitched as he listened. How about you? Robin couldn't understand. The legendary practice is useless. Puff cough cough. Crocodile spit out a mouthful of blood again, and laughed hysterically. Goo ha ha ha, no matter how strong a person is, there are limits. The real purpose of my coming here is Pluton, one shot in one island, ancient weapon that is enough to dominate the world. No matter how strong Whitebeard is, how many shots can he block? The world government must also be destroyed. Desert sword. During the words, Crocodile shot his hand instantly, his arm turned into a blade of sand and fell on the ground. A huge desert sword broke out of the sand from behind Robin and hit the back. Puff. The sound of body penetration sounded. Ahem, how could this be? Crocodile vomited a big mouthful of blood, looking at the spiritual blade that pierced through the heart in disbelief. When Crocodile looked up, he saw Robin in front of him melt into smoke and dissipate. Clone. Crocodile was desperate. The spirit blade wrapped around the armed color, not only piercing his heart, but also 5.8 piercing his soul. You said a lot of nonsense, isn't it just to attract my attention and sneak attack? Robin stood behind Crocodile with a spiritual blade in his hand and said, a good strategy. The moment I heard Pluton, I was also shocked. Thank you for your information. I will keep your whole body. Puff chick chick. It was said that the whole body was left, but Robin drew his knife in an instant and caught it again. In an instant. Stabbed 18 times in a row. Hit all the key points of Crocodile. Cut off all his vitality. Puff. When Robin finally drew his knife. After turning around, he leapt one step and came to the clouds above. Puff. As Crocodile fell, the whole desert was silent. Sand Crocodile. Die. Dead. Dead. Vivi was in a trance. Robin looked back at the distant sky, and all the clouds were swaying wildly. There seemed to be terrible beasts raging in the sky. Roar. A dragon chant cleansed the sky. The dragon chant shook the world, and the entire Alabasta was shocked and felt a terrible sense of oppression. Dragon. Kaido. Robin saw a huge dragon tear open the clouds and flew quickly. Lousy. Found you. Chapter 76. The Holy Empire where it is easy to ask the Buddha to send the Buddha, and suddenly enters. Advertisement. Roar. Long Yin swayed through the clouds, and the dragon head like a hill came directly in front of him. Guru. On the clouds, Vivi looked up, and she felt her body stiff. What kind of experience is it when a dragon suddenly appears in front of you? This damn oppressive feeling. It can scare people. Heaven Earth, Eastern Dragon. Seeing the huge blue dragon that is more than 100 meters ahead and flying in the clouds, Robin was calm and excited. Fish fruit. Monster species, green dragon form, the carp jumps over the dragon gate. Are you looking for me? Kaido. Vivi was shocked again. Although there are no 4 emperors now, the reputation of the 3 major hegemons of New World is not to mention the land of the 4 seas, but no one knows the Grand Line. The strongest creatures by sea, land and air. King Protector, Kaido. Kaido is the strongest, heads up. This is the evaluation given to Kaido by countless people on the Grand Line, and Vivi often hears Cobra mentions it. That is the horror of one person oppressing all nations. What frightened Vivi the most was that Kaido was rumored to be immortal. He has repeatedly challenged Marine and the pirate overlord by himself, and has been severely tortured more than 1,000 times and sentenced to death dozens of times. Hanging broke the chain, broken the head and smashed the knife, the spear pierced it and would break, etc. No one could kill him. Undead monster. Vivi only has this word in his mind to describe the horror of Kaido. Lousy is looking for you. Kaido's voice burst like thunder. Vivi and Jenny felt that their eardrums were about to shatter, but Robin's spiritual power blocked them. Be quiet, don't scare the children. As Robin opened his mouth, he sat elegantly on the clouds and looked at the dragon. Even in the heavens, dragons are rare, but their appearance is like a lizard, and your appearance is very good. What do you mean by this woman? Kaido unexpectedly had the idea that this woman was looking at the mount. This made Kaido angrily laughed. You are the most courageous woman Lousy has ever seen. Do you really think that killing a little crocodile is invincible? Kaido dismissed the sand crocodile that turned into a dead body in the desert. Garbage Shichibukai. It's not worth mentioning Lousy's pants. Of course not. Robin glanced at Longwa Kaido again. The more I look at it, the more I feel that this dragon is suitable for a mount. I don't know what your majesty thinks. 2 choices. First, return to Wano Kuni with Lousy honestly. Second, Kaido's voice shook the sky, his eyes were full of evil spirits. Lousy. I'm going to Wano Kuni. Robin interrupted calmly. What? Vivi was shocked. Sister Robin, Kaido is. It's okay, I want to go there and have a look. Robin smiled carelessly, and continued. You and Jenny go back first and tell Cobra to announce that the world will join the Empire immediately, understand? This woman. Kaido was also shocked, he was ready to fight, and he agreed directly. No, she said that I was going to Wano Kuni, not that I would go with you, let alone surrender or something. I always feel that something is wrong. This made Kaido's dragon head look uncertain, constantly perceiving his surroundings. Nobody else. Seeing Kaido's defensive gesture, Robin couldn't help laughing. The dragon's head spins and spins very funny. You go first, Crocodile's body will be handled by you. After separating the clouds and sending Vivi and Jenny away, Robin suggested again, can I step on your head to Wano Kuni? You dream. Kaido yelled without thinking. Really use him as a mount. Kaido subconsciously wanted to wave his paw, but he looked at Robin's small body. Forget it, Lousy is so strong. If a paw squeezed her out, it would be for nothing. Remember, don't play tricks. Kaido waved his dragon's claws to let Robin go first, and his dragon eyes stared at Robin, perceiving all directions. How is the scenery in Wano Kuni? Robin flew through the clouds and said. Kaido said coldly, you'll know in a while. Robin laughed and said nothing. The reason why she left with Kaido was purely because of her curiosity about Wano Kuni, and there was a historical text marked there by His Majesty. And it is the text of historical coordinates. Wano Kuni is closed to the country, never receives outsiders, does not join the world government, and it is difficult for even marine ships to enter. It wasn't until Kaido occupied and developed Seastone's foreign trade that some information came out. But it is still a blank area of information everywhere. As Kazuki still alive, Robin is most interested in those who are able to bear fruit at this time in Kazuki. Come across time and space from 800 years ago. Kaido didn't speak, and flew coldly. I wanted to travel to Wano Kuni and flew over by myself, understand? Robin spoke again. Kaido couldn't help but get angry. Have you ever finished? What makes Kaido most uncomfortable is that there is no trace of fear in Robin's eyes. It is really like a traveler who saw a novel animal and was full of interest. Is my Kaido so unpretentious? Anyhow, you exclaimed all of a sudden. Just remember it. Advertisement. Robin didn't speak anymore, took out a book from Na Ring, and read it quietly. Damn it. Presumptuous. Unacceptable. Seeing Robin's attitude, Kaido wants to scold his mother. What do you mean? Is this woman really traveling to Wano Kuni? Kaido can't understand Robin's brain circuit at all. He is a big pirate. Whoever sees it is not panic and don't want it, but you don't want it in a leisurely manner. Kaido wanted to shoot again, and endured it. Laozi can't be angry. If you accidentally kill her, it will be in vain. It's easier to ask the Buddha to send the Buddha. Robin murmured when he looked at a sentence in the Book of Heaven and Earth, always feeling very suitable. That's a good sentence. The incident of Kaido coming to Alabasta was immediately known by the major forces. But because of the sky, except for the world government, no one knows what Kaido does there. Kaido is gone again. Did you catch that, Robin, so soon? The two five elders were extremely pleasantly surprised, but also a little surprised. This is not right. How can a woman who can easily kill crocodile be able to do two tricks with Kaido, right? But the CP members said nothing happened. Have you caught it? I tried to contact Kaido, but I didn't answer the phone. I didn't know if I contacted Yan. Immediately, catch the little girl and woman next to Robin, and ask them. The bald and long beard gave orders. After waiting 10 minutes. From the phone worm of the Alabastakpi member, there was a lazy voice, 5 elders. Oh no, are you two old stars? It's you. The bald head and the long beard were taken aback. Obito of the Holy Empire. Inform, you, Alabasta belongs to the Empire, that's it. Blue Brew. When the phone worm hangs up. The bald head and the long beard felt that something was not good. Didn't they say that there is only Robin there? Why are there people from the Empire? Master 5 elders, something has happened. Chief CP0 walked into the new Pangu city. He had always been prudent, and his eyes were a little panicked. The first half of the Holy Empire's march on the Grand Line has already fallen to nearly a quarter. What? How can this be? The long-bearded 5 elders shouted angrily. Do you know what else you are talking about? They were still in the world before, how could they suddenly take so many islands? There are dense star sets on the islands of the Grand Line. Recently, people have been arranged on each island in the first half. How could it be possible to suddenly win nearly a quarter without receiving any news? It is true. The total length of CP0 immediately called up the picture, which was taken by a flying CPO in midair. In the picture, the Empire flying giant ships, fighter jets came out, flying densely in the sky, and there were many people flying in the sky. The picture does not stop. Master 5 elders, there are 7 routes in the first half of the Grand Line, and the Empire is divided into 7 routes, directly landing on all the islands in the front quarter of the 7 routes. They attacked at the same time. There are many Imperial soldiers on each island, with strong leaders leading them. The CPO chief is shocked up to now. Too suddenly. Did not give people a chance to react. Instantly fell to a quarter. After a few days of stabilization, another quarter, 190, then stabilization for a few days, and another quarter. Won the first half of the Grand Line in about a month. How terrifying. Thinking of this, CP0's scalp is numb. It's messed up, it's all messed up, and all the plans are messed up and useless. Damn it. The bald head and the long beard are also a little panicked in anger. Entering into the Grand Line is such an important matter, doesn't your empire make a big announcement about it? Passing the order, Marine, block them for me and guard the first half. 5 elders with a long beard immediately gave the order and glanced at each other with his bald head. Such a big matter must be reported. Naval headquarters is also in a mess. Since the Imperial Army landed on all the islands in the first quarter of the first half of the Grand Line at the same time, no one received the news in advance. No matter how the world government reacts, the Empire does not care. The Saint Army is responsible for the first half of the Grand Line, the middle route. Whiskey Peak, the gathering place for bounty hunters, is also a place occupied by the subordinate organizations of the Baroque Working Society. Might Guy and Luasha led the team. Little Garden has only 2 Blue Ogre Dory from Elbaf, the Land of Giants, and Brigi, the Red Ghost. Yugura and Shisui led the march. Drum Island Medical Power, King Wapple, Dr. Kuleha and Chopper etc. Didera and I led the march. The scattered islands were led by Kimimaro and others. Finally, Alabasta arrived here by Obito and Kakashi. A quarter of the islands on this route were also marched by the sacred troops. Take it firmly for a few days and continue to march. 2 adults, Sister Robin and the pirate are gone, please help her. Vivi was worried. To Vivi's astonishment, Kakashi said casually, well, I see. Is this country a desert? Master Hashirama has to plant trees again, so distressed. Obito looked east and west, making Vivi full of confusion. Don't they know Robin's sister? Chapter 77. Kaido. Lousy regrets it, so you shouldn't bring Robin back. Advertisement. The Empire suddenly entered the Grand Line and divided the army from various quarters, directly marching into the first half of the quarter of the island news. The madness spread all over the Grand Line. It was too sudden. Thousands of thunders mingled in the silence. Countless people were surprised that their scalp was numb. How can it be so fast? North Blue has been stable for 7 years, and has the East, the South and the 3 Seas been unstable for 10 years. Damn it, there is no preparation at all. Withdraw, quickly withdraw. Where to go? The Fishman Island is gone, where can we go? Pirates, royal families, nobles, evil parties, marines, etc., and even the revolutionary army are all in chaos. When countless careerists want to retire, Twilight discovered that the land of the 4 seas belonged to the Empire. The first half was being attacked by the Empire, and they could only go to New World. But there are only 4 roads to New World. 1. West Blue and North Blue Calm Belt enter. From the sea bottom the Fishman Island passed. 3rd, the ability to leapfrog Red Line. 4th, the special channel of world government. But West and North Blue belong to the Empire, and the Fishman Island is gone. Very few people can fly, and the special passage is even more nonsense. Out on a limb, when the facts are in front of you. Countless careerists were desperate on the spot. Marine urgently ordered the first half of the Grand Line and New World Marine to gather in Sabayati. Bring all the power together. Stick to the last line of defense. And Baldage, the island of white soil on the first half of the Grand Line, was also dead. Here it is, Revolutionary Army Headquarters. Chief, what shall we do? All cadres are anxious like ants on a hot pot. According to the Empire's quarter of the marching speed. At most half a month, you will be able to reach Baldigo. Because the Empire is a carpet-like march. No matter how deep Baldi hit it, it was useless. Would you like to evacuate to the country where Ivankov is located? Some cadres suggested so. Ivankov was imprisoned in Impel Down last year for unwarranted charges. But a few years ago, Ivankov became the queen of the kingdom of Kamabaka on the peach-colored island and an alternative location for the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army. Hiss. Many cadres trembled. It's the land of shemales. If it weren't necessary, who would go there? Pointless. Dorag shook his head. Even if I evacuated the Peach Island, it would be discovered later. The cadres were silent. Dorag got up and said solemnly, if I propose that the Revolutionary Army join the Emperor. No, I object. Impossible. Before Dorag finished speaking, many cadres were opposed and even angry. Seeing this, Bello Beatty, the commander of the Eastern Army, dressed boldly, exclaimed, you are too much, do you have a leader in your eyes, you? All right Betty. Dorag raised his hand to signal Betty to stop, then looked at the cadres and said calmly, I know, then retreat. Many cadres breathed a sigh of relief. Even if the retreat is meaningless, it is good to confront the Empire head-on a little later. Why oppose? Who is willing to surrender their efforts to others? This is the lifetime effort of many people present. Surrendering to the Empire is like giving away your hard-earned daughter directly. Who can bear it? Revolution is to fight the country. Many cadres thought so. Celestial dragons can dominate the world for 800 years, why can't they overthrow it and dominate the world for thousands of years? There was a chance. All are crushed by the Empire, so they are even more reluctant to join the Empire. Let go of all rights. Go to be a civilian. The first half is in chaos. Robin followed Kaido to the New World in the second half. Kaido turns into a dragon and flies fast. Robin's clouds were also very fast, and the two arrived in the Wano-kuni area soon. Humph. It's here. Kaido suffocated all the way. He felt that he was not a hostage, but he had invited an ant. Have you finished watching? Kaido was so angry. It can be seen that Robin has been reading quietly, even more angry. Reached. Robin closed the book and looked down. It's no wonder that the country is closed because of its geographical location. In Robin's eyes, Wano-kuni has no open sea, surrounded by cliffs and waterfalls. After going up there is the inner sea. There are several island branches in the inner sea, namely the main island of Wano-kuni and the island of Ghosts. The main island is divided into 6 areas: Julie, Exame, Rabbit Bowl, Lingo, Baiwu, and Flower City. The scenery there is not bad. Robin simply commented on the city of flowers in his eyes, making Kaido's angry eyes spit fire. You are my hostage, you are not here to travel, understand? Please respect my profession, hello. Robin smiled and said, but I'm here to travel, do you still want to handcuff me? Huh, it's not necessary. Kaido thought for a while or gave up. He wants to ensure that Robin is in good condition, otherwise God knows what the Empire will go crazy. Smoke, take her to the island. Kaido yelled, then turned his head and said coldly, I advise you not to leave Wano-kuni, you can't run away with me. Hey, Kai turned into a toothless pterosaur and flew up, startled. Is this woman intact? The boss looks angry. This is Mr. Kai, your abilities are also very good. Robin looked at the wings of smoke. Zone, dragon fruit ancient species, toothless pterosaur form. Another good mount. It always feels like you are thinking about something impolite. After speaking, Jin looked at Kaido and asked with his eyes. Advertisement. The woman's reaction was wrong. The smoke won't stop. Don't hurt her. Kaido left a sentence and flew away. Quote. As a guest, the moment the blazing eyes changed, he said in a deep voice, Miss Robin, please. I want to go there and see. Robin pointed to the city of flowers, and without waiting to speak, he drove Baiyun over. Stop halfway. Robin's voice came back. By the way, help me prepare a dinner, normal sandwiches, not too sweet cakes, and a cup of black tea, thank you. Kaido boss. Did you invite an aunt to come back? Quinn, go look at that woman, boss Kaido said. Turn the trouble to Quinn. Kai went to find Kaido. After a while, when I came to Kaido, I wondered, boss, why is she not nervous at all? Arrogant woman. Kaido is furious at this point. Kai Wei frowned. Then why don't you lock her up? It's okay to hit the stars. Kaido took a sip of wine and said in a deep voice, I want to understand a problem on the way back with her. Robin read quietly all the way. That kind of indifferent and graceful posture, Kaido also wanted to understand in his anger. Robin is not afraid of him at all. He listened blazingly. Empire, I can't afford it. Kaido's words shocked Kai. This is really the boss of Kaido, isn't it someone else pretending to be? Do you think that Laozi becomes the overlord only by brute force? Looking at Chi's astonishment, Kaido's face was full of Laozi's clever expression. Kaido's rare calm analysis said, at present, the only possibility to defeat the Empire is for all the pirates, marines, revolutionary forces, kingdoms, celestial dragons, etc. to contend, understand? Kai was silent. This is a problem that many people know, but are unwilling to face. Especially the big pirates are too arrogant. Robin can be brought back, but it can't be hurt. You can't lose a single hair. Laozi doesn't want to be a victim of other forces trying to test the strength of the Empire. Kaido said, drank the wine in one sip. Kai did not dare to believe. Boss, do you mean they can kill you? Fart. Kaido shouted angrily. No one can kill Laozi, but the Empire can kill you all, and then lock Laozi into an experimental subject. Lin will definitely laugh to death. Kai wiped Kaido's dripping saliva, and changed the subject. Then grabbed Robin. What's the use of coming here? Bring the Empire over. Kaido's words caused Yan to lose his voice again. Boss, I can't keep up with your thought rhythm at all. Then what? Kai puzzled and worried. Kaido couldn't help but stared. Ask Laozi for everything. What do you want you to do? Brainstorm Laozi. Me. Kaido said that he had already exploded in his divergent thinking, and he couldn't find a good countermeasure for a while. Look at each other speechlessly. It was a great mistake for Laozi to bring Robin back. It was hasty. Kaido was rather depressed. At that time, I was angry and just wanted to do things, thinking about taking the initiative to catch Robin. A group of younger brothers also followed up and booed, saying that he was very smart, very wise and so on. Scare. A bunch of trash. Kaido only wanted to understand when he came back that the Empire really couldn't afford it. But it was too late. I can only find an excuse to tell Jin to bring the Empire over, so that he can maintain the majesty of the boss. Boss, something happened. At this time, a little brother ran over with a phone worm and said in a panic. Kai couldn't help frowning. Why panic? Kaido. Quote. The younger brother hurriedly said. Boss, big brother Quinn called, saying that Robin took young master Yamato and beat Kurozumi Orochi. The Flower City was in chaos, and big brother Quinn was mad and couldn't stop it. Kaido. Laozi regretted it. Laozi shouldn't bring Robin back. How long has it been since so many things have happened? Kai frowned again. Young master, how did you go to the Flower City? Who released it? Laozi let it out. That foolish son can do without Wano Kuni. Kaido mentioned. Stupid son, and felt even more depressed and helpless. Isn't it good to be an obedient, good daughter? I have to be a silly son who wants to be Kazuki Oden. Tell Quinn, let that woman be honest, this is Laozi's territory, if the trouble continues. Having said that, thinking of the Holy Empire again, Kaido said coldly, then. Good promise, kick her out of Wano Kuni. Kai. Is this boss really a fake? The capital of flowers. The most prosperous area in Wano Kuni. There is chaos at the moment. Ah, Robin, you are so cool. Beat Kurozumi to death. This is something Kazuki Oden didn't do. A crisp scream sounded, full of excitement and excitement. You are obviously a woman, why do they call you young master? Robin looked at Yamato in confusion. In Robin's sight, Yamato is a beautiful and tall woman wearing a red dress, white-green gradual long hair, and long horns. Also, are you really Kaido's daughter? No, I am Kaido's son. When Yamato mentioned Kaido, he said angrily, moreover, it is the son of Tenten who was beaten by Laozi and locked up in prison. Robin didn't know what to say. The Empire also has a Yamato. Enough. Quinn called in anger. This woman didn't give him any face. Kurozumi Orochi just made a joke, and immediately ushered in a brutal beating. Robin turned his head and said flatly, this ugly waste has dirty my eyes and my ears. I must die. Kaido can't stop me. Then. Go away. Idle. Seeing this, Yamato screamed again, like a little girl who had never seen the world, jumping around with excitement. What Kazuki Oden? Get out of here. Chapter 78. General Kurozumi Orochi dies, and the Holy Empire descends on Wano Kuni. Advertisement. The woman of damn it. An ugly bald big-headed monster in a bright yellow kimono, lying on the ground covered in wounds, looked at Robin as he walked. Wano Kuni's current general, Kurozumi Orochi. Brutality, arrogance, extreme sexuality, etc., couldn't find any advantages in him at all. Don't move, Quinn. Yamato took out his mace and pointed it at Quinn, looking at Robin excitedly. This makes Quinn's face ugly. Young master, although Orochi is despicable, he is our ally. You sure? Yamato said and brushed his hair lightly, and glanced at Quinn meaningfully. Question mark, exclamation mark. Really? Quinn couldn't help being stunned. With this look, did Yamato see that the boss Kaido was using the big snake? This Quinn surprised him, because Yamato had a low IQ in his heart. Wow, I don't know who you are, but don't think about it. Kurozumi Orochi was smiling cruelly, and Robin came up as a divine destruction. The body was pierced by the laser again, and the Kurozumi Orochi rolled around in place. As it rolled, his body swelled. Roar. With a roar that resembled a dragon and a snake, the ground vibrated and a cloud of dust was lifted. Zone again. Through the dust, Robin saw something, his eyes lit up slightly. Since he had no playmates before the age of 8, he could only find small animals to play with, so Robin developed a hobby. I like animals very much. Of course, except for those who are capable. But I have long heard that Beasts Pirates is a zoo. Even if Robin is not interested in capable people, he still wants to see a group of people turn into a wild dance of animals. Wow, woman, you are dead. With an unpleasant sneer sounded, the monster inside swept away the dust. It was a huge monster with 8 snake heads. The whole body was green. 7 heads were like dragons. The middle head was wearing a crown. Snake fruit human beast species 8 snake form. Although 540 is a fruit of very good ability, Robin sees only ugliness. Because the head of the snake with the crown in the middle looks the same as the Kurozumi snake, which is extremely ugly. Wow, go to hell. The 8 snake heads all have their own consciousness, and they separated in 8 directions in an instant, and moved towards Robin broken whistle. Be careful, Yamato shouted. Quinn still kept his face cold. It was not important that the snake died. The important thing was that Robin didn't give him and the boss face too much. Stop, you shouted from afar. Late. Robin calmly looked at the attacking snake head and slightly raised his hand. When I first said the first sentence when I saw you, I was already dead. What is this? Feeling the deadly danger, the 8 snake heads looked towards the sky and couldn't help being shocked. When? Quinn was also shocked. I don't know when there was a huge bow and arrow in the sky, and it was full of destructive energy. Damn trash, get away, Quinn couldn't help but remind. This trick, which was in the live broadcast 7 years ago, impressed many people. Boom. Quinn's words have not yet sounded, and a flash of light flashes across the void. Everyone felt a flower in front of them. Puff chick chick. The great divine destruction. As soon as it landed, it turned into a horrible lightsaber, and directly cut off all the 8 snake heads of the Kurozumi Orochi. Boom. The lightsaber's remaining prestige remained undiminished, and the general mansion not far away was directly split open and exploded immediately. The people around first felt a terrible wave of air, and then heard the roar of the explosion. The roar near the general's mansion aroused the gaze of countless people. Tuanjuli and so on in the rest of the area heard it. The land of the rabbit bowl. What happened there? Seeing the shining brilliance of the sky, a young girl with beautiful emerald color and long hair couldn't help being astonished. That direction is the capital of flowers. Kazuki Hiyori, who is about to be 14 years old, that is 13 years old, she just left a farewell letter and left without saying goodbye to Ha Song. I am at a loss not knowing where to go. If there is no interference from external factors, he will be put in prison when he is 13 years old, and then he will be taken in again when he encounters Schwanjiro, who is falsely known as Crazy Death Lang. Become a little purple, become an Oran, become Wano Kuni's first beauty, forbearing revenge. But now, Hiwa is just a confused 13-year-old girl. Let's go to the Flower City to see. The shock just now changed the trajectory of Rihei and walked towards the City of Flowers. Problem occurs. The Ashura boy and Guri and Denjiro in the flower capital are all solemn. How come? How did she go? He Song of the Rabbit Bowl was anxious. He went to Jadaochao to rob and collect weapons. He just came back and saw Rihei's farewell letter. Too naive, you are only 13 years old and don't understand Wano Kuni's chaos at all. He Song was full of worries. In the chaos of the war, it was he who rescued Rihei and kept his name incognito. He also understands that although his heart is strong and not afraid of power, he is too gentle and kind and may be deceived and arrested. The main thing. No, I must find her back. Although He Song is a tribe of redfin pufferfish with a frog-like appearance, his aesthetics are fine. The 13-year-old Hiwa is very beautiful. If you go to the Flower City, it will definitely cause a sensation, and even attract the evil Orochi Guy ship. And in the capital of flowers. Ah, so cool, Sister Robin, you are so cool. Looking at the dead Kurozumi Orochi, the shattered general mansion, and the split abyss, Yamato ran over excitedly. The hands holding Robin jumped and jumped. I decided, Kazuki Oden is no longer my idol, Robin's sister is. Yamato's big eyes are full of admiration. Advertisement. She once thought that Odin was the best warrior, and later found the voyage diary left by Odin and regarded it as her own Bible. Yamato thinks of himself as a man and he admires Kazuki Odin and wants to be a man like him, which makes Kaido very troubled. Daughter, what should I do if my brain is sick? Just a few beats like a son. Kaido thinks about beating Yamato a few times, but the more he fights, the more Yamato resists. An angry Kaido, when Yamato was 8 years old, he threatened not to leave Wano-kuni with a bomb bracelet. Quote. With little experience, gentle and straightforward girl. Robin commented on Yamato, 15 or 6 years old. Why don't you stop? Kai flew down from the sky, with a black feather AHFI spread out behind him, and his whole body was surrounded by flames. Quinn came along too, quite angrily. Do you really treat Wano-kuni as an empire? Kill if you say kill, it's too presumptuous. What are you going to do? Yamato is much taller than Robin, and opened his hand to block her in front of her. That ugly monster is dead when he dies. Sister Robin is my friend. He wants to fight me. Kai and Quinn frowned. Yamato has been a model of turning his elbow outside since he was a child, and they also have a headache. But if Robin continues to make trouble, what do the other boys think? Quote. This is presumptuous. Robin interrupted the annoying words, and said gracefully, the empire has been 10 years, and I always remember what your majesty said to me. The rules are kept within the empire. Lawless outside the empire. What's the meaning? Kai and Quinn are busy. Wow. Shocked by the people around, countless huge arms appeared out of thin air around Robin, and they closed behind Robin in an instant. Although it is much smaller than Hashirama's top Buddha, it is still a huge monster. What are you going to do? Kai couldn't believe it. After this woman killed the serpent, she still wanted to attack them. How dare she be so presumptuous? The flowers bloom at a thought, and they are so colorful. Robin shot without hesitation, the countless arms behind him entangled and smashed past with spiritual power. In an instant, it was dark. Before they arrived, Yan and Quinn felt that the atmosphere ahead was shattered, and the power was terrifying. Laser cannon. Quinn is transforming people, and he turns into a mechanical weapon when he raises his left hand. Bright beams of light came out. Pterodactyl slash. The blazing slash was extremely fierce, burning fierce flames, and went straight away. Boom. 2 attacks forcefully destroyed the attacking arms. Before the boys cheered, Robin saw more arms attacking. Sure enough, it's not weak. Robin murmured, and Reiatsu exploded. What? Kai and Quinn felt that their movements were stagnant, and the strange aura that they had never felt before made them very uncomfortable. Boom. The complementary arm fell like a meteor, and the moment Kai and Quinn stagnated, they drowned them. The entire flower city shook again, and a roar resounded through Wano-kuni's area. Woman, you have gone too far. Kaido on the island of Ghost heard the roar and his face was full of fierceness. Challenged his bottom line again and again. Roar. Kaido turns into a dragon and flies towards the flower capital. And the shaking in the flower city has continued, although Robin's big move is far inferior to Hashirama's top-up Buddha. But there are also advantages. That is, there is no limit to the number of arms before the spiritual and physical strength is exhausted. It can continue to attack for a long time until the target is completely destroyed. This trick is so cool. Yamato was sluggish for a moment, full of excitement again, raising his hand and shouting, Sister Robin, come on, defeat Cigarette and Quinn, and defeat Kaido again. He cried and begged for mercy. Robin. That's your father. Are you really good like this? Blessed in the distance. The sky lit up with red light. Robin looked up while continuing to attack. A terrible flame spread for several kilometers, burning everything it passed, and hitting Robin. Long walk Kaido's heat. Be careful, Robin, Kaido is very strong. Seeing Robin's defenseless or even ignoring appearance, Yamato's heart was lifted. Although the old man is bad, he is really strong. Arrogant, or looking for death. Seeing Robin not fighting back from a distance, Kaido was amazed. His heat is enough to instantly evaporate and burn a large mountain, and you can imagine how hot it is. At this moment, the singular wave was washed away. It was as if the arc of time was moved. Yamato was astonished, and Kaido solemnly. Wow. The heat dissipated instantly. No, it's completely backwards, back to Kaido's mouth, back to before Kaido's breath of heat. Hyuga Hinata. Kaido blurted out. In this close to back time scene, Kaido only remembers the girl who made everyone extremely jealous. Buzz. When a gleaming portal appeared, thousands of figures flew out of it. Sister Hinata, Sister Konan, Sasori Senpai. Seeing the 3 leading people, Robin gave a pleasant surprise and withdrew his hands. Kai and Quinn also retreated, looking at the Holy Empire that suddenly descended in shock. Trouble. Chapter 79. Yamatov's Yamato, Momosuke. Advertisement. Holy Empire. Seeing thousands of people walking out of the space portal, Smoke and Quinn became solemn. Some cowardly Quinn wanted to find an excuse to leave here, but was directly surrounded. Hyuga Hinata. The huge blue dragon in the sky in the distance, the eyes of the dragon stared at Hinata, a little jealous. The other party is not the silly white suite of Kazuki, who obviously has the fruit of tyrannical time, but is as weak as scum. Who doesn't fear Hina Tien's time ability? For a time, the audience held their breath. The atmosphere of the flower city is condensed. Lots of people. Yamato's eyes were bright, and he looked at him with amaze. Robin, Sister, are they all your friends? You stay away, Yamato. Robin finished speaking and walked towards Hinata. Cough. Yamato nodded, and suddenly found thousands of Imperial soldiers looking at her in surprise. One of them had a stunned expression. The blunt Yamato immediately said, "Your eyes are so strange, why are you staring at me? Your name is Yamato." The young man of the Holy Soldier could not say what he felt, and he was unable to complain. "I, the captain of the 3rd Squadron of the Holy Soldier." "Oh, question mark question mark question mark exclamation mark." Yamato was confused for a moment. "What's the matter, what are you telling me?" "Empire Yamato. There is something wrong. Yamato is a masculine name, why is the other party a woman?" Imperial Yamato took a deep breath and said seriously, "Anyway, please listen to me. You will change your name from today." Change name. Yamato took a closer look at the Empire Yamato, and suddenly realized, "So, you want to fight me? Yes, you can beat me, just change. It's okay for you to understand this way. Empire Yamato can't understand Yamato's brain circuit, but this is the best way. Thunder 8 trigrams. Yamato was full of energy, raised his mace to wind the lightning, and rushed to the Empire Yamato at a very fast speed. Boom. The mace fell and cracked the ground directly. Quote. It should be called Laming Si Gua. No, second Gua is right. In the crowd, a little girl with long blue and pink hair Yunya was complaining. It's a far cry from Kaido's boss. Wow, did you avoid it? Yamato looked at the Empire Yamato who appeared on the other side, and he was full of fighting spirit. Imperial Yamato ignored her, looked at Hinata, and Hinata nodded slightly. At this time, Imperial Yamato said solemnly, "You shouldn't have solved private affairs in the battle. Now that you have done it, let's fight." Boom. Yamato's conquerors set off directly, causing storms and waves, and many people around fainted. The pirate boy retreated. Clear the field instantly. The Kaido side was silent, and the Empire side watched calmly. The prelude to the war. You are really strong, and you haven't been affected at all. Seeing Imperial Yamato standing calmly in place, Yamato's eyes lightened. As the daughter of Kaido, Yamato is also very combative, but he rarely shoots. One is a gentle personality, and the other is that no one wants to fight her. Zetsa. Lightning struck the mace, and Yamato began to accumulate energy. Ming box. A slash-like shock came from the mace, and when it appeared, it caused an atmospheric roar. Rushed away with a huge range. Brush. The Imperial Yamato instantly disappeared in place, and the attack failed again. So fast. Seeing, hearing and perceiving the Empire coming to his side, Yamato was slightly surprised. Medium divine lost. Fei Lian's Imperial Yamato dodges, raising his hand as a huge arrow. Cut through the void in a flash. Danger. Yamato subconsciously lifted his mace and released his armed defense. Boom. The mace shattered instantly. The arrow slammed into Yamato's body unabated, causing a huge explosion. The earth shattered and the dust filled. Master Yamato. The beast elites who were still awake exclaimed, sweating profusely and looked at Kaido in the sky. Kaido is furious, right? But Kaido didn't have any reaction, instead he was on guard for Hinata and Konan. Roar. A beast roar sounded from the dust. Yamato is also zone. Looking inside the dust, Robin didn't know what to say. Beasts pirates, it's better to change to the zoo of beasts. Ah, it hurts, I am an Eudemons, with strong resilience and defensive power, why is it still so painful? Yamato's voice lifted the dust away. Kai and Quinn were also taken aback. They saw Yamato for the first time showing fruit ability. This is a huge, terrifying fantasy beast that looks like a wolf but not a wolf, with sharp fangs. Zone Canine Fruit Eudemons breed Oucho true god form. Kaido of Longwa said the name of the fruit, feeling a little helpless. He didn't want Yamato to eat the phantom beast that he had only obtained through hard work. But Yamato ate the fruit because he was hungry, and regretted being a land duck. As your child, you have been handcuffed since you were a child, and you can't even eat enough to eat. Why should you call your father? This is what Yamato often says. Brush. Yamato, who became Oguchi god, disappeared in no time. Next moment. Boom. The claws smashed the ground, and Yamato's surprise sounded again. My speed has skyrocketed so much, why can't I hit you, how about you? Lost the presence of the Empire Yamato in perception. The Sea of Trees has a birthday. Yamato, the empire that came out of the realm of shadow, directly attacked without saying a word. What is this? Yamato saw a harmless vine-like sapling entwined. Gently pat to break. Fragile saplings turned into dense small saplings, which grew entwined one after another. Wow. When approaching Yamato, all the saplings grew wildly, and in a blink of an eye, towering trees formed. Tree bound forever burial. The towering tree with spiritual power turned into a sea of trees and submerged Yamato, and the vines were crazily twisted and strangled. Advertisement. Cracking. Lightning strikes from Yamato, colliding with the wood style of Imperial Yamato. Boom boom boom. Continuous roar. Sister Hinata, what did you find? Robin saw that Hinata was closing his eyes to perceive something, and his delicate face was surprised. It seems to perceive something amazing. There is no other strong in this country. Konan felt it too, and Kaido was the only one worth noting. The rest are so-called elites. Not worth mentioning. Time. Hinata opened his eyes and slowly raised his hand. I can feel that the time in this area is abnormal. What's the meaning? Everyone looked over. 1 year, 2 years, about 7 or 8 years ago, someone used to show their time abilities here. And it affects the present. Hinata's words surprised everyone. Time affects for nearly 8 years, how strong is the user? You have misunderstood, this does not prove that the opponent is strong. Hinata moved the arc of time in the holy script, directly interrupting the influence of time. Buzz. Under everyone's attention. The void was fluctuating, and there were even more imperceptible time ripples. Ticket ticket. 4 big and 1 small figures fell to the ground. When I looked over, he exclaimed, how is it possible? How come they haven't died? Hey, just kidding. Quinn's eyes stared out. Kaido's eyes also condensed, his eyes filled with evil spirits, and he was extremely angry. Momonosuke. Yamato gave a startled glance at the battle, and also exclaimed in astonishment. Among the 5, the boy looks 8 years old and wears a pink kimono with shaved hair on his head and steps on wooden clogs. It is Momosuke. The remaining 4 people. Kinemon, Kikunojo, Kanjuro, Raizo. So, someone is trying to send them to the future. 0. Look for flowers. The future is definitely not the present, so the power of time continues. Hinata realized it after feeling it. Although the user's strength is not necessarily strong, but the use of time is very delicate. The fruit of the time of Kazuki, according to your majesty, she came to Wano Kuni across time and space 800 years ago. Robin's words amazed everyone. When Odin was in prison, he cut Yanmo and Tianyu and sent a letter to Kazuki. After Odin died, Kazuki opened the letter. The letter prophesied, Wano Kuni will usher in a cold winter. In 20 years there will be people who defeat Kaido and make Wano Kuni the founding of the country. At that time, the world will be plunged into a huge war. So Kazuki sent the 5 Momonosuke to 20 years later. In order to prevent the crossing from failing, the remaining retainers and Kazuki Hiyori were left behind. It will last for about 20 years, but it was interrupted by me. Comprehending the remaining power of time, Hinata told the specific time. If Hinata does not come, the 5 Momonosuke will only jump out of time after 12 years. Traveling through time and space does not change age. Momonosuke is still 8 years old. Well, my head hurts. Momosuke squatted, and immediately greeted Leizang a few licking dogs and asking for warmth. 0. Are we there yet? Jinwaiman looked around guardingly. Kanjuro looked even more ugly. Because his real name is Kurozumi Kanjuro, it is Kurozumi Orochi who arranged to enter the Kazuki family. But what did he see? The dead body of Kurozumi Orochi. What? Momosuke suddenly exclaimed, her eyes widened and a heart appeared, and her body involuntarily walked towards the 3 daughters of Hinata, Robin and Konan. So beautiful, really beautiful. Seeing the 3 daughters, Momosuke erupted at a speed that Leizu and the others couldn't respond, and ran straight over. Momonosuke put on an innocent look, and he opened his hand to hug it. 3 beautiful sisters, please hug. 707. The expressions of the 4 Jinwaimen changed drastically, and Momonosuke knew better than anyone else. Odin threw grandma flying at the age of 0. He had amazing foot power at the age of 2, and killed the giant bear at the age of 4. 6-year-old girl in and out of Waji Lushong bubble girl. At the age of 15, threatened the abbot of the temple and lived in seclusion in the temple, abducting women every night to build a harem. The history of peace is called the rebellion of the harem. I thought Odin was at the extreme, but his son Momonosuke was better than Blue. In and out of Waji Lushong, 1 year earlier than Odin, he was only 5 years old. God knows how many women grow up to harm. Don't, young master. Puff. Before Lei Zhang's 4 voices sounded, a cold light flashed. A bloody arm flew up. Oh, Momonosuke screamed in pain, rolling all over, his nose and tears streaming. He felt like he was going to die in pain, but he had to build a harem beyond his father. How could he die here? Momosuke roared. Go, kill him for me. Get out of here. Reiatsu Junfei Lei hides a few people, and my mother walks towards Momonosuke indifferently with the spirit blade. The kid with dirty legs, your soul is full of filth. It was Sasori who attacked. Don't want to get dirty Conan's hands. Momonosuke thought eagerly and carefully, seeing through, almost vomiting out the overnight meal in disgust. Little age is so dirty. This is the child that Sasori has seen the most disgusting him. He can't imagine what an idiot the other person looks like when he grows up. Puff. There was another flash of cold light. Momonosuke's other hand flew again. Puff chick chick. Sasori made 3 cuts again. Left leg, right leg, 5th limb. Cut it all off. Momonosuke roared in agony, and the intense pain made his brain almost faint. Lei Zhang and the 3 were even more distraught. Come on. Chop and feed the dog. Of Chapter 80. Sasori alone suppresses the entire group of beasts. Kai and Quinn are too wasteful. Advertisement. Little Lord, Kinemon, Kikunojo, Reizu exclaimed. Momosuke, their young master, had his limbs cut off. No, the limbs were broken and he fell in a pool of blood. In addition to Kanjuro's shock and comfort, the 3 of them were heartbroken. That's it. Kai and Quinn are also very cool. When Kaido saw Momonosuke's tragic situation, his anger disappeared and he was extremely happy. This remnant hybrid color embryo. Odin should have died long ago. Why is this? Kinemon was dull. Mrs. Kazuki clearly wanted to send us 20 years later, because Odin said there was hope in the future. But now, hope with broken limbs. Kinemon and others are not clear. The power of time travel was forcibly interrupted by Hinata. Let the 5 people arrive 12 years in advance. Even if the young master is unbearable, it is still our young master. Lei Zhang looked at the indifferent Sasori angrily, and roared. The young master is still a child, how can you be so cruel, you? Sword pressure. There is a lot of nonsense. The terrifying sword slash turned into a big net, including the 3 people of Lei Zhang and even Kanjuro. Flow. The 4 members of Kinemon Gate were about to explode in the armed defense called a Ramo at Wanokuni. Boom. Exhausted Reiatsu set off. The 4 of them were sluggish and were directly submerged in the September 13th of the slashing net. Boom. The 4 of them shattered. Spilled down into blood mist. So strong. Kai and Quinn's eyes condensed. Although they couldn't afford Lei Zhang 4 people in their hearts, they still had some strength. He was actually killed by this man raising his hand. Second defeat and second kill are 2 concepts. Killing 1 person is much harder than defeating 1. What are you still doing? Remember to burn his soul to me. Sasori turned to look at the 2 Imperial soldiers. Yes, Admiral. The 2 Imperial soldiers saluted, and then turned to Momonosuke, who was convulsing in a pool of blood. Follow the Admiral's orders. Dirty the soul and thoughts, and want to hug Konan, Hinata, Robin 3 adults of the little ghost. Direct. Feed the dog. Burn the soul. Help me. Hearing Momosuke's mouth still furious. The 2 soldiers immediately cut off all his vitality and quarreled to death. Momonosuke died. Go and fight. After looking at the girl Yamato and the Empire Yamato, he directly threw the spiritual blade that cut Momosuke's limbs to the ground. His spiritual blade is dirty and must be thrown away. It's up to you next, Beasts Pirates. Looking at Shang Yu and others, I was very excited. Although the top combat power of Qinghai is inferior to the Empire, it has to be said that there are many strong players in this world. From Sasori's point of view, the Qinghai realm is stronger than the Heaven realm, because the gods there are too weak. Listen, I, Admiral of the Holy Empire Army, exhausted. Speaking towards Quinn and Kai. No matter what the reason, no matter what the purpose is, the moment you try to capture Robin, it is already doomed. I want to fight 10,000. Let's go together. Wow. Everyone at Beasts Pirates was shocked. 10,000. Although the current Beasts Pirates does not have the kind of future plans, such as the 3 major disaster big boards, real hits, numberers, givers, hilarious waiters, and flying 6 cells. But now Beasts Pirates, excluding the elite, plus all kinds of small soldiers and miscellaneous fish, it adds up to almost 10,000. This is also the approximate amount Sasori perceives. 1 person fights the whole group. The calm smoke couldn't help but get angry. Even Whitebeard would not underestimate Beasts Pirates, this guy who is not even Admiral of the Imperial Army, how arrogant. Senior, I want to play Kaido. Hinata spoke nonchalantly, and his indifferent expression instantly softened, revealing the kind smile of the elders. Okay, Kaido will be handed over to you, be careful. Hinata nodded. Well, I will take it seriously. Sasori said again. Is just 1 Kaido enough? How about you no longer? No, Sasori-senpai, I'm not interested in those trash fish. Hinata shook his head. Sasori nodded slightly. That's right, I have just finished the retreat and haven't fought for a long time, so I come to the event. Presumptuous. Too presumptuous. Quinn and other members of the beasts glared at him. What do they regard them as the boss of Kaido? Go ahead, take Wanokuni. Konan didn't make a move. Even the thousands of Imperial soldiers who came would not attack Beasts Pirates. They are here to take down Wanokuni and clean up all kinds of hidden dangers. Wanokuni has many samurai. Fighting. Kuina among the soldiers had firm eyes, and she also followed and fought the samurai. Swipe it. Kuina and the Imperial soldiers dispersed in all directions and swept towards the 6 areas of Wanokuni. Take him. Kai glanced at Kaido, who was silent in the distance, and shouted. The Empire came to be unkind, and didn't even say anything about joining the Empire to avoid death, and obviously didn't want to communicate with them. Wow. Open the wings of the pterosaur, burn the flames, directly hit Sasori from a long distance, and test. Organization. Quinn is also a remote test. The machine gun was ejected from the mouth to release the laser cannon, the neck, tail and hair were all stretched, and mechanical weapons were generated. Many pirates rushed towards Sasori. Ridiculous machine. Ignoring other attacks, Sasori looked at Quinn's body. Mechanical transformation man. Advertisement. It's rubbish in the eyes. Boom. Sasori opened the Eucharist directly, and opened the mechanized jet black wings into the air. The terrible Reiatsu collapsed like a tsunami. Thump thump. Under the shock of an Quinn, the void boiled and the earth burst, and their attacks were all destroyed. What's more terrifying is, where the momentum passes. One by one, the pirates were cut off from life. Conquerors can clean up the minions, but the exhausted Reiatsu can directly smash all the rear admiral strength and below people in this world to life. What kind of momentum is this? Kai and Quinn have experienced Robin's Reiatsu before, but the gap between the two is huge. Let the two have a sense of suffocation. See the real machinery. Sasori's holy text. Machinery, evolve again after entering the Eucharist. Buzz. An invisible halo enveloped the audience. Boom. As the earth shook, one by one, mechanical lifeforms like a torrent of steel crawled out. It is about tens of meters high, no less than 1,000. All mechanical lifeforms flash metallic cold light and wash away surging spiritual power. All mechanical bodies. After Quinn's consternation passed, he saw an even more astonishing scene. All of the dead pirates were affected by the unknown and began to mechanize. Crack, click. The sound of metal rubbing sounded, and the dead pirates all stood up mechanically. The hands and feet are turned into various mechanical weapons similar to Quinn. Buzzing. When the hands of all the mechanical lifeforms bloomed with red light, Quinn's scalp was numb. No, go back. At the moment Quinn's voice sounded. Thousands of laser cannons fired in and out, turning into a wave of energy that instantly flooded the seas such as Kai and Quinn. Boom. The entire flower capital exploded like a nuclear explosion, and terrible mushroom clouds rose into the sky. The whole Wano Kuni shook. Hi, is the end of the world. During the battle between Yamato and Yamato, many people escaped from the flower city and looked at the distance above in horror in other areas. 0. Mushroom clouds swayed across the sky. In the end, what happened? Kazuki Hiyori, who was almost 14 years old, who came from the Free Bowl, was also surprised. She almost couldn't stand still so far away, she couldn't imagine what a terrifying attack the Flower City had experienced. Holy Empire. The long Kaido looked at the collapsed and ruined Flower City with expressionless expression in the sky. Hinata, Konan, plus this one called Sasori, Kaido has seen the destruction of Beast's pirates. He couldn't stop it either. Kai and Quinn are still alive and alive. That is the resilience of the ancient species, but they definitely can't beat this Empire Admiral. 2 wastes. Kaido couldn't help but feel annoyed. The strength of Kai and Quinn has never been higher. A pervert torture all day, and a tricky execution of the enemy all day, there is no time to practice. Really waste. What Kaido didn't know was that Lan Yu was observing here to see his vitality. Appraisal of tobacco Quinn and Bland. In the original trajectory, a kick over the ant's boat 12 years later caused the ant to fall into the sea and amnesia, and Quinn was beaten to death by the amnesia and weak ant. The main thing. Kai and Quinn teamed up to fight Marco, but one was repelled and wounded, and the other was cut off by spitting blood, and Marco was just a little tired. Too much to go to the 3-character face of the big Kanban. Beast's pirates has no value, only Kaido has research value. This is what Lan Yu said to Konan before they came to Japan. Orochimaru is interested in Kaido and wants to study it. A mortal body. That is a joke. Roar, roar. When the explosion stopped, 2 beast roars vibrated from it. 2 little bugs want to struggle too. Looking at the 2 so-called ancient dragons below, Sasori dismissed it. The ancient species of toothless pterosaurs and the ancient species of Brachiosaurus are lizards. Brachiosaurus bomb. After Quinn transformed into a Brachiosaurus form, he suddenly jumped into the air and attacked with a powerful impact. The pterodactyl breathes, spread out the wings, spit out a grand hot flame from the other direction. Too slow. Sasori raised his hands and released the holy character skill, Spiritual Destruction Cannon. 2 Link-C beams burst out, directly piercing the body and soul of Quinn and Yan 5.8, a big hole appeared in the bodies of the 2 of Longwa. And with a tyrannical impact, they blasted the 2 away. Ah, those pirates who stood far away were immediately killed by all the mechanical lifeforms. There was a scream. One person slaughtered the entire group of beasts. I wonder if this guy can hold the mushroom bomb. Shie looked at Kaido. His holy script could read and analyze everything, and mechanically reorganized it. The mushroom bomb of the celestial earth has been reorganized by Sasori long ago, and his breakthrough various models can be launched at any time. It's not enough to make Deidara envious. Mom, don't mess around. Konan couldn't help but speak. Well, leave it to Hinata. Sasori gave up. Although the mushroom bomb is strong, the radiation is too heavy, not as clean and neat as the weapon that the Empire is about to develop. Boom boom boom. Sasori attacked Kai and Quinn again. You just watched them die like this. Hinata's voice rang in the sky. Kaido said coldly without looking back, could Lousy still stop you? A waste of time. Really reasonable and ruthless words. Hinata slowly raised his hand and said flatly, if you don't stop and don't run away, it seems that you have confidence in your so-called immortal body. No one can kill Lousy. Kaido of Longwa burst out and attacked. Heat. Chapter 81. Hyuga Hinata hunts down Kaido 800 miles, my class sees it. Advertisement. Sword pressure. Seeing the heat hitting that was enough to instantly evaporate and burn the top of the mountain, Hinata waved his blade indifferently. Boom. The grand sword slash directly split the heat, making Kaido startled. She didn't use time ability. Differences flashed in the dragon eyes. Is there any distance limit or other restrictions on the opponent's time ability? Seems like an opportunity. Roar. At the same time, accompanied by roar of dragons, the thunder spreading in all directions, and covering Hinata's body at an extremely fast speed. Tornado. When using thunder to contain Hinata, Kaido's dragon body makes a circular motion like a spinning top and releases several terrifying tornadoes. Scourge level attack. Looking at such a wide range of thunderstorms, Hinata marveled at Kaido's fruiting ability. In a short time, Kaido, who is transformed into the blue dragon of the phantom beast species, releases flames and tornadoes, and the roar can be turned into thunder. Various natural disaster attacks. Moreover, Azure Dragon can create flame clouds as a foothold for air walking, which is also the reason why Azure Dragon can fly. Hinata guessed blindly that the flame cloud that supported the dragon's body could even float the island. This kind of temptation is unnecessary. But these moves were still Kaido's temptations, and Hinata disappeared instantly. Kaido's sight and hearing immediately caught Hinata's figure, and he quickly crossed all natural disasters from the sky and came over him.
Bad net. Kaido raised his head just to spit out a large amount of wind blades to cut past, like a sickle slashing. Brush. To Kaido's anger, Hinata took a look and disappeared again. What do you think of Lousy? At Hinata's glance, Kaido felt like the other party was watching a monkey performance. It seems to say, continue to perform to please me, there's a reward.
Boom. Kaido's conquerors broke out. Boom. Although 07 Tien's Reiatsu also broke out. Kaido only felt that his conquerors was instantly suppressed, and even collapsed. The oppression of the spiritual will. Extremely unsuitable, making the dragon's body stagnate. Large divine destruction. At the moment Kaido's body was sluggish, Hinata used the spiritual blade to draw an arc in the air, and a huge bow and arrow appeared above the trajectory. Woo. Large-scale destruction is coming. Too underestimated. Lousy. Kaido roared, and Conqueror's ultimate broke free of mental suppression. The huge body, like a boot, shrank in a flash. Boom. Large-scale destruction was lost. The destruction turned into a lightsaber directly split the sky open. You don't even use time ability, do you look down on lousy? Kaido, transformed into a human form, is tall and burly, with black hair and shawl, like a demon alive. How did it come out? Hinata didn't care when he missed the shot. Instead, he wondered where Kaido's mace came out of. They didn't have them when they were Longwa. Conquerors winding. Kaido, who was transformed into a human form, wrapped Conquerors around a mace and flashed an amazing thunder. Brush. Very fast, stepping in the sky like a moonwalk, attacking in the direction of Hinata. Dump for lousy. When Kaido yelled, something wonderful happened to Hinata's expression. Kaido's speed skyrocketed again, he passed him far, and fell extremely fast from the sky. With one blow, we attacked. Konan, attack me. Konan was surprised and understood Kaido's plan. Even if he doesn't make a move, Kaido still sees it as a threat. Hinata doesn't use time ability right now, but Kaido will be unable to do it once it is used, so let's solve other threats first. Interesting. Sasori, who was beating Cigarette and Quinn violently, gave a surprised look at the play. Kaido looks rough, but in fact it is very shrewd and scheming. The main thing. To outsiders, Kaido is a demon who kills without blinking. But in Kai et al., Kaido has an easygoing personality, is casual, cherishes talents, rarely blames his subordinates, and can manage his emotions. Their boss is full of merits. All in a moment. After reaching a certain distance, Kaido launched a charged attack all the way. Thunder 8 trigrams. Entangling Conqueror's attack strength is capable of long-range attacks within a certain range, and the strength far exceeds that of armed entangling. Swing a stick. Lightning and thunder, the atmosphere neighing. Scapegoat. Seeing this, Konan directly threw her scapegoat full of luxury. Hey, turned into a huge shield in midair. Boom. At the moment of contact with Thunder 8 trigrams, the surface of the scapegoat was covered with cracks. Under the violent impact, the scapegoat was directly blown away. Chance. Seeing Konan's strange expression, he should be shocked, Kaido thought so, and attacked again. Dragon form. Kaido opened Zone's strongest orc form. Strength, speed, etc. have skyrocketed. Bah high. During the fall, Kaido's mace was wrapped around his armed forces and conquerors, giving it an amazing aura. This trick was originally a combination of Kaido and Anti, and it was enough to wipe out everything within a few kilometers. But Kaido is used by one person, and it is still a devastating attack with a huge coverage. He hurriedly attacked Konan. Ended. Kaido and Konan thought at the same time. Kaido's big move has been made, but Konan has no action at the moment, everything is over. The world reconciles. When Konan looked up, it was also when Kaido was about to swing down his mace and make a terrifying blow. Ah. A burst of pain that made Kaido suffocate spread throughout his body, directly interrupting his ultimate move. Puff chick. What's even more amazing is that Kaido's body with a defensive power beyond imagination is directly covered with hideous cracks. A series of blood arrows advanced from Kaido. Kaido boss. How can it be? Advertisement. The seriously injured Kai and Quinn heard the painful cry, and they looked up and were shocked. Countless scars spread all over Kaido's body, and the whole person turned into a blood man, and large swaths of blood spilled from the sky. The painful Kaido lost control for a while, fell from the sky and hit the ground hard. Puff cough. Kaido's eyes were bloodshot, and his heart was filled with disbelief. He felt it. The terrible injury on his body seemed to be caused by his own attack. Humph. Kaido snorted in pain. It's not dead. Sasori and Hinata were slightly surprised. Not only did he not die, but he was quickly recovering from his injuries. Konan's scapegoat shield can bear the damage caused by the enemy for Konan. The damage cracks will appear on the surface of the shield, and then feed back to the opponent. How cracked the shield just now? Kaido's body is cracked. Hinata murmured. The feedback is Kaido's attack damage, not Konan's active attack. So, at present, Kaido's soul has not been hurt, and with his resilience, he can recover. Want to recover? Dreaming. Hinata flashed over, moved the arc between time, and looked back at Kaido's time. Humph. Kaido groaned in pain again, looking at Hinata with bloodshot eyes. Resilience has just begun. It was backtracked. The great sage. The arriving Hinata directly summoned the destruction of many giant spears. Not good. The moment Kaido saw a few giant spears in the sky, Kaido's heart was shocked. This was the first time he felt a fatal danger, and it shocked him. Any skill is strengthened as one's own strength becomes stronger, and Hinata's attack at this moment is far more than 7 years ago. Brush. Regardless of his physical injuries, Kaido rushed to avoid him. Buzz. The arc of time fluctuates again. Kaido found that he had returned to his original position, and his heart sank. Don't underestimate Lousy. Kaido roared, lifted his mace to wrap armament color, conquerors, and unleashed amazing black lightning. The third life, Yin Naluo. A shock wave that penetrated the sky and the earth came out from the mace and directly rushed into the sky. Boom. The shock wave collided with a few giant spears that landed, like a meteorite colliding and bursting in the sky. The clouds in the sky split instantly. The capital of flowers below was once again devastated and turned directly into fragments. Even if the eardrums of people in other areas are broken, I looked over in horror. What? When Kaido's experience captured the past, he found that he had only destroyed 6 giant spears. The last one cut through the void in a flash. As soon as it was caught, Kaido ushered in a crit. Boom 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 boom. The huge holy spear pierced Kaido's abdomen directly and blasted him with a terrifying impact. Smashed dozens of fragments of the flower city along the way. He smashed a cliff and waterfall around Wano-kuni and flew all the way upside down. Puff. Kaido falls into the sea. Hinata also flew over. But before Hinata crossed the cliff and waterfall of Wano-kuni, the sea exploded in the distance, and a huge blue dragon leapt out, swiftly flying towards the distance. Can you still use abilities when you fall into the sea? Hinata was surprised for an instant, and Robin's voice came. Sister Hinata, although he is in the form of a blue dragon, he is essentially a fish and fruit, and he is not afraid of the sea, land and air. Fish fruit. So can you use power in Hyo 7-3? Hinata didn't know what to say, this kind of fruit is too comprehensive. Did you escape? The Azure Dragon flew quickly, jumping out of Hinata's Reiatsu perception range, and also out of Hinata's time domain. Boom. Tenseigin spirit power mode is on. Hinata burned spiritual power on his body and chased him like a stream of light. Puff cough cough. Kaido, who is flying fast, even if his body is transformed into a dragon, still has countless cracks to be repaired. A huge blood hole in the abdomen. Kaido doesn't care about these physical injuries and will recover sooner or later. But Kaido felt a greater pain in his abdomen. That is the pain of the soul. It cannot be recovered at all. There is Hinata at the front, Konan at the back, and Sasori watching. Kaido chose to retreat strategically. 10 miles. Bailey. 300 miles. 500 miles. With the blue dragon in front and the streamer behind, the clouds were swept away, which made countless people in New World look towards the sky in amazement. Kaido. Many big pirates recognized Qinglong and were a little surprised. Why Kaido seems to be on the run. In that direction, is Cake Island. Hinata, remembering the map, looked at the direction Kaido was flying towards. It is to join hands. Still have to use the ant. Either way, Kaido is a chicken thief. Distance. When Hinata was chasing Kaido. On a deserted island 100 nautical miles away from Cake Island. Madara, wait a minute, I'll find it soon. This is a gift I carefully prepared for you. Hashirama sits on a deserted island mountain with a huge fishing rod in his hand, fishing in the sea. Huh, idiot. Uchiha Madara stood by with her arms folded. He obviously wanted to find Whitebeard, but was pulled over by Hashirama and said he wanted to give a gift. I have countless Empire fans now, need you to give gifts. Nice gift. Madara spoke suddenly, which surprised Hashirama. He hasn't found the gift yet, how did Ben know? And very excited. Huh, is that dragon? When Hashirama looked up. I saw a huge blue dragon flying by. Madara immediately raised her hand, and the force of gravity bloomed. Bring it to you. Chapter 82. Uchiha Madara. Come be my mount, the strongest creature. Advertisement. Hashirama. I'm very satisfied with your gift. I didn't expect that you idiot will finally be smart. Madara raised her hand to bloom gravity, pulling the huge blue dragon flying across the sky. Hashirama. This dragon is not my gift. My gift is still fishing. Kaido, who retreated strategically, felt a wave of gravitational force and tried to pull him down. Hyuga Hinata. No, it's below. Kaido's long way looked towards the island below and saw a hockey man with a wild and unruly hairstyle, raising his hand to catch him. Sitting beside him was a somewhat confused Tai Hanhan holding a huge fishing rod. Boom, boom. Kaido's conquerors and armed color and power advance, trying to break away from the gravity. Hey, the power is good. Kaido still has time to react and break free, making Uchiha Madara quite satisfied. As far as power is concerned, it is already the apex of this world. But it's still tender. Get down. The gravity of Madara in Uchiha's hand soars. Kaido suddenly felt an irresistible and terrifying gravitational force, and his entire body fell towards the desert island. The huge blue dragon smashed down, causing this small desert island to shake. Quote. Lord Madara, Lord Hashirama. Hyuga Hinata, who was chasing from a distance, stagnated and felt the Reiatsu of the two. Hinata was surprised. Why are they here? I'm looking for a gift for Madara. Who knew this dragon came over and made Madara misunderstood? The decadent Hashirama voice washed over, and Hinata looked over. I saw Hashirama drop the fishing rod, squatted on the ground and circled, and didn't know who was cursed. Brush. Hinata fell beside them and saluted. Hyuga Hinata, I have met Marshal Madara, Marshal Hashirama. Thanks for your hard work. Uchiha Madara replied, and then turned towards Hashirama who was squatting on the ground. Don't be ashamed of you, fellow. I will be back. Hashirama was kicked directly into the air and yelled in midair. Fly all the way down into the sea. Hinata, Pillar Madara, 2 adults, really interesting. Seeing Madara heading towards the huge blue dragon rising up on the desert island, Hinata immediately said, Master Madara, that dragon is one of the 3 major overlords of New World, and is called the strongest big pirate singled out by many people, Kaido. Quote. The strongest creature. Uchiha Madara thought of a report he had read roughly. He only remembered the top powerhouses in Qinghai. Kaido is immortal, so he remembers deeply. Which one is stronger than Whitebeard? Looking at the various scars on Qinglong's body and the wounds on his soul, Ban had some doubts. This injury was caused by Hinata. Sorry, I don't know. Hinata can't figure out which Kaido or Whitebeard is better. The title is too messy. One is the strongest in heads up, and the world is the strongest. Doesn't this mean? Who are you? Kaido, who stood up, looked at Uchiha Madara from a distance with fear. If Hinata is powerful, it is impossible to solve the power of time. But as soon as the class took action, he knew if there was any. The gravitational force just now made Kaido feel an absolutely irresistible force of terror. There is a qualitative gap. He ran away because he couldn't beat you. Uchiha Madara ignored Kaido. Hinata groaned. I was there at the time, Senior Conan, Senior exhausted, I guess he wanted to lead me to Charlotte Linlin, join hands or use her to contain her, and leave the healing by himself. Pipe. Quote. It's kind of brainy. Before Uchiha Madara's words fell, he disappeared in place. One step fell on the giant dragon head, Madara stepped on it, to see if it was not stable enough, to find the feeling. Get out of me, go. Kaido was shocked, then furious. He admitted that he had become a dragon and carried Charlotte Linlin. But it is absolutely not allowed that others step on his head and use him as a mount. This is an insult to him. Go away. Kaido roared, exploded with momentum, released the armed S*X as a tsunami, and shook the dragon head fiercely, wanting to use Madara. But Madara held her arms lightly and stood flat on Kaido's head, speaking with satisfaction. Whether you have prepared a gift from Hashirama or not, as I said, I am very satisfied. Come on as my mount, Kaido. Uchiha Madara's words echoed everywhere. Hinata was surprised, and then smiled faintly. Madara-sama really hockey. If Kaido really becomes a mount, it will detonate the whole world. The pirates are terrified, and the marine trembles, causing the carnival of countless civilians all over the world. Kill Kaido, capture Kaido and become an experimental subject. These can only make people feel that the empire is too powerful. But Kaido became a different mount. This is countless times more difficult than killing Kaido, because the dignity of the great pirate is far more important than life. They would rather die than be humiliated. Damn, what are you talking about? Kaido stared at Longan, suspecting that there was a problem with his ears. Use him as a mount. Is this what people do? I, Kaido, will never be a slave. Kaido roared, the dragon's sound turned into thunder, and purple and black lightning struck Uchiha Madara above his head. If it wasn't because the dragon's claws weren't long enough, he would want to scratch it. Be honest with me, mount. An invisible repulsive force directly shook the thunder, and Uchiha Madara's feet were condensed with compressed spiritual power, and a blood-moving suit was attached. Boom. Madara's Reiatsu choked Kaido. Uchiha Madara also stomped it fiercely. A terrifying force and energy exploded on the dragon's head. Kaido just felt the brain roar in pain. The violent spiritual power tore a crack on the dragon's head and swept inward violently. Ah, the pain he had never felt before made Kaido let out a heart-piercing roar. Spiritual power is too violent. It broke Kaido's head forcefully, and constantly attacked Kaido's soul. Boom 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 boom. Advertisement. The huge dragon drive was sitting on the ground, constantly churning in pain, and each churning made the island shake and crack open in a wide range. The next moment, the dragon's body kept shrinking, turning into a human form directly. The painful veins on Kaido's face burst out, shaking his head with both hands. It was extremely painful. What makes Hinata speechless is, even though Kaido is transformed into a human form, Uchiha Madara still stands on Kaido's head. No matter how Kaido slaps, he still doesn't move like a mountain. Kaido's height and huge head. Regardless of human shape, dragon shape, or dragon shape, Uncle Ban can stand steadily. I am very satisfied. Uchiha Madara spoke again. Unexpectedly, the human-shaped Kaido is still so tall and a perfect mount. The first time I saw you, I was planning to beat you down and give it to your majesty as a mount. But this kind of thought only took a moment in my mind and I gave up. During the words, Uchiha Madara's tone was slightly arrogant and disdainful. Because you do not deserve. Kaido's strength is just right to be the mount of my class, so I am qualified to be your majesty's mount. Ah, Kaido's roar was full of anger and pain. The saying that you don't deserve to be your majesty's mount makes Kaido hard to accept. When the mount of the Lord of the Empire. Where is lousy unworthy? Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido took out the mace from nowhere, and slammed it on his head. Not an attack class. I want to stun myself. That kind of soul pain and the insult of being treated as a mount makes Kaido want to die, but he can't die, he can only star. A stick fell. Even the mace that entangled armed color and conquerors, it shattered in an instant. A terrifying blow. He also starred Kaido himself and fell directly to the ground. Do you think you can escape reality by fainting? Ridiculous. Uchiha Madara stood on Kaido's head in the air and grabbed it. Spiritualized palms. Submerged directly into Kaido's body. Shit. Uchiha Madara searched fiercely and carried out a huge soul body. Squirting. Kaido's soul roared, and his huge eyes were full of shock. Linlin's ability. No, Lin can only grab the soul of the person who fears her, it is impossible to grab the soul of my Kaido. The reason why you are not my mount is nothing more than the so-called dignity of the strong, or do you think you will not die? During Uchiha Madara's words, dozens of spiritual black rods appeared in his hands. One by one, Kaido pierced through the whole body, firmly nailed to the ground. Humph. The pain of the soul pierced through again, much stronger than before, but Kaido endured it and stared at Uchiha Madara. There is a way to kill lousy. Puff. The spirit blade swept across Kaido's soul. Directly cut in two. Uchiha Madara said lightly, what should I do if the mount is not obedient? Kill a few more times. Hinata. Master Ben made a point. High-speed regeneration. The brilliance enveloped the cracked Kaido's soul, and the restoration was completed in the next moment. Still nailed to the ground. I just died. Kaido's eyes were dull, remembering just now. The soul is cut off. He felt that he was plunged into endless darkness, like an ant struggling in the Black Sea, and all his consciousness was dissipating until it was cut off. The feeling of death made his heart palpitations. But what's going on now? Hinata said. For the Empire, life forms are divided into physical death and soul death. But no matter what kind of death, it can be restored. But every time you recover, you will lose a part of your mental will, until it completely collapses, you can't recover anymore. If you die 10,000 times, you will probably disappear completely. 10,000 times. Are the people of the Empire all demons? Kaido roared like golden lion in his heart. Uchiha Madara hugged her arms and said flatly, if you are not honest, I will not kill you again, you should understand what I mean. Do not kill. That's humiliation. Kaido can think of 10,000 ways to humiliate the strong, which can make people fall apart. For example, abandon Whitebeard, grab his clothes, and throw medicine into the pig pen to get caught by pigs, let his sons visit and broadcast live all over the world. Got it. Whitebeard. Kaido, your uncle. Golden Lion. The idea is what I like. No, what just happened was just the dullest method in Kaido's mind. He has more ways to make his soul look beautiful. Thinking of this, Kaido raised his head and said solemnly, old. Think about it, if you are too stupid, go to sleep with Charlotte Linlin. Uchiha Madara opened the mouth. I promise. Thinking of Linlin, Kaido's soul trembled, and his heart was full of fear, he would rather sleep with a pig. Linlin. Kaido, you wait. If I am stronger than you someday, you will also be my mount. Kaido finally raised his head and said in a solemn voice, he was desperate to return all the frustrated. Ha 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 ha. What surprised Kaido was that after hearing what he said, Uchiha Madara laughed boldly, and the laughter was full of haki. I am very satisfied with the mentality of your mount, I am waiting. The laughter stopped, and Madara glanced at Kaido proudly, dismissing it. It's not as good as me. Kaido. Boom. At this time, the island shook to benevolence. When they looked over, the sea in front of them was shaking, and a behemoth that could swallow several islands in one mouthful jumped out of the sea. It's dark. At the same time, Hashirama's laughter came out of the behemoth monster's mouth. Ha 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 ha. I found it. I finally found what White Zetsu said. Madara, this is my gift to you. Chapter 83. Giant Lantern Fish, Hashirama, pure gold is my gift. Advertisement. Wow. The sea is turbulent. As soon as the behemoth emerged from the sea, the turbulent sea water formed a tsunami. The shadows that obscure the sky sway the island. Super giant sea kings. Hinata went over and discovered that the size of this huge sea kings was far beyond the average island. What the hell is that guy going to do? Hearing Hashirama's voice from the giant sea kings, Uchiha Madara recovered Kaido's soul and threw him into his body. It's it. What made Uchiha Madara raise his eyebrows was that Kaido exclaimed when he stood up after his soul entered the body, his eyes filled with greed and excitement. It seems to have seen the top treasure. Calm down. Madara frowned. Calm. How can you calm me down? Kaido's emotions were uncontrollable at this moment, and his body ran towards the giant sea kings. Do you know what that is? If it is really that one, it will be enough to buy the whole world. No, the whole world is not as important as that thing. Hinata moved the arc of time. Kaido found himself back where he was. Just when he was about to say something, he noticed that Madara's eyes were a little cold. It's unruly and out of control. Is this your temperament? Kaido squeezed his hand, but still fixed his eyes on the sea kings ahead, and said in a deep voice, have you heard of the heart of gold? Hearing this word, Hinata recalled. I heard Robin say that it seems to be called pure gold. Kaido nodded solemnly, staring at the huge sea kings intently. That's the legendary metal. Being able to shine in the dark, it is said that it can buy the whole world. From the time immemorial, people have been searching for it, and those who found it have died, and their whereabouts are still unknown. Time immemorial, Uchiha Madara also looked over, only to perceive Hashirama running around in the body of the huge sea kings. Kaido continued. Until about 200 years ago. On an island named Alchemy, a scientist named Mishina Asir accidentally extracted this metal. When the news spread, it caused the madness of the world government and countless pirates. 127. A huge lanternfish swallowed Alchemy Island and disappeared. It must be this one. Kaido was about to press his emotions again, a bit agitated. This lanternfish has a huge lantern-like luminous body on its tentacles, and its body is extremely large. It's no problem to swallow a few islands. Uchiha Madara said. Say the point. Pure gold can slow people's life, immortality, and cure diseases. It is said that they can easily live for thousands of years. Thinking of the legend, Kaido gets more and more excited as he speaks. Almost no one can remain calm in front of the 4 words of immortality. If the Ant and Whitebeard know about them, let's not say how they are, their sons and daughters will definitely be crazy. I see. Uchiha Madara understood Kaido's mood, and if he changed to Madara before joining the Empire, he couldn't help but crave it. Let me kill it. Alchemy Island must be in its stomach, and pure gold must be there. Kaido's conquerors were all released, for fear that the giant lantern fish would run away. Immortality is here. There are still living people. Seeing and hearing the color, Kaido perceives something, and his eyes are full of excitement. Lantern fish stomach. 3 islands floating. Except for Hashirama, who yelled before, running wild on one island, the other 2 islands each have a breath of life. Mishina Asir. Mishina Oro Ka. Because of the light of pure gold, the father and daughter lived easily for about 200 years, and Oroja was still like a child, as if he hadn't grown up even 1 year old. Slow life. 200 years are like a year. Live 1,000 young and relax. Master Madara, it seems Master Hashirama has prepared a great gift for you. Recalling Hashirama's shout before, Hinata smiled. Huh, that guy always does something meaningless, I'm an idiot. AHFJ. Uchiha Madara scolded, but there was a smile in his eyes. Although Madara has no interest in pure gold or something, Hashirama is really interested. Pure gold is placed in Qinghai, one of the most precious treasures. Ho 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 ho. The belly of the huge lantern fish swelled up, as if something burst, roaring. Senju Hashirama's voice was heard, and spiritual power was continuously poured into wooden golem. Boom. The constantly growing wooden golem turned into a monster larger than the giant lantern fish, and directly burst its body. A silhouette of this golden brilliance flew out from it. Pure gold. Kaido couldn't help but stare. In the dusk of the night, the flying Hashirama held a small luminous sphere in his hand, emitting a dazzling golden light. The whole island is illuminated. It's so bright. Looking at the shining pure gold, Hinata murmured, too dazzling. Not to mention its efficacy. Just this bright golden light is a baby. Ban, I'll see you off. Hashirama threw away the pure gold, seemingly random, but actually very happy. He first left the customs and asked White Zetsu if there was anything interesting. White Zetsu told him about the pure gold news and probably the location he found. Hashirama directly blocked the news and brought the class here. Give off Madara a surprise. That's pure gold. Seeing Hashirama coming from a distance like a stone, Kaido subconsciously wanted to jump up and grab it. Humph. Uchiha Madara let out a cold snort, and Kaido suddenly withdrew his hand silently, but his eyes could not be separated. So. Quote. Taking a look at the pure gold, Uchiha Madara threw it directly into the Naling ring, and said flatly. Advertisement. So. As if hearing the saddest words in the world, Hashirama suddenly squatted on the ground and was scrapped in circles. Ah, Madara is Tsunere again, what can I do? Tsunere. This B***************. D. Uchiha Madara suddenly became angry, and ran over to beat Hashirama. Titicaca. Seeing Hashirama's tragic situation, Hinata's eyelids twitched, and Mr. Hashirama was so bearable. Kaido walked over and said solemnly, tell me, how can I get pure gold? After Zu Madara and Hinata saw the pure gold, Kaido wanted to vomit blood with that calm mentality. You don't care, I care. Hinata said casually. Just grab it. Quote. Kaido suddenly became angry. If he could do it, he would have robbed him in the past, and he would have to wait till now. The guy with the arrogant hairstyle is not a human being, but a devil. Hinata said again. There is another way. What way? Kaido's eyes are full of desire. Once he thought that he was immortal, until Uchiha Madara appeared, he had to die if he wanted to die, and he could only suffer agreeably if he didn't want him to die. Kaido can only be convinced. But even if there is no Madara, no empire, he will always die of old age, pure gold as hope, which will allow him to live for more than 1,000 years. Honestly be your mount, maybe Madara-sama will reward you when he is happy. Kaido was speechless. I am the strongest creature in Kaido, and I have become a mount for others. Knowing this, it's better to learn how Golden Lion joins the empire early. At least you can be an individual, right? Madara, don't fight, it's embarrassing. Hashirama finally avoided, waving his hands again and again. Do you still know shame? After so many years, Madara was speechless. Stop it. Seeing Madara still wanting to do something, Zu immediately blocked him and said seriously, New World still has many big pirates, and they are definitely not weak. I suggest taking advantage of the first half of the Empire's attack, we sweep New World. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara put down his hand and glanced at Dujien. The topic has shifted pretty well. Ahem, I still have room for improvement. Hashirama smirked, like an Iron Man. Looking not far away, Hashirama changed the subject again and was surprised. Huh. Who is that stupid man? Where is the dragon just now? Madara said. He is, my mount. Mount. Hashirama's eyes lit up, and he came to Kaido in no time, looking up at the tall and burly man. You are so tall. As far as you know, there is still no weaker than you in this world. No, are there any highly intelligent creatures that are bigger than the dragonized you? Hashirama looked forward to it in amazement. The class has all mounts, how can he fall behind? He must find someone bigger and bigger than the Kaido of the Azure Dragon, and envy Madara to death. Who is this guy? Kaido was frizzy by Hashirama, and said dully, there are a lot of them in the sea. I don't want sea kings. Hashirama shook his head immediately, and he could do it only in the sea. Although I heard that the supergiant sea kings are wise, they are not Haki at all. Is there any more? Is there any more? Elephant Lord Zo, there are thousands of elephants. Kaido finished speaking in a dull voice, and sat on the ground for himself, taking a sip of the wine out of nowhere. He also had to think about his own experience today, how he went from being a pirate overlord to a mount, and it was tears when he said more. Thousands of meters. Hashirama couldn't help but be surprised, and turned back. Madara, have you listened? There are tens of thousands of meters high in this world, which is not more than your little loach Haki. I'm going to make it. Uchiha Madara and Kaido stare at the same time. Singing proudly and showing off with a mouthful of a little loach, the two wanted to join forces to fight Hashirama. Hinata opened his mouth and said, 2 adults, only 2 of the 3 major overlords of New World are left. Which one of you will take the shot? I come. Zubin spoke at the same time. Immediately Hashirama took out a pen and paper from Naling Ring and wrote 2 names, holding the paper into a ball. Catch it, the rest is mine. Huh, naive. Speaking childishly, Uncle Madara moved faster than anyone else, and grabbed a ball directly. Opened it and took a look. Madara burned the paper to ashes and came with a little interest. Hope not to let me down. What luck. Hashirama glanced at his note, and squatted down on the ground to draw circles again decadently. Stand up for me. Seeing Hashirama's old problem had committed again, Uchiha Madara was out of breath. Going up is brutal. Titicaca. Wano Kuni was attacked by the Empire. In the first half of the Grand Line, the remaining 6 paths routes under the responsibility of the Imperial Army. In the front section of the leftmost route, there is an island that is rarely recorded even by a permanent pointer. The island is uninhabited. You go to see the surrounding islands. Hitaki Tsukumo felt that there were many animals on this island. There seemed to be only one person, and then he sent soldiers to other islands. I feel it. Strong breath like a blade. Hitaki said that he set foot on the island. The name of the island is Kraikana. There is a huge castle with the ruins of the dead country, and it is not far from the castle. There is a man with sharp eyes. Holding a tool, his heart is as calm as water, growing vegetables like an ordinary person. Come yet. Noticing that someone had landed on the island, the man remained calm and composed, as if nothing could make him flustered. Keep digging and growing vegetables. Self-sufficiency. Chapter 84. My name is Dadao. Hitaki vs Mihawk. Advertisement. Softer. Has been considered by many people as the world's largest swordsman, only a few precipitated eagle-eyed Mihawk. Like an old farmer. Outside the castle, grow vegetables. As the world's top otaku, except for being alone all year round, wandering in the sea on a coffin board, looking for various swordsmen to fight. The only hobby is clean up, hoe the ground and grow vegetables, drink and read the newspaper, cook and practice knives. After all, he is the only one on the island. There is no woman in my heart, so it's natural to draw a sword. This sentence could not be more appropriate when placed on Mihawk in Qinghai. It's not just women, but Mihawk isn't interested in everything that can be intoxicating except for knives. Indifferent to fame and fortune, quiet and far-reaching. Chasing the world's #1 swordsman is just to prove that his path is not wrong. In such a chaotic world, there is a pure man like you. Hitaki Tsukumo walked slowly, stopped a dozen meters away from Mihawk, and looked at him. Dracul Mihawk, with short black hair, sharp eyes like an eagle, a short beard, and a cross knife hung in front of him, he is capable and chic. What surprised Hitaki Shumao most was Mihawk's calm and watery state of mind. The mentality is not affected by anything. Even if he arrived, he didn't make any emotional waves on the other side. Not knowing what to think, Hitaki took out a jug of wine from Na Lingjia and went over. Taste it, the fine wine of the Empire Heaven. Ka. Under the gaze of Hitaki Tsukumo, Mihawk calmly turned sideways, raised the tool in his hand, and opened the bottle cap with a light hook, and it fell into his hand. Nice wine, some vintages. Sniffing the wine, Mihawk spoke. Hitaki Tsukumo casually said, there are indeed a lot of years, it happens to be 800 years old, and it should be drunk, what do you think? 800 years. This number caused a slight ripple in Mihawk's heart. 800 years of world government. It should disappear too. I only like red wine. Having said that, Mihawk took a bold sip, glanced at the white fang short sword on Hitaki Tsukumo, turned and walked towards the castle. Since it's here, let's have a meal. Good. Hitaki Tsukumo smiled softly. Not much to say, like a guest all the way, followed Mihawk into the castle. Quiet and clean. This is Shumao's view of the castle, all cleaned by Mihawk, spotless. You are not like a pirate, nor a marine, nor a ranger, and you are not fit to stay in such a world. Leaning against the kitchen door, Shumao watched Mihawk calmly cook. Mihawk cooking. How weird Shumao looked. A man who looks extremely cold, grows vegetables, cooks, and cleans. This is simply a high-quality man. I only have knives in my heart, and I can only have knives, and I must only have knives. While cutting the steak, Mihawk's voice was extremely firm. Shumao understood. I'd rather bend than bend, never surrender, and everything will be cut off. Your heart is extremely pure, which is stronger than me, and stronger than anyone I have ever met. But what? Mihawk continued to cook, the horror that flashed when the opponent landed on the island, and the imperial emblem on him. Everyone proves that the opponent is the top powerhouse of the Holy Empire. If you don't accept it, you will die. These 4 words are remembered by countless people. Mihawk would not think that Shumao came to eat and chat, he had only 2 choices, one was death, and the other was obedience. But as Shumao said, the knife in his heart would rather be bent than bent. Shumao smiled lightly. However, I don't like half-ripe steak, it's better to be fully cooked. Hearing that, Mihawk's movement was stagnant, and Shumao walked over when he saw it, a flame appeared in his hand, and he dealt with a steak. Mihawk raised his eyebrows slightly. Half-ripe is the essence, the more mature, the less tasteful. That is your inherent thinking, like your knife, limited by this world. Turning the steak over, Hōgyoku said with deep meaning. This steak, the fire of spiritual power burns, will make it have a delicious taste that touches the soul, the more cooked the better. This world. This is the second time Mihawk has heard of Shumao about this world, as if he was not from this world. You think well, I and the Empire are all from other worlds. Seeing the difference in Mihawk's eyes finally, Hōgyoku Tsukumo smiled. Like this world, there are countless infinite time and space, and there are countless powerful men who destroy the world with one sword and reverse time and space with one sword. You don't want to see it. Long. Words beating in Mihawk's heart like bells and drums, as if to open the door to a real new world for him. There was a stormy sea in my heart. The Empire won't be too hungry for anyone. There is only one opportunity. From the moment Hōgyoku Tsukumo saw Mihawk alone on an isolated island, hoeing the ground and planting vegetables, he knew that a person with such a pure heart was the talent he was looking for. But no matter how good the opponent is, it is not worth the Empire's excessive waste of time. Mihawk said solemnly, are you the strongest swordsman in the Holy Empire? Sorry, I am a swordsman. Mihawk was really shocked. Is this different from what he said? No matter what the sword is, it's hard to become an atmosphere. In Mihawk's doubts, Hōgyoku Tsukumo simply explained. You won't say much about your world, but your majesty said that the higher the world, the more distinct the swords, and there is even a dispute between swords. Furthermore, I am not the strongest, let alone a pure swordsman, just good at using knives. Mihawk was silent. Knife and sword, isn't it a kind of weapon? Advertisement. This is what Lan Yu often sighs with emotion. It can only be said that it is a cultural problem of a certain country. The small world is nothing, it's just a name anyway, but if you encounter a powerful world, holding a knife and saying that he is a swordsman or something, maybe he was hacked to death. FK, you obviously use a knife, you have to talk about the sword, do you play with me? You mean? Thinking of this kind of dialogue in some worlds, Lan Yu gave the order. Within the Empire, there must be a clear distinction between swords and swords. Big. Daohao. Mihawk's voice was dry and unacceptable for a while. You are not an empire yet, so you don't need to care too much about this. Seeing that Mihawk was lost because of the sword, Hōgyoku Tsukumo couldn't help but smile. It just so happens that I am also a little hungry. After eating, I will try the well-cooked one. Looking at Tsukumo who was dealing with steak, Mihawk also took a bottle of red wine and took Shumao to the living room for a while. The two ate calmly. It tastes good, right? It's really delicious. Eating a fully cooked steak that touched the soul, Mihawk was sure in his heart that the other party was right. His thinking is fixed by the world. If you don't jump out of the world, you can only do this for a lifetime and lead your old age ahead of schedule. My path cannot stop. 1 minute, 10 minutes. 1 hour. The two looked at each other speechlessly, and experienced the leisurely lunchtime calmly and indifferently. Hōgyoku put down his glass, turned and walked out of the castle. 0. Look for flowers. Mihawk silently picked up the black knife to follow at night, without saying a word. Hōgyoku Tsukumo, the name of the sword is White Fang. Hōgyoku Tsukumo flicked White Fang, and there was a blast of swords, and he calmly said, any advice must be based on strength, otherwise it is nonsense. You are right, I only recognize the strong. Mihawk slowly drew out the black knife, calm, with great fighting spirit. Dracul Mihawk. Black Blade Knight. Ding 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 boom. In the next moment, Hōgyoku and Mihawk moved at the same time, and the two knives collided again, and finally violently collided. The two tacitly didn't use a slash, but under the collision. Boom. The sharp blades collided fiercely, roaring fiercely, and even more terrible waves of air swept all directions. The surrounding leveled instantly. The strength is good. The swordsmen of your world are nothing more than an extension of strength, speed and skill. Mihawk of Hōgyoku Tsukumo didn't refute it, and that's it. The breathing of all things is also a force technique for the unity of spirit and will. So be careful, the Empire's training system has been changed and perfected countless times, and the mind, body, and spirit have developed in an all-round way. During the words, Hōgyoku Tsukumo's Reiatsu broke out, an invisible horror. 0. Boom. The ground collapsed instantly, and Mihawk suddenly felt a sense of oppression from his spiritual will, which almost short-circuited his thinking. Extremely unsuitable. The body stagnates for an instant. Sword pressure. The resplendent sword slash was launched from the White Fang short sword. Hōgyoku and Mihawk missed it in an instant. Crack. This voice made Mihawk's eyes constricted. The supreme sharp knife, a finger-wide crack and gap appeared on the black knife knight. His armed color was directly split. Puff chick chick. A blood arrow entered and disappeared from the body. The injury didn't make Mihawk lose his senses. You are the opponent I want. See yourself clearly, see the world clearly, and become stronger. Come to fight. Boom. A dazzling green and white light burst out suddenly on Krina Island. The two terrifying slashes collided, directly causing a roar resounding through the island, and turned into a skylight beam, directly tearing apart the clouds in the sky. Boom 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 boom. The slashes of the blades collided continuously, and Shumao and White Fang moved quickly, tearing and collapsing wherever they went. Hit from one side of the island to the other. Ooh. The slash as fast as lightning was bright and dangerous, and the island was overwhelmed by the shaking. The gorillas on the island were roaring in anxiety and fleeing in panic. Boom. Another impact. The combination of the two slashes quickly crossed the entire Konoha Island, directly splitting it into two halves. Large swaths of sea water rushed into the cracked abyss, howling. Shumao and Mihawk stood on the edge of a disconnected island, looking at each other. The warm-up is over. Hatake Tsukumo's words condensed Mihawk's heart. You haven't reached the highest point in this world. But even if you stand at the highest peak in this realm, facing me, you still don't have any advantage. The moment Hatake opened the holy text, Mihawk suddenly felt it. The opponent's aura has grown several times stronger. That kind of tyrannical Reiatsu made him swing around like a boat drifting in the sea. Buzz. Reiatsu retracted instantly. Hatake Tsukumo's eyes were sharp. Take out your full strength. Otherwise, the next cut will undoubtedly die. Boom. Chapter 85. Young people don't rush to death. Wanmi Golden City enters North Blue. Advertisement. Hatake Tsukumo arrived in front of Mihawk in an instant, and the White Fang short sword slammed the black sword severely. Boom 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 boom. A terrifying force came from the knife. Mihawk instantly turned into a streamer, smashed a piece of rock, and rushed into the interior of the island. Brush. Hatake Tsukumo followed right away. Before Mihawk got up, he slashed again. There was no sword pressure. Pure speed power. Mihawk can only carry the knife to block, and can feel the powerful force again. Even people were brought into the huge pit. Puff cough cough. Mihawk resisted the pain and left the pit at a speed, pulled away, and spit out a mouthful of blood, excited and solemn inside. Strength. Speed. It has more than doubled. Could it be the fruit of Momo? Mihawk thought of this ability for the first time, but quickly denied it. It is understood that World Destroyer Burndy World has a name for a while, but it seems that it can only increase its movement speed, and 100-fold strengthen the speed, strength, volume, weight, etc. of the objects it touches. Cannot increase attack speed. And its own strength. It's not his movement speed. Even the speed of the knife has increased, and his strength has exploded. Mihawk looked at the indifferent Hatake Tsukumo from a distance. The other party said before that if you don't have to use all your strength, the next 3 zeros will kill you with one stroke. It's no joke. Because he had already defended with all his strength, but he had not had time to attack with all his strength. The response is, good health. Hatake was not surprised that he hadn't been blasted to death, he hadn't used all his strength yet. Holy text. Increase. Non-concept and irregular, it is just the ultimate explosive spiritual power, increasing its own strength, attack speed, movement speed, reiatsu, and defense. For example, Lan Yu, who has the strength of 9 stars and regular combat power to clean the surface, if blessing this holy text, it is enough to easily hit the star burst. Because Hatake Shumo's current limit of increase is 70 times. And Lan Yu can increase 300 times. It all depends on your own endurance. Weaknesses. The higher the increase, the shorter the time. Some are similar to 8 inner gates, but are more comprehensive and have no side effects. The defense is over, you only have one chance to attack, let me see your strongest blow. Hatake looked at Mihawk calmly. Boom. A strong momentum was released from Mihawk, not conquerors, but a special field that belonged solely to the great swordsman. Chi-chi-chi-chi. There seemed to be countless blades raging around, tearing the earth piece by piece. In an instant, Mihawk's black knife grew darker, and disappeared into place in a flash. Yeah, charge up. Seeing that Mihawk's momentum rushed forward before reaching the peak, Hatake suddenly raised his knife. Ding ding ding. Boom boom boom. In just a short time, the two of them were once again bursting out extremely fast knife light. There are criss-crossing shadows of knives all around, colliding hundreds of times at one breath, and fierce waves of air flowed out of sparks. Drink. Mihawk screamed and smashed Hatake Shumao's white fang with all his strength. Said to be animal power. It is better to say that in the extreme madness, one's own mental and physical skills and spiritual will are merged, and the strongest power is exploded. Black knife. Mihawk is pure, his strongest blow is also extremely pure, and his moves are simple black swords. He condensed all the slashing attacks on the black knife, causing the black knife to scream. Coming. Hatake Tsukumo felt the hidden edge on the Mihawk black knife. Walk. Boom. In a flash, Hatake Tsukumo collided with Mihawk's sword, and the two passed by. Time seemed to stand still. After the two staggered, they stopped at each other's place, reminiscing about the blow just now. Boom. In the next instant, a terrifying slash came from the place where the two staggered. Row across the island and across the sea. Will. Hatake put the knife into its sheath. Also at the same time. Kacha. Cha-cha. Along with a broken sound, there was also a sound of blood splashing, and Mihawk's voice also sounded. The scar on the back is the shame of Janao. As that's so. Suddenly, Hatake turned around and drew his sword. Mihawk's supreme sharp knife was broken at night, and it was broken strongly by Hatake's increased power and Reiatsu. Mihawk also had a hideous wound on his body. It also represents the defeat of Mihawk. So Mihawk opened his hand calmly, greeted the final blow, and greeted the defeat. Puff. Hōgyoku felt Mihawk's determination and struck again. Slash through Mihawk. He cut his body in half almost head-on, and blood splashed wildly. Wow. Mihawk fell heavily to the ground. When the fragments of the black knife fell beside him, Mihawk's eyes were a little lost. Don't die in a hurry, young man. Hōgyoku Sakuma walked to Mihawk's side and kicked it unceremoniously, pulling Mihawk's consciousness back. Mihawk said solemnly, young man. I am 31 years old this year, and I am no longer young. Advertisement. He could feel that the opponent hadn't used all his strength yet. It made Mihawk a little confused. The opponent looked about the same age as him, but why was he so much better than him? It seemed that his efforts were pale. Refute me. Hōgyoku Sakuma jumped his eyelids and smiled casually. I'm over 50. You are a few years younger than my 34-year-old son Kakashi. I didn't call your son a good one. I won't be your son. Mihawk retorted, feeling a little bit different in his heart. It turned out that the other party was so big. It feels better to hear my age. If you really want to count, you are older than me. Hōgyoku Sakuma kicked Mihawk again, and said flatly, if you are not dead, stand up and don't lie on your stomach. Puff cough cough. Mihawk coughed up blood again, got up on his knees, his eyes filled with determination for a moment of confusion. I see myself clearly, I see the world clearly, I will walk with you, and see new world. Hōgyoku said nothing. The other party is a pure person. After knowing that there are countless worlds outside the world, the brain dead will continue to stay in this world. The frog at the bottom of the well, see how big the world is. Keep up. Isn't this what I often say? Now I understand that this sentence is so ugly. Mihawk's eyelids twitched. Keep up silently. At the same time, the land of North Blue. A strange thing happened. When the Empire was overwhelming the world, and even at the moment when it was attacking the Grand Line, there were people who dared to blatantly cross the calm belt from the New World and enter the North Blue. The cruising Imperial fighters immediately spotted a huge ship that had entered the country illegally. Yahahaha, old cough, it's the first time I have seen such a gorgeous boat. Do. I didn't expect that the first time I cruised and surveyed, I caught a big fish. There were only 2 people on the fighter plane, one golden lion Shiki and one Doflamingo. Shiki is currently weak and has not participated in the war. He is guarding North Blue while patrolling. Dover is subordinate to the Imperial Treasury Department, working hard for the economic development of the Empire. Today was a holiday, but in order not to be weaker than others and to show loyalty, I deliberately came to cruise after practicing. In short, I can't be idle. 0. Drive over. Looking at the gorgeous giant ship displayed on the screen, Shiki was full of interest and motioned to Dover to drive over. Senior Shiki, don't rush to do it for a while. I don't think that guy is that idiot. He definitely didn't come to look for trouble. Dover reminded while driving the fighter plane. He was not so kind to worry about the people on the coming giant ship. Only, the owner of this ship is too rich. As a staff member of the Ministry of Finance of the Empire, Tenten worked under Kakuzu and knew Kakuzu's character very well. Kakuzu is extremely obsessed with money, racking his brains to make money, and making penultimate contributions to the economic development of the Empire. I dedicated all my money to the Empire. What Dover admires most is that Kakuzu is extremely greedy for money, but never spends it on himself, let alone allows anyone to waste $1 berry. Almost all of his property is turned over to the country. The salary is paid. Immediately turn in 99%. What is the growth experience that gave Minister Kakuzu such a greedy and selfless spirit of dedication? Dover admires it deeply, so that people like Dover can admire it. One can imagine how perfect Kakuzu is now. Late. Is he a talent? Golden Lion Shiki hasn't paid attention to things in Shanghai for a long time. Yes. Quote. This is also the reason Dover persuaded Shiki, because he felt that Kakuzu must like this guy very much. The top commercial talents in Shanghai. Laugh ha ha ha. Then I'm more interested. Drive faster. The fighter jet flew past quickly. On the edge of the calm belt, a huge ship slowly sailed out of the calm belt and entered North Blue. The thriller bark of Moria is known as the size of an island. The giant Noah ship in the deep sea is also a giant, and the ships of the giant pirate group are not small. But this ship, the length is up to 10 kilometers. That is 10,000 meters. The ship is called Guren Tezolo, and it is covered in gold. It is a ship, a town, and the world's largest entertainment city. It is also an absolute sanctuary that is recognized as an independent country and a non-armed area, and world government can't just shoot it casually. Golden City, Grand de Solo. Tezolo, my lord, it's too late for you to go back now, otherwise. Wearing a black 5.9 uniform, Mr. Tanaka, who has a big head and a weird appearance, is full of forgotten. North Blue is the territory of the Holy Empire. The girl with long orange hair, Bakara, did not speak, but was worried. My decision will not change. Golden Emperor Tezolo was wearing a pink suit and drinking red wine calmly. 7 years ago, the 22-year-old Tezolo, because Hinata and Luo were killed and celestial dragons caused chaos in Sabayati, he escaped as a slave. Unlike the original trajectory, his golden fruit was not grabbed by Doflamingo, but found by chance. The original track, after obtaining the golden fruit, Tezolo used 5 or 6 years to create the world's largest entertainment city. The existing trajectory is even more aggressive. In just 7 years, there are achievements that are not weaker than the original trajectory 12 years later. We haven't seen each other for a year, Tezolo. Hearing the familiar and special laughter, Tezzolo also smiled and stood up. It's really been a year, Mr. Dover. Duo, can you tell me your purpose? I hope you can be smarter. With laughter, Dover and Golden Lion walked in. Looking at the two, Tezzolo said in a deep voice. I'm here to repay my gratitude. It's here to avenge even more. Question mark.